Ji and Jia this time. Wu Yuan also patiently explained to Yang Tao after a long while. Yang Tao said quietly, "The second prince wants to cooperate with our new party? That's right, the only way out for us is to cooperate with Prime Minister Yang." Xiao Hong sat opposite Yang Tao. Xiao Ji and Jia treated his relatives harshly, acted perversely, angered heaven and people, behaved improperly, had flawed personal ethics, and was extremely incompetent. Xiao Hong wants to ask Yang Xiang for a small favor. What's the matter? Xiao Hong dipped his hand in the tea and wrote a line of words on the table. The next day, there was a large military training exercise. 100,000 Imperial Guards, 50,000 Dragon Riders, and 30,000 Royal Guards are all here. The 180,000-strong army was divided into 72 teams. By then, 36 teams will be selected. These 36 teams, with more than 90,000 people, will form an army. According to today's course system, divisions are divided. Xiao Ji and Jia sat in the main seat, and the 72 teams were lined up. Thousands of generals and officers knelt on one knee on the ground. The leader was the coach promoted by Yang Tao. Lin Bao. This man had the eyes of an eagle and the back of a wolf, and was extremely ferocious. His tall stature was like a mountain even when he was kneeling there. Report to Prime Minister Yang. The army has assembled. The leader of the Dragon Cavalry Guard was Yang Tao's other cousin, Yang Shi. Most of the Imperial Guards were officials, nobles, and sons of military households, so it's better not to mention them. Your Majesty, we can start the drill now, Yang Tao said loudly. Xiao Ji and Jia stood up, walked to the front of the stage, and looked at the people below. Daqian has been weak for many years, and the accumulated problems are difficult to reverse. The military preparations are lax, and in just a few years, most of the territory has been lost. I feel ashamed towards my ancestors. Today, I want to reorganize the army and reestablish the troops of Taizi Yuzhonglai. I can guarantee that those who stand out will have their wages doubled, and they will have plenty of meat and wine to eat. As long as you dare to fight, I will never treat you unfairly. As they were talking, people started carrying large boxes one after another and placed them in front of the open space. When he opened it, he saw official silver neatly arranged inside. Here is 5 million taels of silver. The top 10 teams can share the 5 million taels of silver. A wolf travels 1,000 miles to eat meat, and a dog travels 1,000 miles to eat feces. Eat meat or eat shit. It's up to you to decide. Xiao Ji and Jia said in a resounding voice. This sum of money was squeezed out by Yang Tao. Although 5 million is not a lot, it is enough to make him feel painful for a while. And when everyone saw the silver ingots shining in the sun, their eyes lit up. No matter what you say, nothing is as real gold and silver. There are only 25,000 people in the 10 teams, so if the 5 million taels of silver are divided equally, there will be 500 taels. If it is distributed to each person, it is 200 taels, which is a huge sum of money. We will serve the king loyally and die for our country, everyone shouted back. You must train hard. Anyone who is capable, who wants to be a general, who wants to get promoted and make money, must train hard and compete hard for me. As she spoke, she picked up the drumstick on the table and hit the drum hard. As the loud drum beats spread, the long silent hearts of the soldiers below became hot again, and they even felt their blood boiling again. Start practicing. Yang Tao held the loudspeaker and shouted hysterically. 72 teams began to make preparations. The competition lasted for 3 days in total, with more than 1,000 casualties and more than 10,000 injured. But this did not dampen their fighting spirit. 3 days later, 36 teams were eliminated. But these troops were not wasted. Xiao Ji and Jia followed Day's example and set up a police station to deploy more than 90,000 people to stabilize the area. This move was also supported by the soldiers. The top 10 winning teams shared the 5 million silver coins. Xiao Chai led one team, Lin Bao led another team, and the other teams were incorporated by Big Dog, Monkey and others. 9 armed divisions were formed. At this point, all the military power in Bian Liang was taken back by Xiao Ji and Jia, and Yang Tao became a mere shell except for the empty title of left prime minister. He sighed, I'm really fed up. I spent money and effort, and worked so hard, but in the end, it was all for others' benefit. It hurts. It hurts so much. However, none of this matters. Tonight is the exciting moment. That night, Empress Mu brought over the chicken soup as usual and took a big sip in front of Xiao Ji and Jia. Ji and Jia, don't work too hard. Got it. Seeing that she was not leaving, Xiao Ji and Jia picked up the chicken soup and took a big sip. Queen Mu then nodded in satisfaction, turned around and left. As soon as she left, Xiao Ji and Jia spat out the chicken soup in her mouth, then rinsed her mouth repeatedly with clean water. She only felt relieved after making sure there was no problem. Shi Ji Yue, tell them to be prepared, Xiao Ji and Jia said. Yes, Your Majesty. Peony, I'm going to trouble you again tonight. Protecting the queen is my duty, Xiao Yao said calmly. She was from a special forces camp and her eyes Liu Su was the most suitable person for His Majesty besides Honggu. Xiao Jianjia is not qualified, and she is protected only because of His Majesty's order. And tonight, the peaceful Bianjing is about to be in turmoil. Yang Tao changed into a set of armor, which included a special bulletproof vest and even a special steel helmet on his head. One of the injuries I had earlier scratched my scalp, and no hair has grown there yet. He walked out of the study and looked at the soldiers armed with guns in the yard. It's time to go out. On the other side, Xiao Hong, Xiao Min and others gathered together. This place was very remote, but located on the bank of the Bianjing River. It was very quiet. There were more than 100 people in the hall. They were all anxiously waiting for news. Have all our people gathered? Xiao Hong asked. Don't worry. Second Master, everyone is here. There are thousands of them by then. We will surely alert Shang Wei. We just need to lead Shang Wei's people into the palace. One person replied. Xiao Hong nodded. He felt somewhat uneasy in his heart, looking at Xiaomin, who was calm and composed. Old 9, can this really be accomplished? It will definitely work. We don't have to catch her having sex with others, as long as everyone knows about it. The person is one of ours. Based on my understanding of Xiao Jianjia, it will not be a problem to control him after the matter is accomplished. Even if Xiao Jianjia died, it didn't matter. Doesn't Lu Yuan just want to do something big? Yang Ji had submitted to petitions before, but both were rejected. I don't believe he can refuse a third time. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let us come along. To put it bluntly, isn't it all about having a good reputation? Xiaomin picked up the teacup, took a sip of water slowly, and then said contentedly, with my mother in the palace, there won't be any trouble. Chapter 400. Do you still have me as your mother in your heart? In Xiaomin's plan, it would be best if Xiao Jianjia was captured alive. But that woman was a lunatic, and lunatics cannot be judged by common sense. So, be prepared for both situations. Stop making noise and be quiet, Xiao Hong shouted, and everyone quieted down. Just as everyone was waiting for the result, a group of men in black alarmed the patrolling guards. This group of people in black went towards the palace in the darkness. It was hard to tell how many people there were. Soon, gunshots were heard in the city. Inside the palace, Chun Huan was helping Queen Mu clean up. A maid knelt beside the bed and reminded her, Your Majesty, they have arrived and are outside. Queen Mu's face was rosy and her eyes were watery. Empress Mu said, let them act, and continue with the spring ring. After a long while, Queen Mu let out a long sigh. What's going on outside? Queen Mu said lazily. But at this moment, fierce gunfire was heard outside. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. Empress Mu was so frightened that she trembled all over. What's that sound? My queen, that's a gunshot. Chun Huan, who was washing her face, was also terrified. The maids also stopped and looked outside in panic. The gunshots became more frequent, and as they got closer, they became louder and louder. Just then, a loud noise was heard outside. Oh my god, that's the sound of cannon fire. Chun Huan fell to the ground in fear. Empress Mu also hurriedly pulled the clothes over. Quick, hurry up and dress me. Damn it, those thieves are not going to run over here, are they? If she was caught like this, would she still have the face-to-face? However, she had played too recklessly just now, and now she was completely exhausted after the effect of the drug wore off. She felt as if her body had been hollowed out. Hurry and bring Zhu here, quickly, Queen Mu said anxiously. Zhu had been woken up a long time ago and was now curled up in the maid's arms crying loudly. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Mother is here. Queen Mu hugged her son tightly and covered his ears. The sound of frying beans outside did not stop. I don't know how long it took before the sound gradually subsided. There were hurried footsteps outside. My lady, are you okay? It's the sound of watermelon. Empress Mu asked in a puzzled voice. What happened outside? Oh, there are just a few blind thieves who have been shot dead. Then why are there still gunshots? It came from outside, Your Majesty. Don't panic. It will be fine in the morning, Shi Jiyue said. Since Your Majesty is fine, I will take my leave. Wait, Queen Mu shouted towards the door, and then asked someone to help her get up from the bed. However, after taking only 2 steps, her knees went weak and she fell to the ground. Empress Mu's eyes went dark for a while. No, I have no strength left. Chun Huan and others also hurried over to help. My lady, is there anything else? Is G&G okay? Queen Mu said, trying to suppress her discomfort. The king is fine, Your Majesty, don't worry. Shang Wei has already entered the palace to rescue him. Hearing this, Empress Mu was overjoyed and said, quick, carry me over. When the door opened, Shi Jiyue saw Queen Mu with a panicked look on her face. Shi Jiyue, you led the way. I want to go see Jianjia. Your Majesty, the king is very good, there is really no need. Just clear the way if you ask me to stop talking nonsense. Empress Mu snorted coldly. As a mother, don't I have the right to care about my daughter? I dare not. Then lead the way, Queen Mu scolded. When Shi Jiyue had no choice but to let her pass. Soon, Queen Mu arrived at the council hall and saw soldiers with lit ammunition guarding outside, and there were bloodstains on the ground that had not been cleaned up. Shang Wei and others were in the hall. To Queen Mu's disappointment, Xiao Jianjia was wearing the royal robe, sitting on the royal chair calmly, but the book in his hand, as if nothing had happened. Jianjia, are you okay? Queen Mu walked quickly into the palace. I was scared to death. I thought something happened to you. Xiao Jianjia looked at her with a half smile. Are you disappointed? What are you talking about? Empress Mu walked up to her and said, quick, stand up so I can see if you are injured. Xiao Jianjia stood up and even turned around. Queen Mu stared at her intently, afraid of missing any details. But to her disappointment, Xiao Jianjia was fine, and did not look like she was being forced, nor was she even weak from the effects of the drugs. As someone who has been through this, she knew it too well. Xiao Jianjia's behavior didn't look like she was after a good time. But it be that she has already recovered from the effects of the drug? Have you seen enough? If not, I'll turn around a few more times. That's enough. Empress Mu nodded and said with a dry laugh, I'm relieved to see that you're okay. Go back and rest early, Xiao Jianjia said. Queen Mu stood there, not knowing whether to leave or not. She observed the expressions of Shang Wei and others and found nothing unusual for a moment. She was extremely nervous. Anything else? Xiao Jianjia frowned slightly. Oh, it's okay. I'm just afraid that those thieves will come again. Listen, there are still gunshots outside. I have to protect you. Go and take care of your son, Xiao Jianjia said lightly. He was adopted. And you are my biological child. How can you be compared? Queen Mu lied with her eyes open. If you want to stay. And stay. Xiao Jianjia didn't even ask anyone to move a chair for her. Empress Mu was also secretly angry. Her legs were weak to begin with. And she couldn't stand for too long. Jianjia, can you bring me a chair? Xiao Jianjia pretended not to hear and lay comfortably on the chair. Shang Wei couldn't help but sneer. Queen Mu was so angry that she gritted her teeth and finally sat down on the steps. See who was embarrassed. However, Xiao Jianjia remained indifferent. Queen Mu was almost angry to death. She felt so powerless that she could only lean on the armrest. Then, I fell asleep inexplicably, and when I woke up again, I was awakened by a noisy sound. Your Majesty. We are innocent. Your Majesty, we are not Xiao Yi's accomplices. We are wronged. Yang Tao Li. Thousands of people over here, all of them, had shackles on their hands and looked extremely miserable. Queen Mu suddenly lost all sleepiness and got up from the ground with a confused look on her face. What is going on? She turned her head to look at Xiao Jianjia and found that she was eating breakfast with relish. The resentment in my heart is beyond words. This rebellious girl actually watched me sleeping on the ground without waking me up. He ate breakfast alone without even calling me. Empress Mu could no longer hold back and angrily asked, Xiao Jianjia, do you still have me as your mother in your heart? Chapter 401. She is already a member of the Lu family, not a member of the Xiao family. As soon as the words came out, many people in the crowd shouted, My queen, help us, the king wants to kill us. My queen, please save us, we are not traitors. Empress Mu took a quick look and realized that most of the people escorted by Yang Tao were members of the Xiao family. She couldn't help but exclaimed, Xiao Jianjia, what on earth do you want to do? Mother, save me, save me. Xiao Hong was covered in blood. He was dragged by several soldiers and fell heavily to the ground. At that moment, Xiao Hong was almost killed. He crawled on the ground in pain. Jianjia. I was wronged. Xiao Jianjia continued to eat her breakfast leisurely. Yang Tao walked quickly into the palace and said, Your Majesty. Last night, while I was arresting Xiao Yi's accomplices, I encountered rebels attacking the palace together with Commander Shang. We have defeated all the rebels and captured more than 1,000 people. Under the confession of the captives, these people were revealed. Yang Tao, you slandered us, you will die. Xiao Hong shouted hysterically, Your Majesty. Yang Tao is not a good guy, he is the real traitor, don't be fooled by him. If you kill us, you will be infamous for eternity. Xiaomin was also very scared. He relied on the crowd to shout, You are really not afraid of being blamed by our ancestors for treating our relatives harshly. Xiao Jianjia still didn't say anything. She took the handkerchief slowly and wiped the corner of her mouth. It's so noisy so early in the morning, I have lost my appetite. Queen Mu also rushed to her and angrily swept the breakfast on the table to the ground. I told you to eat it. Xiao Jianjia looked at her before this. She had always been reluctant to think of her in such a bad light. Now, my heart is finally at peace. She still didn't say anything. Just stared at her coldly. Empress Mu felt uneasy when she stared at her. Why are you looking at me? Are you feeling guilty? At this moment, the sound of a child crying came from outside. Let me go quickly. Mother, save me. Hearing the familiar crying voice, Empress Mu's heart skipped a beat. She turned around and saw a soldier holding a child in his hands. Zhu, Queen Mu was so frightened that her soul flew away, her legs went weak and she knelt on the ground. Gia, he is still a child, he doesn't know anything, don't scare him. I was wrong, I shouldn't have yelled at you. I'll clean up the things on the ground now, please let Sue go. Okay? As she spoke, she quickly gathered up the breakfast and snacks on the floor, making them all over her hands. But how can you restore broken bowls and plates? Even if she had the ability to pick up all the juice on the ground, who would dare to eat it? The porcelain shards cut her hands. But she seemed not to feel it, she just kept smiling apologetically at Xiao Jianjia. Jianjia, wait a minute. Mother will clean it up soon. Look at how confused your mother is, you are the king now, how can I not give you face? Xiao Jianjia remained silent, looking at her hands covered in blood, without any emotion. She couldn't help but think of what she had gone through over the years. A hunting and persecution, facing treachery and rebellion all alone. He was forced into desperate situations several times and lost more than half his life. But Empress Mu, as a mother, never stood up even though she knew that her own daughter was going through hardships. She was unwilling to give her the slightest bit of concern. All she sees is calculation, wealth and glory. She named the child Yan. For my father. It was not as simple as betrayal. She is the queen mother. But she gave birth to a bastard who was not from the Xiao family. This kid rode on a maid in the palace and said he was the future king. Although he is small, he knows everything. The funniest thing is that she, the mother, kept saying that he was adopted. They teamed up with outsiders to bully her and framed her again and again. Why? It's all for that child. Jianjia, can you get some new bowls and plates for mother? Queen Mu asked pleadingly behind her. She could hear her son crying, he was everything to her. Her hope for the future, she would save him no matter what. Original Xiao Jianjia died several years ago, you killed her yourself. Xiao Jianjia said calmly, you carried me for 10 months and gave birth to me. You went through the gates of hell, I am also a mother, I know that feeling. So, I won't argue with you. Queen Mu stared at Xiao Jianjia, infatuated lie. At this moment, she realized belatedly that the cowardly and easily bullied Xiao Jianjia in her eyes was already dead. In front of her was concubine Xiao of Day, the king of Daqian, personally appointed by Lu Yuan. She is already a member of the Lu family, no longer a member of the Xiao family. At that moment, all the memories of Xiao Jianjia's past flashed through her mind. The daughter whom he had never looked at twice was no longer the timid girl who only knew how to cry. The crying behind her became more and more fierce. And Queen Mu became panicked. Yang Tao gave a look to the soldier carrying the child, and the soldier walked to the back of the screen in 2 or 3 steps and lifted Azu high above his head. Mom! Save me, I'm so scared, so scared. Azu's voice echoed throughout the hall. Everyone outside stopped making noise and looked at the child and Midra with horror on their faces. Xiao Han was so scared that he held his breath. Xiaomin was even more frightened. The hearts of all the Xiao clan members were in their throats. Empress Mu's pupils trembled violently, and with a roar, she rushed over, rolling and crawling. Even though her body lost balance and rolled down the stairs, she still seemed to be unaware of it. No, my son, bang! Azu's voice stopped abruptly. There is a touch of red on the screen. The entire palace fell into deathly silence. Son! At that moment, Queen Mu's mournful cries filled the space. Everyone was terrified. Some timid people even wet their pants out of fear. Empress Mu grabbed her head in pain. Feeling dizzy. The crying stopped abruptly, and then he started laughing. She rolled on the ground, her whole body mad as a madman. Xiao Jianjia, my good daughter. My good daughter. My Zhu, my son. She stumbled to her feet, all hope extinguished at that moment. Xiao Jianjia was also shocked and wanted to stand up. But then she held herself back. How can this child stay in this world? As long as he existed, he was a disgrace. Every moment, not a disgrace to her, not a disgrace to her late father. From this day on, Empress Mu went crazy, completely crazy. Son, where are you? Mother is here to find you, bad boy. Don't hide, the palace is so big that mother can't find you. Son, don't run, I see you there, S upon the head. Don't fall in. Queen Mu ran out of the palace in a mad manner. Your Majesty, she. Xiao Jianjia sighed and waved her hand, let her be. Chapter 402, Clearing Bianjing. Kindness does not command the army. And righteousness does not command wealth. Only at this moment did Xiao Jianjia fully understand this sentence. She glanced at Yang Tao, then looked at Yang Tao on the ground. Second brother, those thieves last night, were they your people? Jianjia. You misunderstood, If they are not your people, then why would they betray you? Xiao Jianjia sighed, I am a woman, but I am not a fool. She walked outside step by step and looked at them. Do you think I can bully you just because I'm a girl? Originally, I thought that as relatives, even if you did not stand up when the country was in danger, you still had the opportunity to atone for your sins. But now, you have blocked all your own paths. Everyone was so scared that they knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Yang Tao, what is the punishment for deceiving the emperor? Break apart. What is the punishment for insubordination? Behead. What is the punishment for treason? Blink eye. After hearing the conversation between the two, some people were scared and cried. Your Majesty, it is unlucky to kill your relatives, you must not do it. It will be infamous forever. Xiao Ji and Jia laughed, sarcastically. How can I, a king of a fallen nation, be afraid of being infamous for eternity? A knife from the enemy is not scary, a stab in the back from a loved one is the most deadly. At this time, Yang Tao also bowed and said, Your Majesty, although these people deserve to be killed, they are not worthy of your dirty hands. Although the rituals and music in Middle-earth have collapsed, killing relatives is never a good thing. Not only should you consider yourself, you should also consider Liu Yuan. So what do you think should be done? Cleanse them, beat them with a stick, and after they recover, let them guard the late king's body. Yang Tao gave Xiaohong and others a sinister look. Yang Tao, you thief, stop slandering the king. Don't listen to him. They can accept caning, keeping vigil, and even beatings on the hands and feet. But wouldn't it be useless if I purify myself? All are men. Who the hell wants to be a eunuch? Yang Tao, you are a bastard, you dare to harm the heir of the former prince. Aren't you afraid of being drowned by the spit of the crowd? Facing the abuse from the crowd, Yang Tao grinned and said, If it weren't for the fact that you are the descendants of the previous king, I would have torn you into pieces long ago. The country is in trouble. But you are not here to show up. The country is stable, but you are colluding with foreign invaders to deceive the emperor and attempt a rebellion. Don't worry. My right and wrong and faults as Yang Tao will be judged by future generations. But you have brought shame to the late king. You are not worthy to be the descendants of Taiziyu. A bunch of cowards who are afraid of death. Since you are not worthy of being men, then go be women. Xiao Ji and Jia nodded. Just do as you say. Yes, your majesty. Yang Tao waved his hand and everyone was pressed down. Xiao Ji and Jia originally wanted to turn back. But there was a bloody smell in the palace, so she went to the study, feeling unable to calm down. How tormented she was last night. If she drank the soup, humiliation would be waiting for her. When Shang Wei saw everyone besieging the palace, he would definitely enter the palace to check it out as soon as possible. How could she have any dignity at that time? Her mother won't let her have an easy time either. These events eventually made Xiaoji and Jia stronger. Not killing them is the last act of kindness. It's not that she doesn't dare to kill, she just wants these people to experience what it means to live a life worse than death. As long as they are alive, they can't expect to have a good day. Good and evil will be rewarded in the end. It's not that there is no reward, but the time has not come. She let out a long breath and relaxed completely. Gua was a little worried. Your Majesty, are you okay? Xiao Ji and Jia smiled faintly. Good. Better than ever before from now on. I don't have to worry about these bastards anymore. Gua also breathed a sigh of relief. Your Majesty is wise and decisive. Not long after, Yang Tao came back to report and knelt on the ground. I am guilty. Please punish me, Your Majesty. You wiped out Xiao Yi's accomplices, defended the palace, and risked your life to obtain information about the enemy. You did nothing wrong. Not only did you do nothing wrong, but I will reward you. Xiao Ji and Jia smiled. Yang Tao immediately realized that Xiao Ji and Jia didn't want to bother with him about Azu's matter. Well, how could I care about something like this? I am guilty of not being able to provide escort in the first place. He quickly changed his words. Get up. Thank you, Your Majesty. Yang Tao quickly got up. He now felt that Xiao Ji and Jia was not mediocre. She had good skills and was very wise. It could only be said that she was born at the wrong time. But if it were a prosperous era, it would not be her turn to sit in this position. One can only say that it is fate that plays tricks on her. You are now the left prime minister, the highest position in the country, and there is no higher title you can get, but you still have a good future in day. I will write a letter back to Liang Jing, and you can just wait for your promotion, Xiao Ji and Jia said. Yang Tao also responded with high emotional intelligence. No matter what time, I am always a subject of the king. If the king is in Daqian, then I am a subject of Daqian. If the king is in day, then I am a subject of day. This is also a statement of his stance. Even if Daqian is merged into day in the future, he will still be a member of concubine Xiao's party. Xiao Ji and Jia nodded. You've worked hard all night, go down and rest. Remember to have the secretariat issue a notice to expose the crimes of Xiao Yi's accomplices and Xiaohong and others. Yes, Your Majesty. After Yang Tao left, Xiao Qi arrived late. He already knew everything that had happened in the palace, and he could not find any fault with the way Xiao Ji and Jia was treated. As long as she doesn't kill her mother or slaughter her relatives, no one can say anything wrong about her. As for Azu, he is a bastard. He is not worthy of the surname Xiao, let alone the word Yan. That would be a humiliation to his brother, and also a humiliation to him. Your Majesty. These are the grain and silver that I have confiscated. Xiao Chai handed over the account book. The time is too short, and there is still a lot of grain and silver that has not been confiscated. Xiao Jianjia looked through the account books and found that the silver confiscated from various households amounted to about 12 million alls and 700,000 dan of grain. There were more than 30,000 sets of various treasures: swords, spears, crossbows, and armor. There are countless acres of land and properties. It was recorded that they owned 5 million acres of land, thousands of houses, and half of the shops in Bianliang. Xiao Jianjia sarcastically said. Back then, the national treasury only had 3 to 5 million taels of tax, silver a year. They all escaped from Bau Jingji, but they were able to save up tens of millions of taels of wealth. He is indeed a good minister of Daqian. As she spoke, she could not help but curse. Rats, these rats, all of them deserve to be killed. At this moment, she finally understood why Liu Yuan went to such great lengths to deal with these people. There is no other reason. These people are the real rats. There are still many people in Jiangdan, and I'm afraid that most of the land in Jiangdan is in their hands. These lands are tax-free. How can such a country survive? They claim to be clean-handed, but they cry poor every day. He is secretly rich. I'll give you 30,000 cavalry, 20,000 infantry, and 2,000 firearmed soldiers to Jiangdan. Arrest the people according to the roster. Chapter 403 Visitors from the Sea. After Xiao Chai received the order, Xiao Jianjia went to see Shang Wei in person. Just summon me here if Her Majesty the concubine Xiao has ordered me to come. Why should I come here in person? Shang Wei was also trying to mend his relationship with Xiao Jianjia, and he spoke very politely. Xiao Jianjia went straight to the point and said, I gave 2,000 musketeers to Xiao Chai and asked him to clear up the south of the Yangtze River. From today on, Daqian will implement the Yi law to prepare for the future when Daqian will be under the control of Yi. Now, all of Xiao Yi's accomplices in Bianjing, including the new party, have been eliminated. Even if there are some omissions, it will not affect the overall situation. 2 months later, after the exam is over, I will bring the Xiao clan and the great scholars of the world to write to your majesty and request a merger. Shang Wei nodded in thought. Xiao Jianjia's trick was incredible. If it worked, she would have made a huge contribution. The country was conquered without bloodshed, and it was a legitimate victory, which could save Day a lot of trouble. Xiao Jianjia came in person to tell him that he had made a great contribution in this regard. He hurriedly said, Don't worry, madam, but if you are driven, I will do whatever it takes. I want to drive the Xiongnu out of Daqian completely. Can I do it? Xiao Jianjia said, Since we want to merge in today, I will hand over the entire Daqian to your majesty. Shang Wei said, Of course, it is possible. But this place is 1,000 miles away from Bau Jingji, and it is troublesome to march. Besides, my mission is only to defend Bianjing. Without further orders from the court, I cannot move at will. And there are troops stationed in Zilling. Xiao Jianjia understood what he meant. Then let's wait a little longer. Thank you, your majesty, for your understanding. Shang Wei also breathed a sigh of relief. She was afraid that Xiao Jianjia would not listen to the explanation if the Huns arrived at the city of Bianjing at this moment, not to mention that they were in Bau Jingji. He would dare to kill them even if they were in Pingjing. Soon, what happened in Bianjing reached Liu Yuan's ears. It was already June and the sun was scorching hot. The heat was also unbearable in Liangjing, and there was a drought. Fortunately, there are dozens of reservoirs of various sizes around Liangjing, and with the inland rivers and canals, the drought has not worsened. In front of him was a map of Day's complex water network. It connects the water sources in the north and south. It is necessary to build a river channel thousands of miles long, which cannot be accomplished overnight. Liu Yuan felt a little itchy. If someone provokes me at this time, I can capture hundreds of thousands of prisoners and solve the labor problem. The fighting power of these envoys from the Honglu temple station outside is not good enough. It's useless to make any move. They are asked to cause trouble, not to make money through peace. Liu Yuan was worried. Think about the Tang dynasty. Those military governors were either causing trouble or on their way to causing trouble. He didn't even think about the fact that Day had already pinned the 3 kingdoms to the ground, so even if he was humiliated, he could only accept it with a pinch of his nose. The envoy from Dajing even humiliated a princess. What was the result? Xia Cheng happily betrothed the princess to him as his wife. The messenger also said that the daughter of King Dajing was of humble status and was not worthy of being his wife. Then let her be a concubine. Being a concubine is not an option either. Xia Cheng asked her to serve him as a maid. Afterwards, he asked the messenger if they were enough. If not, he could pick out a few more beautiful ones. The messenger was immediately killed. After knowing this, Liu Yuan scolded him for being useless. What was a princess? Why didn't he flirt with the queen? Otherwise, this matter will definitely be accomplished. Your Majesty, urgent news from Bianjing. Duan hurried over with an urgent report in her hand. Booze? Empress Xiao. Liu Yuan waved his hand and the letter fell into his hand. The envelope was very thick. Like a book. So much. He was very surprised and checked the sealing wax. Only after confirming that it was correct did he open it. Dozens of pieces of paper slipped out from inside. Every letter has a date. Liu Yuan opened one letter at random and started reading. The content of the letter was very strange. He read it for a while and suddenly remembered the letter he had written to Xiaoji and Jia before. She either doesn't reply or she chooses which ones to reply. This letter seems to be a response to the past. He read it carefully. When will the finale of The Return of the Condor Heroes be released? I have been waiting for you for a long time. I hope Yang Jiuo and Xiaolong Yu can have a good ending. Jiuo Xiang is also pitiful. She fell in love with someone she shouldn't have loved. I hope she has a good ending too. I feel very sleepy today and I am always absent-minded. The moon is very round tonight. I cooked according to your taste yesterday and almost set the kitchen on fire. Grape got scared and said she would never let me in again. It seems I will never have the talent to cook in this life. Your days are short and life is long. Ask me what I should do in the future. I think it's enough to have you accompany me on the road ahead. Liu Yuan read them one by one. And each letter responded seriously to his previous questions. Even after so long, he still remembers it. Some of the words were so corny that they didn't seem like they were written by her. Rape laughed at me and said I was the husband-waiting stone in Bianjing. I looked in the mirror and found that I was indeed as dull as a stone. But the later letters were different. They were written by Xiaoji and Jia on the road. Almost one letter every day. I always felt that you were by my side and I didn't miss you, but now that you're gone, I can't stop missing you for some reason. Please write back soon. Those people wanted to harm me, and I took care of them all. It took Liu Yuan a full hour to finish reading the letters. He also knew everything that happened in Bianjing and Xiaoji and Jia's plan. He knew that she wanted to attack the Huns, take back the territory of Daqian, and hand over Daqian to him completely. He couldn't help laughing too. And he picked up his pen and wrote a long letter, and asked someone to fetch the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber to send to Bianjing. At this time, another urgent report came in. Your Majesty, urgent report from the Western barbarians. Liu Yuan took the urgent report and read it. The Xiongnu army moved eastward. No, their war against the Agubo Empire is not over yet. Given the Xiongnu's cautiousness, they would not be so arrogant as to start a war on two fronts. He had studied Xiongnu, a very interesting person. Extremely confident but also cautious. For example, under what banner did the advanced troops send out? Searching for the survivors. The barbarians are their remnants. A month ago, he even received a letter of accusation from the Huns, accusing Liu Yuan of bullying their left-behind people and demanding an explanation from Liu Yuan. The key point is that the content of this letter has been widely circulated. Those who didn't know would think that Liu Yuan was the invader and described the barbarians as harmless little sheep. He can ride on a horse to fight, farm and care for the people, and even play tricks. This is definitely the template of the son of aversion. So, why did these hundreds of thousands of troops come? Could it be that the Western barbarian war is about to end? If so, be on guard. The most powerful weapon of the Huns was not their heavy cavalry, but their light cavalry that was like locusts. They were highly mobile, had no baggage and plundered along the way. Just as Liu Yuan was thinking. In the port of the East China Sea, a huge ship was anchored at the port, and behind the main ship were hundreds of ships. For a moment, it attracted countless people to watch. Chapter 404, Li Tianzhen gives birth to a child. Li Tianzhen gave birth to a child. The dot managers hurried over with their guards, armed and ready. As one of the few major ports in the East China Sea, the port handles an astronomical amount of cargo every day. It could bring tens of millions of coins in tax revenue to the imperial court every month. Moreover, the naval base is right here. This is definitely not just a merchant ship. It looks more like a navy returning from the ocean. Even Day's navy does not have so many ships. Looking at the flag on the ship, the managers couldn't recognize which country's flag it was. Soon, a huge ship docked and a group of people got off it. Among these people, there are people with blonde hair, blue eyes and red hair, as well as people with black eyes and yellow skin, similar to those in the Central Plains. The leader was a burly man who was about 9 feet tall. Is this Middle-earth? The man spoke in Middle-earth dialect, but judging from his accent, it was closer to the official language in the north, but it was still understandable. The official language of Middle-earth is also a magical existence. This land has never been unified, but the official language of each country is almost the same. It is like the seal script used by Daxia, the official script used by Dajing, and the regular script used by Daqian, except that the seal script is a little more difficult to understand. There is not much difference in essence. The person behind the sturdy man was also looking around curiously. Who are you and where are you from? Asked the dot manager. The sturdy man looked at the administrator and asked with a smile. We are the remnants of the Middle-earth people. We founded a country overseas. We came back this time to trace our roots. Overseas survivors? Everyone present was stunned. The administrator did not dare to let all of them go ashore, so he asked, "Do we need to bring weapons when we are looking for our roots? Is that a divine crossbow on you? What are you talking about?" The sturdy man took off the crossbow from his back. "I guess so. I want to ask, what dynasty is it now?" "Yi. Leaf?" The sturdy man touched his chin and asked, "How many years is it in the Middle-earth calendar?" 3,642 years. The sturdy man nodded. "Then can you let my people get off the boat? I want to see your Emperor Day." At this time, Liang Jing, Lu Yang was waiting anxiously outside the delivery room. Suexiyue was also very nervous and fidgety. "Okay, you two, stop turning around you, Ray, making me dizzy." Lu Qiwishan said, speechless lie. "Dad, I'm anxious," Lu Yang said. Lu Lingzhi took Suexiyue's hand and said, "It's okay, I'm sure the mother and child are safe." Li Yuan also put down his work and came to the hospital specially. This child, as the second person of the third generation of the Lu family, was also the focus of attention. No matter whether Li Yanzhen is good or bad, it's enough that the child is from the Lu family. Soon, the sound of a baby crying was heard from inside. Suexiyue let out a long breath and clasped her hands together. "Buddha bless you, it finally came." Soon, the medical staff came out holding a child. "Congratulations, it's a boy, weighing 15 pounds and 30 grams. Liang didn't even look at the child, but asked nervously, "How is my wife?" "Princess, it's all right. She'll be out in a moment." Suexiyue held her grandson in her arms, smiling from ear to ear. "Oh, he's quite fair, just like Xiaoyan when he was just born." Lu Qiwishan curled his lips. "Aren't all babies born the same? Hold it and don't say anything." Suexiyue glared at him. Li Yang looked at the child and said with a smile, "That's good. Wan finally has a brother." Lu Lingzhi also liked it very much. "Mom, let me hug you." Soon, Li Tianzhen was pushed out of the delivery room, looking very weak. Li Yang hurried forward and held her hand. "Thank you for your hard work." Li Tianzhen smiled and said, "It's not hard. Go into the ward quickly and don't be exposed to the wind." Suexiyue said hurriedly. When Li Tianzhen gave birth to a son, she, as a grandmother, was the happiest and immediately asked Lu Qiwishan for a reward. Lu Qiwishan glanced at Lu Yuan, and after a moment's silence, he said, "Giving gold and silver, or giving imperial farmland, is too vulgar, and the family doesn't even talk about rewards. When the child grows up, send him to the palace and I will teach him myself." "Thank you, father-in-law." Li Yanzhen also knew very well that gold, silver and jewelry were all external things, and only the love and favor of the elders was the greatest support for a child. "Rest well. I'm going back to the palace first," Lu Qiwishan said. "Okay, you men go back. Ling Zhi and I will stay here." Suexiyue waved her hand. Li Yuan also said a few words to his younger brother before leaving with old Lu. "It would be great if there was some way to identify the child's bloodline," Lu Qiwishan said. Li Yuan waved his hand and Duan brought a blood typing test kit. This is a blood typing test done using the child's umbilical cord blood. You can see the conclusion above. Both parents have type 1 blood, so the child is also type 1. It cannot be type 2, or a combination of type 1 and type 2. This is correct. Although there is no more accurate identification method to confirm that this child is from our family, we can still do a rough screening now. Moreover, the identification technology has been continuously improved, and there should be results in a while, Li Yuan said. Lu Qiwishan nodded. Not because he didn't believe his son, but because he didn't believe Li Yanzhen. It is easy to make mistakes if you judge whether a child is a member of the Lu family based on appearance alone. I'm going to the newspaper office first. There's been a lot of controversy regarding Mu Rongwu recently. You keep an eye on her, Lu Qiwishan reminded. "Yes, Dad, I will pay attention," Li Yuan said. Mu Rongwu was devoted to restoring her country. But after Li Yuan ascended the throne, he never went to the Li Yuan to see her again. She asked someone to deliver a letter to the palace, hoping that the remnants of Dayan would join Day, and begging her to allocate a piece of land to these people so that they could survive. A is a multi-ethnic country, so having one more remnant of Dayan doesn't matter. However, after the country was destroyed, the people of this country lost the land on which they depended for survival and had to live a nomadic life in order to make a living. They traveled around and did business. That's all. That's all. But the most disgusting thing about them is that they use all kinds of tricks to destroy a country's economic system, thereby achieving a soft landing and achieving the goal of controlling a country economically. During the more than 100 years of exile, they destroyed more than a dozen countries and were finally hunted down by these countries. Out of a population of 1 million, only 1/10 remained. After arriving in Middle-earth, Their tried and tested tactics finally lost their effectiveness and they were suppressed and even labeled as slaves. All of them were reduced to slavery, never to be able to turn over a new leaf. Therefore, Mu Rong Wanking appeared in the place of fireworks as a singer. Even though her genitals were still bright red, Li Yuan was just playing around because he loved her singing voice. If the remnants of Dayan were really allowed to rise up, who knows what kind of trouble they would cause. Perhaps because she had not received any feedback from Li Yuan for too long, Mu Rong Wanking began to take an unconventional approach and actually learned how to use public opinion to hijack the court. He used a private newspaper and published books to beautify Dayan. Isn't this definitely the Day version of Yiling? Chapter 405, What Yu Chao and Day Have in Common. You can stay alive, but you can't cause trouble. The bandit mentality inherent in the Yan people is the most hateful. He likes to occupy other people's nests and kill the people. In their ideology, getting something for nothing is worthy of praise. This is completely contrary to the mainstream values of Middle-earth. All private newspapers that publish news about Dayan will be suspended for a month and warned not to glorify Dayan anymore. Secondly, send someone to warn Mu Rong Wanking that if she does anything weird again, she will be kicked out of Day. After Duan left, Li Yuan wanted to go to the stadium. But at this time, people from the naval base delivered an urgent message. The letter was written by Han himself. After reading it, Li Yuan couldn't help but frown. Overseas visitors, survivors of Dayu? A recorded history of Middle-earth is only more than 600 years. The history before that was more like a matriarchal society in tribal era. Moreover, the records left behind are only a few words and are very scarce. The first country recorded was Dayu. But even Dayu had never truly unified this land. It lasted for about 500 or 600 years, until the Dayu dynasty was destroyed. And then the Warring States period began. At its peak, there were nearly 300 countries on this land. Later, a legalist proposed the idea of great unification, and the Warring States period gradually ended later. The 7 kingdoms competed for hegemony and the 3 kingdoms emerged. More than 3,000 years of explorable history is not a short time. When Li Yuan came to this world, the technology of the time was actually at the level of the Han and Tang dynasties. It is certain that this land is not a parallel world of Blue Star, but a planet that is 60 similar to Blue Star but larger than Blue Star. However, it is not entirely true to say that it is big, because according to the nautical charts drawn by Chen Ha and others after their overseas expeditions, the sea area of this world is much smaller and far less than 70. But there has been little exploration of this world. The remnants of Dayu who suddenly appeared spoke Middle-earth but wrote in hieroglyphics, which also made Li Yuan curious. Where have they been? We should be able to reach Liangjing in another 3 days, the person at the naval base replied. Li Yuan nodded. If these people were really the remnants of Dayu, would they have records of more ancient dynasties? Also, they seem to have established a fairly large country overseas. Exploring history was just a hobby for him, but he was more interested in doing business with a country that had advanced shipbuilding technology. Soon, the envoys of Dayu Kingdom arrived in Liangjing. Looking at the magnificent capital, they couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. The leading man stood at the bow with his hands behind his back. I didn't expect that after so many years of not coming back, such a great country would be born in Middle-earth. Emerali, this is Liangjing. Someone from the Honglu Temple will come to pick you up later. Goodbye. The boatman pulled the boat to the shore, and sure enough, people from the Honglu Temple had been waiting here for a long time. But is it the envoy of Dayu? I am Li. Li got off the boat and looked at Du Chun in front of him. Emissary Li, I am Du Chun, the minister of the Honglu Temple. I have already set up a banquet in the Honglu Temple. Please move. I want to see Emperor Day. You'll see. Du Chun smiled faintly. You look down on us. You are joking. Your Majesty is very busy and receiving foreign guests is also my job as the Honglu Temple. Let's go. Li Yimei was the first to enter the city, but when he saw the prosperity of Liangjing, he couldn't help but admire it. This reminds me of the peach blossom spring passed down in the ancient stories. This place is prosperous and first class in the world. How does it compare to the Yu dynasty? Although I don't want to admit it, my dynasty is no better than you, Li said frankly. Du Chun couldn't help but laugh and said, Frank, our queen has always warned us that when we go out, we must behave properly, sit upright, and learn all the advanced things. When 3 people walk together, there must be one person who can be my teacher. Du Chun asked curiously, I heard that for so many years, Dayu has always been ruled by a female emperor? Yes, always. I'm also curious. It has been more than 2,000 years since the fall of the Yu dynasty. There has been no change of dynasties in the past 2,000 years? Logically speaking, you should be doing very well. To be honest, over the past 2,000 years, dynasties have changed dozens of times, but the only thing that has not changed is the name of the Great Yu Kingdom. And the fact that the current dynasty has always been ruled by a female emperor. Li sighed, although our ancestors found a place isolated from the world, it is easy to get in but difficult to get out. For more than 2,000 years, we have been looking for a way to return to Middle-earth, but we have never found the way. There is a sea area where there with no wind or waves but with undercurrents, which can easily get a ship caught in it. Or, there will be violent storms and extreme chaos. It is also thanks to Her Majesty the Queen, who was born divine, that she lead us to build a giant ship, so that we can return to our homeland. Li's expression was somewhat complicated. I didn't expect that in all these years, the Middle-earth has experienced so many changes and wars, but the people of Dayu are still simple and honest, unlike here, where people are scheming and deceitful. Du Chun was judging in his heart whether his words were true or not. No matter how big the world was, it was impossible for him to not find a way home after searching for 2,000 years. It took Chen Chen Hai only 1 or 2 years to cross the ocean, so his words do not stand up to scrutiny. How many miles is the Yu dynasty from the Middle-earth? 10,000 miles. But that sea of death is too difficult to cross. It took us more than 2,000 years to cross the hundreds of miles of sea. Only now do I realize how big the world is. Then these blondes. The lowest-ranking slave soldiers include the pitch-black Kunlun slaves. Our ancestors once fought against the Western Rong Western Yi and captured many prisoners. These people multiplied and lived in Dayu, being slaves from generation to generation. In the past, when offering sacrifices to heaven, they had to be pushed out as living sacrifices. But after His Majesty took office, he abolished the practice of live sacrifice. Even slavery was abolished. Strangely enough, our Yu dynasty's new system actually has many similarities with your day. There was some curiosity in Li's eyes. How are they similar? Du Chun continued to ask. You use examinations to select talents. And so do we, but we call it the imperial examination, and it is a measure that has only been implemented in recent years. Imperial examination? Du Chun was in a trance. He vaguely remembered that when he was discussing the method of selecting talents with his master, he mentioned the imperial examination. You know, there are several types of weapons in Middle-earth. Famous people gain fame through their talents, and the imperial court employs people based on their abilities. Recommended by aristocratic family. Officials jointly recommend. Filial and honest. Is this really the imperial examination? It's the imperial examination. And there are civil examination and military examination. The top 3 in the civil examination are called the top scholar, the second scholar, and the third scholar. The martial arts examination is called Wuxiaoing Yuan. Li said, also, we have this road over there, which is also built with cement, but it is too expensive, but His Majesty is determined to build roads across the country. I didn't expect that you guys in Day also have cement. Incredible, this is the mysterious formula given to Your Majesty by your ancestors in a dream. Would it be that the ancestor of Emperor Day and Your Majesty are the same ancestor? Chapter 406. It's a mess. It's all fucking mess. As we all know, this cement formula was researched by Your Majesty. But now Day you can do it too. If he wasn't lying, then he must have bought it from somewhere else. Tell me the truth, did you buy this cement formula from another country? No, Our Majesty made cement earlier than yours. It has only been 7 or 8 years since yours was established, but our Empress made it 10 years ago, Li said seriously. At that time, Our Majesty was only 13 years old. Du Chun took a breath of cold air. There are not so many coincidences in this world, he said calmly. I see it seems that your Yu dynasty Empress is still very wise. Of course we also have distilled liquor, soap, and perfume. We originally said that we would bring them to Middle-earth to give to you. I didn't expect that you actually have them too. Li sighed. As he spoke, Du Chun looked at the carriage behind Li, which was filled with gifts. He felt like he was being scratched by a cat. The sudden emergence of the Yu dynasty and the goods that are only available in Day are obviously not in line with common sense. He laughed dryly. You can't possibly say that you even have gunpowder, right? Really? We even have muskets, but they are not as advanced as yours. Li was also puzzled. When our Empress was in power, she suppressed the chaos and dealt with several surrounding countries. She relied on muskets. Du Chun said directly. Wow. Let me ask further. Are even artillery and airships out? It's strange, really strange. We've arrived at the Honglu Temple. Let's go and try some wine from our hometown. After Du Chun entertained the envoys from the Yu dynasty, he placed them in the guesthouse and then went to the palace to report. After listening to Du Chun's report, Li Yuan was also confused. Is it all true? It looks real, but no one has been there, so we don't know if it's real or not. Du Chun shook his head. I looked at their gifts, and they are definitely not made by us. The wine tastes different. What's the name of the wine? Palace Jade Liquor. Li Yuan almost spit out the tea in his mouth. Where are they? Where are they? Call them into the palace. I want to see them. Li Yuan didn't even bother to wipe the tea off his dragon robe. It was also the first time that Du Chun saw Li Yuan lose his composure like this. He got drunk and was sleeping in the hotel. Li Yuan suppressed the shock in his heart and said, "Forget it, let's wait until they sober up. Your Majesty, I think these people are most likely not from the Yu dynasty." Du Chun said solemnly, "It is obviously unconscionable that they have been searching for a country thousands of miles away for 2,000 years without finding the way back. Even if what they say is mysterious, it cannot cover up the problem. I would rather believe that this is a conspiracy of the Xia dynasty or the Jing dynasty. What's the purpose, the motivation? Of course, they wanted to gain our trust. They said they had cement formulas, roads, perfumes, knives, and so on. We have these too, and they even say they have gunpowder. They used hieroglyphics, but spoke the northern Mandarin. There are too many loopholes. They can customize glass bottles from day to brew different levels of wine. The distillation technology has long been leaked and is not a secret. All countries have produced it. Unless they can produce something that we and they don't have, or provide hard evidence to prove the truth. For example, a sea chart." Li Yuan nodded. He was almost discouraged by the word palace jade liquor. Being a time traveler is his biggest secret. If there is another one, unless it's a woman, and a beautiful one at that. Otherwise, he must be killed. The information reported by Du Chun was that the empress of the Yu dynasty was appointed to the throne at the age of 13. She spent 5 years to quell the rebellion in the country and another 2 years to suppress all disobedience in the surrounding areas. He is only in his early 20s now. It doesn't sound reliable. This is definitely a cheating player. But if you look closely, it's like using your own template to make up a story. Li Yuan tapped his fingers on the table. "Watch him first. I'll ask him tomorrow and we'll know the truth." That night, Li Yuan suffered from insomnia, which was rare. The next day, Li Yuan met Li. This guy came into the palace with a lot of gifts, including perfume, soap, liquor and even glass. Li, the envoy of the Yu dynasty, pays homage to His Majesty the Emperor of Day. Li performed ancient etiquette towards Li Yuan. Li Yuan held up his right hand. "No need to be polite. Please take a seat." Li Yuan looked at him, and Li was also looking at Li Yuan. He was secretly shocked. He didn't expect that the Emperor of Day was so young. Moreover, he conquered the world with his bare hands. From this perspective, he is even more powerful than Your Majesty. I heard that Day Yu is on a continent thousands of miles away. Can you describe it to me? Of course. Although the territory of the Yu dynasty is not as large as that of the Central Plains, it is not small either. 6,000 miles from east to west and 4,000 miles from north to south. However, although our Yu dynasty has a vast territory, the land is not fertile. Half of the land is desert and wasteland, and only less than 50 of the land is suitable for survival. There are 50 million people in the country, and I control many small countries. There are 3 big countries around me, and they all submit to my Yu dynasty. Li described the Yu dynasty in vivid detail, until he introduced kangaroos and koalas. Kangaroos have pouches in their abdomens that can hold baby kangaroos, which they can walk and run in. Koalas like to hang on trees, and we brought some with us this time. Then someone pushed a big cage in, and inside it was nothing else but kangaroos and koalas. Fuck. It's really these two. Li Yuan widened his eyes. There was no such thing in Middle-earth, and there were no kangaroos and koalas in Chen Ha's navigation notes. In other words, these people may really come from another continent. This is a state gift from His Majesty. Please accept it. Li said. Li Yuan suppressed his shock and asked, "What's the explanation for the perfumes and drinks you sent me?" "These perfumes are our Dayyu's top quality perfumes. All made by Her Majesty the Empress." Li picked up a bottle of perfume. "This is called Li Shen floral water." "What water?" "6 gods, this thing not only works as perfume, it can also repel insects. This soap was also made by Your Majesty. It's called Shadiao soap. We usually call it Diabran soap." "Where's the wine?" "Palace jade liquor. We sell it for 180 yuan a cup." Li Yuan clenched his fists. "I just didn't expect that these are available in the Middle-earth, and they are better than ours. We also said that we came here to trade and make some money back from foreign trade." Li scratched his head awkwardly. "Your Majesty, you shouldn't mind. Right?" No. Li Yuan's head was buzzing, but he didn't give up. "Your Majesty should also be proficient in both civil and military strategies, right?" "Yes. Our Majesty also loves to write books. This is the book written by Our Majesty. Please take a look." Whose son presented the book to Li Yuan, who took it and saw that it was in regular script. The title of the book was 3 Lives, 3 Worlds, 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms. Chapter 407, Morong Wang King's Attack. "Wow, you immortal." When Li Yuan saw the title of the book, he was completely dumbfounded. Maybe it's just a young literary woman, who also likes to write novels, who has written a well-known book. Li Yuan opened the book. Empress Ba Qian. The Prince of the Celestial Clan's Night Talk. "Well done." He clutched the book tightly, his eyes full of disbelief. "Is there another time traveler in this world?" Is she a fucking female? Li was also secretly observing Li Yuan's expression. Your Majesty, this book is the proud work of our queen. There are several more such works. Good, well written. Li Yuan closed the book. He could already conclude at this point that there was another person like him. He thought he was the only outlier. This also explains why, after more than 2,000 years of development, the Yu dynasty only had cement and liquor in recent years. The impact of an outlier on the world is enormous. But this person may be in another land, or she may be hiding in Middle-earth or not far away. As long as your Majesty likes it, Li breathed a sigh of relief. Li Yuan clapped his hands, and soon a singing girl entered the palace. There were no singing girls in the palace, and he didn't want this trend to spread. Who else could be the lead dancer if not Murong W. Anking? She was wearing bright red today and looked like a peony. He looked at Li Yuan with quite resentment. Only when distinguished guests come will he let her enter the palace to lead the dance. What a heartless man. Come. Drink and eat. Li Yuan raised his glass. Your Majesty, the Empress of Dayu and I have similar interests, although we have never met. We appreciate each other. The two countries can establish diplomatic relations in the future, and you can set up an embassy in Liangjing. Li was overjoyed and said hurriedly. Li thanks His Majesty Emperor Day. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 dishes, Li Yuan understood everything about the Yu dynasty after Li and others left. He had already drawn a rough map of the Yu dynasty. 6,000 miles from east to west and 4,000 miles from north to south, it is indeed not small. There were 3 major countries around it. Namely Shu, Tang and Shang. The combined land areas of the 3 countries were slightly larger than that of the Yu dynasty. There are also several small island countries, such as Japan, Galai. According to Li, at the end of the Yu dynasty, several groups of people left one after another. The first group was the strongest and occupied the best land. A following groups occupied the 3 kingdoms. Those small island countries were actually established by slaves who escaped overseas in rebellion. For more than 2,000 years, that continent has been isolated from the outside world because there are problems with the sea there and they cannot get out with their shipbuilding technology. It was also after the Empress came to power that the ship was transformed from the very beginning. The Empress told them very clearly that they must find Middle-earth. The Empress has a name. Really? This is probably another middle school girl. Li Yuan also ordered someone to call Chen Ha and the other to over. Your Majesty, Miss Murong requests to see you, Wu Sun said in a low voice. Li Yuan frowned. Tell her to wait in the side hall. Yes. Your Majesty. Li Yuan didn't have the heart to pay attention to her now. Now she just wants to find out whether the Yu dynasty exists, so she wants to form a fleet and go to the Yu dynasty to take a look. Murong W. Anking waited in the side hall for a long time, from morning to evening, but she didn't dare to say a word. He could only squat in the corner and rest against the pillar. As a result, she fell asleep when Li Yuan woke her up. She was so scared that she knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Your Majesty, please forgive me. Get up. Li Yuan glanced at her. I dare not. Murong W. Anking looked at him timidly with a face full of grievance. Don't dare, I think you dare. Li Yuan snorted coldly. If you don't get up now, don't get up in the future. Cut off your legs, and I will make you kneel for the rest of your life. Murong W. Anking was so frightened that she trembled all over and quickly got up from the ground. Her eyes full of tears, she thought to herself, why wasn't I so fierce when I was asked to show off my singing skills? Now they either issue warnings or chop off legs at the slightest provocation, and they change their attitude faster than turning the pages of a book. Your Majesty, I will never dare to act on my own again. I will accept any punishment you give me, even if you have to hang me up. Murong W. Anking's big amber eyes were filled with innocence. Don't give me that. I'm already doing you a favor by allowing you to live in the country. Do you still expect to ask for more? Li Yuan snorted coldly. What have you done in the past 100 years? Don't you know? I don't kill you, not because I am soft-hearted, but because you haven't done anything you shouldn't have done. But I tell you, this is your last chance. If I find out that you have done anything out of line, I will kill you without a single mortal left. Including you. Murong W. Anking felt Li Yuan's true killing intention, and goosebumps stood up all over her body. She couldn't help but shudder. I dare not, I dare not. Burn your Yan State's creed for me from now on. You are not allowed to believe it anymore, and you must intermarry if I find out that you are still doing evil things in private. Death is only the result, but the process will make you live a life worse than death. Lu Yuan said. With his temper, killing these Yan survivors would be just a matter of a word, but these people had also put in some effort and made some contributions before. So it is not a good idea to kill the donkey after it has done its job. But this is the limit of what Lu Yuan can tolerate. I understand. I will strictly discipline them when I return. After today, the Yan Kingdom's creed will be completely destroyed, and women in the tribe must marry Yimin. Murong W. Anking knelt in front of Lu Yuan and tapped his leg lightly with her fist. Your Majesty, please don't be angry. If you get angry and damage your health, I will be guilty of a great sin. Li Yuan didn't say anything. Murong W. Wanking gritted her teeth and said boldly, I have learned a new song recently, Your Majesty. Would you like to listen to it? And let's listen. Li Yuan leaned against the dragon throne. Murong Wan cleared her throat and then began to sing. You know what, this song really has great technique. Li Yuan felt comfortable listening to it. However, the time for one song was still too short. It was only after about 6 or 7 songs that Li Yuan asked her to stop. Murong W. Wanking was panting and sweating. She swallowed hard and felt better. Your Majesty, I want to stay in the palace and serve you. She knew that this was her last chance. If she didn't seize it today, she would never be able to get close to Li Yuan again. Li Yuan has drawn a red line. Whoever crosses it will die. The result is predictable. And that is that the Yan people will be dispersed. When the Great Yan Creed was burned, Yan perished. Li Yuan thought for a while and nodded. Then stay in the palace. I can't say I like it, but I can't let others use the spittin I have used. That would be so disgusting. She is beautiful, can sing and dance, and can entertain herself when she is bored. Thank you, Your Majesty. Murong W. Wanking was so excited that she almost hugged Li Yuan Qin. Chapter 408 Shenoijing Fleet. 2 days later, Chen He, Shank Wang and Yang Tao arrived in Liangjing. At this time, Chen He was already the Director General of the Shipping Department, which was under the Honglu Temple Customs Office. In order to facilitate management, the Honglu Temple was also upgraded to a first-rank government office. The Director General of the Ship Department is a second-rank official. Chen He also enjoys the treatment of a full colonel and his meritorious service ranks at the 14th level. Shank Wang was transferred from the Deputy Director of the Ship Department to the Director of Song's Han Shipyard. He no longer served as a civilian official, but was affiliated with the military department. He was treated as a full colonel, or the Bronze Cross Medal of Merit, was awarded the rank of 1-star Major General, and his merit was rank 13th. Yang Tao, Director General of the Fisheries Administration, was affiliated with the Ministry of Revenue, a third-rank government official with deputy division level treatment, and ranked 12th in terms of merit. After the three of them greeted each other, Li Yuan said, I called you three from the government office because I have a new mission for you. Although you have just returned from overseas, I wonder if you have heard of the newly emerged Yu dynasty. I've heard a little about it, Chen He replied. I want to send an Shenoijing fleet to look for this Yu dynasty. If it is true, we can exchange letters of credence and establish an embassy, establishing ocean trade. If the Yu dynasty was close at hand, Li Yuan would still need to worry, but since it was thousands of miles away, there was no need to worry. As of now, base technology crushes Yu Chao in all aspects. Even if the Empress is like herself, she is probably also a liberal arts student. He has already invented the internal combustion engine. What can he use to fight against me? It is also possible that they are pretending to be pigs and eating the tiger. But if this is true, we must send a fleet to find out. Your Majesty, I am willing to go, but there are too many official duties in the government office. If I leave, there will be no one to manage it. The other two nodded. Li Yuan said, I understand. So I asked you to come here. I want you to nominate a group of people. They must be experienced, preferably someone who can shock the crowd. It is obviously not rational to let all three of them go. 3 positions will be vacant, and it will be difficult to find suitable people to fill them in a short time. Needless to say, the shipping department is a major tax collector. The shipyard is even more important. The Fisheries Administration has an arduous task, including fishing in the ocean, drying salt on the beach. Canning fish and drying salt. They also have to ensure that basic living supplies are not in short supply and that prices are stable during disaster years. There are many experienced veterans, but if we need someone who can shock the crowd. Chen He gritted his teeth. Your Majesty, I recommend myself. The shipyard is busy with its daily duties. So I'll go, Shank Wang said. There's not much to do in the shipyard anyway, and a ship can't be built in a day. I'll be away for a year or two, and maybe it'll be finished when I come back. You're talking nonsense. Shipbuilding is the most important thing. Without ships, how can we trade, sail, and build a navy? Yang Tao said. I'll go. The Fisheries Administration has a constant mission. As long as there are enough people, it can be completed. It doesn't matter whether I'm here or not. Chen He and Shank Wang smiled bitterly. It was precisely because of this that the Fisheries Administration was such a popular job. As long as the tasks were completed on time, there would be many benefits. Seeing the three people pushing each other, Li Yuan said, don't fight anymore. Draw lots. Whoever draws the right one will get his time when we go to Yu Dynasty. We will lead a navy to draw more detailed sea charts and train more professional sailing talents. But no matter who goes, there will be no one to replace the original position. If an accident occurs at sea, I will take care of your family and descendants. I will posthumously confer the title of Guaneni Hu, and the title will be hereditary. I will never break my promise. I dare not die for your Majesty. The three of them knelt on the ground. The final result of the drawing of lots came out, and the person going out to sea was Chen Ha. Chen Ha, from now on, you will be the envoy and in charge of all matters. You can act first and report later. I will give you 30,000 men and 15,000 naval forces. Prepare supplies today. Instruct the Ministry of Revenue to prepare a batch of state gifts and send them to the Yu dynasty to exchange letters of credence. Yes, I will obey your order, Chen Ha. I thank the emperor for his grace. Shangguang and Yang Tao both sighed. In fact, they had already achieved success and fame, and they no longer had to work so hard. After arranging the diplomatic mission, Li Yuan was quiet for a few days. Half a month later, the fleet set out on a mission and left in a grand manner. Li also sent some people to leave with the fleet. He originally wanted to continue exploring his ancestral land, but learning that Xi Jing had embassies of most countries saved him a lot of trouble. He successively contacted the embassies of Daxia, Dajing and others. In the blink of an eye, it's July. The International Conference. This year's International Conference is still lively. A released the steam engine and steam locomotive, which dazzled everyone's eyes. After suffering a loss, the Xia dynasty immediately placed orders for steam engines and steam locomotives. Even if a steam engine cost as much as 300,000 leaf coins, he would accept it. The price of a steam locomotive is as high as 1 million yi coins. But on the first day, more than 300 orders of steam engines and steam locomotives were sold. It generated more than 100 million yi coins in revenue per day. The equipment purchased was most related to people's livelihood, such as sewing machines, sockets and the like. A's bicycles are still selling well. Other countries can imitate the frames, but they cannot produce brake pads, tires, chains, or even air cores. Large horse-drawn buses are purchased by various countries to transport supplies. After they had the cement formula, they began to build the Lizzie Road on a large scale. However, the cement plant's equipment broke down and needed to be purchased from Day. Although less cement is exported, the profit is higher. So after a few days, the International Congress sold a total of 600 million yi coins, which was equivalent to about 60 million oils of silver. The electricity price has come down this year, but the power supply volume has increased from 1 million kWh last year to 10 million kWh. Cement plants are big consumers of electricity. Among the equipment purchased from Day, how many do not require electricity? Last year, he made 100 million yi coins from selling electricity. Only 1/3 of this money was paid in the form of gold and silver, and the rest was barter or resource trading. A has already shown the attitude of conquering the world. The Huns did not send anyone over, which made Li Yuan feel a little regretful. As gold and silver were brought into the treasury, Xi Yuan couldn't close her mouth. It's rich, it's rich. Now we have money. Li Yuan looked at Xi Yuan's greedy face and couldn't help pinching her face. You are obsessed with money. There are only 30 to 50 million taels of silver in the treasury. Your Majesty, do you know how anxious I am? Xi Yuan said confidently. If it is less than 80 million tael, it will be very dangerous. The state-owned bank has just started, and this silver cannot be moved. If the purchasing power of YEBI decreases, how can we conquer the world? Perhaps it was because banks were too advanced, that there were so few depositors that using banks to take over the world did not meet expectations. Especially the rich are more cautious and would rather let their money rot in the ground than deposit it in the bank. The reason is simple. Since ancient times, merchants have been fat sheep. Once you are fattened up, both the imperial court and the government can find any reason to kill you. They can't help but be afraid. Chapter 409 Vomiting Blood. Li Yuan has already launched a series of combined punches, but they are all useless. He said, from today on, foreign raid must be connected by banks, and any private transactions will be caught. In addition, the interest rate was raised to 3%. The salaries of officials across the country will no longer be paid in grain. Instead, they will be uniformly counted by local finance and taxation departments and then transferred to banks for invoices, which will make statistics easier. Xi Yuan took out a notebook and started writing things down. Also, let banks lend money to foreign countries. Li Yuan thought of some more measures. Let's try it out first to see the effect. It takes time for the people to accept it. The Day court had a strong credibility and its coins were never shoddy. But paper money is not acceptable. The most popular coins in circulation now are silver coins or gold coins. Only big businessmen would choose to use large denomination banknotes, which are the most convenient to carry. Take it slow, you can't become fat in one go. Li Yuan sighed and turned back to his official duties. In August, the sports conference continued. The popularity of Liang Jing has never declined since when. Every move of Liang Jing has affected the world situation. Emperor Xi prepared to refute Day and hold a world conference and a sports conference, taking this opportunity to enhance the influence of Daxia. If you can't get the high-end market, then focus on the mid and low-end markets. As Lianla cracked the code of gunpowder, large-scale muskets and cannons came into being, which also gave Emperor Rek'Sai confidence. But he did not blindly think that he could compete with Day. I just want to stay alive for 2 more years so my daughter can research more weapons. That day, he came to Lianla's laboratory again. Since returning to Deaxia, Lianla has spent 90 of her time here in just over a year. She has turned a young girl into a yellow-faced woman. The tuft of white hair on the top of the head looks particularly conspicuous. Ella, Dad has brought you some food. Emperor Rek'Sai looked at his daughter lying there with an unhappy look on his face, and walked forward to wake her up. Father, you are here. Lianla was half asleep, with a bewildered look on his face. He had not slept for a whole day and night yesterday, so he took a rest at dawn. As soon as he fell asleep, Emperor Rek'Sai came. Come, take some tonics to nourish your body. Xid pushed a soup made of various tonic ingredients in front of her. This is good. It won't make you sleepy after drinking it. Lianla rubbed his sleepy eyes and said, Father, this soup tastes terrible. It's right that it tastes bad. There are few tonics that taste good. Under Emperor Rek'Sai's expectation and urging, Lianla had no choice but to drink the medicine. Seeing that she had finished drinking it all, Xid nodded in satisfaction. Girl, how is your research on the howitzer going? The craftsmanship of casting the gun barrel is still too poor. The inner wall is full of bubbles and holes. The strength is not up to standard, and the probability of explosion is very high. Moreover, the purity of the gunpowder was not good enough. They used a new type of gunpowder, which was not a combination of saltpeter and charcoal. More complex purification methods are required. Lianla let out a long sigh, feeling somewhat helpless. I had to find another way and make a rocket launcher. Lianla took out something similar to a skyrocket. Although the range of this is not as far as the howitzer, the flight distance is also 300 feet. And the explosive power is also considerable. Only 300 feet, Emperor Rek'Sai frowned. And it kill people? Day's howitzers are not only for defending the city, but also extremely powerful in field battles. One shell fired, and the area within a radius of several dozen meters was completely empty. Father, if we had Day's technology, I could also copy the howitzer. But the problem now is that even if the drawings of the howitzer were placed in front of us, we can't cast a qualified barrel or polish qualified parts. This is the key. Lianla said, aggrieved lie. This rocket launcher is the best alternative I can think of. No, it's too bad. Emperor Rek'Sai was unhappy, but thinking that this thing could also make up for the army's long-range attack means, he said, let's make a batch and see the effect. We can't just passively accept the attack. I still mean the same thing. We must have howitzers. Even if we don't have howitzers, we must build qualified mortars. There are also high-powered landmines, grenades, and white phosphorus bombs, which are also of paramount importance. But these, we are truly qualified to compete with Day. Otherwise, it can only swallow our anger. Lianla smiled bitterly. Father, it's not that I don't want to. You are just being lazy. Every time I come to see you, you are either sleeping or sleeping again. Think about the humiliation Xi has suffered. And think about your 2 sisters who are still in dire straits in Day. Think about the civilians and soldiers who died tragically, and the land that was looted. Can you really sleep? Emperor Rek'Sai clenched his fists and spoke excitedly. Lianla lowered her head. She is also a human being. He only rests for 2 hours every day. And sometimes even only for 1 hour. He works here day and night, sending out weapon blueprints and weapon formulas one by one. What is available? She also wanted to go out and breathe some fresh air. I also want to go out and play with my friends. She even wanted to find a good husband and have a romantic relationship with him. And now, even rest is a luxury for her. The strong sense of guilt oppressed her nerves and brought her to the brink of collapse. Tears suddenly burst out of her eyes, and the big tears fell to the ground. Emperor Rek'Sai was talking excitedly, but when he saw this, his voice stopped abruptly. However, he did not coax her, but said coldly, if crying can solve the problem, I will cry more than you. My daily torment is no worse than yours. Just thinking about these humiliations keeps me awake at night. Yesterday, I went to the Taimyo again to confess my crime. If you really care about me as a father, then stop being lazy. Once these weapons are built, you can rest however you want. Lianla cried even louder. Immediately afterwards, her face turned pale, and then her throat felt sweet, and a large amount of blood spurted out of her mouth. Wow! The blood sprayed directly onto Emperor X's dragon robe. Father, I am not lazy. I really am not lazy. Lianla's mouth and body were full of blood, and his face was full of grievance and fatigue. My daughter is just too tired, so tired, staying up late every day, thinking about drawings every day, and trying every way to design every day. But my daughter is too tired, so let me rest for a while. She will be fine soon. Wow! Lianla spat out another large mouthful of blood. Empress, I just watched his daughter fall to the ground. Immediately, a loud explosion echoed throughout the laboratory. Doctor, call the doctor quickly to save my daughter. Emperor Rek'Sai panicked and hugged the limp Lianla and ran out of the door. My daughter, hold on, the doctor is here. The doctor will be here soon. However, Lianla had lost all perception. His face was as pale as gold paper, and his hands hung limply in the air. Emperor Rek'Sai was completely panicked. He didn't expect that his daughter would vomit blood just because he shouted a little louder. Daughter, wake up, Dad will never yell at you again. Chapter 410 Arrival in Middle-earth. He couldn't understand why he vomited blood just because he yelled at her. He didn't even know what kind of pressure Lianla was under. He didn't even think about the fact that most of the backbone of such a huge country like Deaxia was provided by Lianla. She never slacked off for a single day, only trying to catch up with Day's footsteps. But she is alone. Reforms in Deaxia have not yet shown results. The young masters of aristocratic families have occupied important positions, but they are just sitting there doing nothing. The truly talented people, on the other hand, have no way out. In the workshop, even an experienced craftsman with superb skills could only earn an extra 100 or so coins by making a qualified gun barrel, and his monthly salary was only 3 or 5 tiles of silver. She had earlier written to follow the example of Big Lee's in craftsman grading. Today, even a newly qualified first-level technician can earn a basic monthly salary of 5 tiles of silver, not to mention subsidies for 3 meals a day, which means there is meat for every meal. They are also guaranteed housing allocation, and taking into account performance, the salary is at least 10 tiles of silver a month. The higher you go, the higher the monthly salary. It is said that the basic salary for the highest level 8th grade fitter is 500 tiles of silver. In comparison, the gap is too big. Not to mention, under Day's merit system, even craftsmen have the opportunity to be rewarded with the lordship. Just based on this point, how could Day's craftsmen not work hard? These people in Deaxia are no good. Even after reforms, they are still conservative in nature. They still look down on these craftsmen and treat them like cattle and horses. Day has a technical school with senior technicians giving lectures, and they are not stingy with their skills. Newbies have a solid foundation and can learn from the shoulders of their predecessors. They also have a complete reward system and are not stingy with their rewards and praise. This is also the reason why the development of firearms in Deaxia is very slow. In order to make up for this shortcoming, Lianla frantically compressed her rest time. She would not rest unless she reached her limit. Emperor Rek'Sai also forgot that she was just a teenage girl. The first aid lasted for a long time, and luckily Lianla's vomiting of blood was stopped. The imperial physician said, "Your Majesty, Princess Anla's diet is extremely irregular. She often stays up late and doesn't get enough rest. Her pulse is weak, her liver fire is strong, and her stomach fire is burning. She is easily unable to be nourished." Emperor Rek'Sai was stunned. So, it was his bowl of soup that caused it? When will she be able to recover? A princess is in poor health and must rest for a few days, otherwise, she will lose her vitality and will be left with a difficult-to-cure illness in the future. The imperial physician said carefully. Emperor Rek'Sai nodded. "Give me the best medicine and let her recover as soon as possible." After Emperor Rek'Sai left, Lianla, who had closed his eyes, opened them and tears rolled down from the corners of his eyes. Her father's words completely chilled her heart. Even though he was in this condition, he didn't ask himself to have a good rest. Instead, he asked the imperial physician to cure him as soon as possible. Wasn't it because he wanted him to continue to devote himself to research? Is my sister really in dire straits? Lianla smiled bitterly. Who is really in dire straits? She sighed softly and then closed her eyes. The western border line of Dajing, now the Xiongnu border. Hundreds of thousands of cavalry arrived in a mighty force. Xiang brought a large army and waited at the border. In the middle of the army, a huge chariot pulled by more than a dozen horses stood in the middle. A fragrant sedan was surrounded by pink and red gauze, and several hot maids were kneeling in the middle, holding silk fans in their hands and gently fanning them. On the ivory bamboo mat in the middle, Yan Zhi, wearing a tube top and hot pants, was resting with her eyes closed. After nearly half a year, we finally arrived at the border of Middle-earth. In front of her, there were a large number of books, all written by the same author. Liuan. The large army stopped. Xiang hurriedly led everyone forward to greet them. He knelt in front of the fragrant sedan chair and said, "Your humble servant Xiang respectfully welcomes the princess." Yan Zhi replied lazily without even opening her eyes. "Hearing that the princess is coming, I have already built a princess mansion. Please come over," Xiang said respectfully. "Walk." Yan Zhi's voice was very charming. Xiang saw through the gauze that graceful waist, slender thighs, and the amazing curve upwards. He couldn't help swallowing, his eyes full of fanaticism. Adhan doesn't want to marry the princess? He is only in his early 30s and has every chance. Soon, the large army entered the city, and Yan Zhi, supported by her maid, walked down the stairs step by step. Xiang wanted to approach and show his affection, But Yan Zhi didn't even look at him. You're too ugly. Stay away from me. Xiang's smile froze on his face, and he rubbed his hands in embarrassment. Yes, I am indeed ugly. Yan Zhi snorted coldly. Not every man could get close to her. She even wrapped herself in an outer coat, but her graceful figure was not something these people could envy. Xiang withdrew his gaze, as humble as a dog. Entering the princess's residence, Yan Zhi asked, "What is the situation in Middle-earth recently?" "It's a long story. Don't talk nonsense, just make it short," Yan Zhi said. Xiang stood up straight and told Yan Zhi everything that had happened in the past few days. When he learned that Chiqiu had suffered a great defeat, Yan Zhi's expression turned cold. Xiang said hurriedly, "It was that Fang who tricked us. Otherwise, Zilling would have been taken over long ago." "Continue." "Yes." Xiang wiped the sweat from his forehead and continued. "When Yan Zhi heard that Lu Yuan invited the Xiongnu to attend the international conference and they did not go, she frowned and said, 'Fools. Since Lu Yuan invited you, why don't you go?'" Xiang shrank his neck. "I'm afraid it's a trick. To say you are an idiot is really flattering you," Yan Zhi said coldly. "Why did the Yi army stay in Bianjing and hesitate to take action? It's because they have no legitimate reason to do so. Yi Yujingji was lost several times, and even Da Qian himself didn't care about it anymore, let alone Day. The empress returned to Bianjing, which clearly meant she wanted to take down Da Qian without bloodshed. Even Li Yuan could only issue an order to kill slaves to please the people of Da Qian. He invites people from all over the world, so he will definitely not cheat you. What kind of small country are we, Xiongnu? Behind you is the vast Xiongnu Empire, which is even larger than China. Even if it's Lu Yuan, he has to think twice." "Princess, calm down, princess. Calm down. If I were Lu Yuan, I would definitely not take the initiative. It would be better to let the Xiongnu sweep across the central plains and create a chaos. Ban Day would come as a savior and drive out the Xiongnu in an instant. He would become the common ruler of the world. Since we are going to war anyway, why not maximize the benefits?" Every time the grassland peoples invaded Middle-earth, it was not only a disaster for Middle-earth, but also a cleansing. All the old forces were reshuffled. For Day, this is a godsend. And you, a fool, have lost the best opportunity to understand Day, and are still here feeling complacent. Blop. Xiang was so scared that he knelt on the ground. "I admit my crime, please punish me, princess." Chapter 411. "Okay, princess. Forget it, you Ray, not a smart person anyway. It was my biggest mistake for my brother to ask you to come, but it doesn't matter now that I'm here. Everyone has to obey my orders." Yes, I will obey the princess's orders. I dare not disobey." Yan Zhi brought 500,000 cavalry, 50,000 of whom were Huns, which was considered the main force. "How many troops do we have in Middle-earth?" "Princess, there are a total of 400. Zero cavalry and 300,000 infantry, of which 600,000 are reorganized troops," Xiang said. "And including what I brought this time, it's 1.2 million. Yan Zhi clapped her hands. "Okay, then let's go to Liangjing to take a look." Ji Yang was dumbfounded. "Princess, you can't just go to Liangjing casually." "Shut up. What do you know? Only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you win every battle." Yan Zhi said coldly. "Write a letter to Li Yuan immediately and tell him that the emperor of the Xiongnu is willing to establish diplomatic relations with Day." Xiang had no choice but to nod in agreement. Delivering a letter takes time, and the first thing Yan Zhi did when she arrived in Middle-earth was to build a palace. Dajing Shenjing cannot be conquered for the time being. Then Da Qian's Ba Yujingji is the best choice. Logically speaking, Liangjing is located in the northern part of the central part of China, which is very suitable to be the capital. But there is no choice now. We can only temporarily make Ba Yujingji the secondary capital. Xiang was puzzled. "Princess, why do you want to repair Ba Yujingji? If you want to destroy a country, you must first destroy its capital and destroy the people's faith on the contrary. When we, the Xiongnu, establish a capital, we are raising our flag. Bingjing is good, but it is thousands of miles away from here. It takes about a year to go back and forth. The emperor is far away. Do you think the people can identify with the Xiongnu kingdom? If the capital city was right before them, do you think they would be in awe?" Xiang suddenly realized. "Princess, you are wise. Make Ba Yujingji the capital, and tell the outside world that the Xiongnu Empire may move its capital to Ba Yujingji in the future. And we will build this city where we are stationed into a secondary capital. In this way, the Xiongnu will have a firm foothold in China." Yan Zhi looked at the map. Although the newly occupied territory was large, it was long and narrow. It was more than 4,000 miles long from east to west, but only 1,000 miles deep. The establishment of Ba Yujingji in the secondary capital is equivalent to 2 bridgeheads radiating to the entire Middle-earth. Siang thought for a while the strategy they implemented in Middle-earth was to kill first and then stabilize, but he always felt that people were restless. But if we temporarily set the capital in Beijing, it would be different, as if we had a backbone? He gave a thumbs up, as expected of Her Royal Highness. Princess, you are indeed farsighted. I was wearing a gentleman's outfit, holding a folding fan made in Yuan. She opened the fan in a chic manner and smiled evilly. What's that? The fun has just begun. I came here with the purpose of disrupting Middle-earth. Just building the capitals was not enough, so she once again issued a decree to recruit talents under the order of Xiongnu. Anyone with talent, regardless of their background, can enter the talent recruitment hall. If you stand out, at the very least you can be a local official. Various measures were implemented in parallel. And in just 1 month, the territory occupied by the Huns was actually stabilized. Even the order to kill slaves did not have much appeal. Nearly 10,000 people entered the talent recruitment hall and were then assigned to various places. Most of these people are from poor families. It was on this day that Yan Zichai received a reply from Day's envoy to the Hong Luguan in Daqian. Invite the Xiongnu envoys to Liangjing. Let's go. Take 500 people and go to Liangjing. Siang was dumbfounded. Princess, 500 people are not enough. We need at least 50,000 people. And you led 50,000 people? Yan Zichai tapped Siang's head with her fan. Siang smiled bitterly. If that Lu Yuan. He is the emperor of Day. Not a villain. What's the point of arresting me? I am a woman, and at most I can be humiliated by her. Even if I give birth to 7 or 8 sons for her, it won't change the situation of the war. If you really catch me, a 1,000,000-strong army will invade like crazy. Which is not in Day's interest, do you understand? If he dares to touch the princess, I will fight him. He didn't hear what was said afterwards. He only heard Yan Zichai say that she was humiliated and gave birth to 7 or 8 sons for Lu Yuan. This cannot be tolerated. How could a princess of the Xiongnu give birth to a child in Middle-earth? If I have to give birth, I'd rather give it to the Huns. Then you win? Yan Zichai knocked on his head again. It's faster to enter from the northern part of Daqian. Why don't you make arrangements? Oh, Xian nodded a grieved lie. These days, Yan Zichai got the cement formula from a small country that wanted to rely on it. I just don't know what important technology I can get from going to Day this time. It is said that Emperor Day was handsome and mighty, but I don't know whether it is true or not. In the carriage built by Day, Yan Zichai did not feel the bumps even when she was lying down. She was holding the latest copy of the Heaven Sword in Dragon Saber in her hand and could not put it down. She always felt that Princess Min Min Temur was written according to her template. She is quirky, clever, brave and resourceful. Just like another her. But seeing that she gave up the great empire for a man, his face suddenly fell. He's just a man. Just for fun, no real feelings for him. Zhang Wuji is also a fool as the leader of the Ming cult. He has the qualifications and ability to dominate the world, but he chooses to live in seclusion. If he really becomes emperor, there would be nothing wrong in marrying him. But he is not. He likes women but doesn't dare to say it. What a hypocrite. Yan Zichai threw the book aside with a frustrated look on her face. This book is too irrational. I want to ask you what is going on in Li Yuan's mind. More than half a month later, the convoy arrived in Liangjing. Along the way, Day's prosperity has far exceeded their imagination. But the grandeur of Liangjing cannot be described in words. A clear river surrounds this great capital like a jade belt. Sir, we have arrived in Liangjing, Xing said respectfully outside. Yan Zichai was not allowed to call her princess. The officials from the Honglu temple have arrived. Yan Zichai pushed open the window, twirled the newly grown mustache at the corner of her mouth, and said in a rough voice, I know. The one who came to greet Yan Zichai was none other than Du Chun. Du Chun stepped forward and saluted. I am Du Chun, the minister of the Honglu temple, and I am here to welcome Princess Yan Zichai by order. Yan Zichai was stunned for a moment. Then frowned. You are blind, how can I look like a woman? Yan Zichai got out of the car, opened her arms, and turned around. If His Majesty says she is a princess, then she is a princess. Even if you are a man, you are still a princess, Du Chun said lightly. Listen carefully. Call me Master Wuji. Yes, Princess Rouge. Rouge clenched her fists. Say it again, I'm a man. Come here, to people. Search this young man. Du Chun waved his hand, and 2 female guards came over. Xiang shouted angrily. How dare you? Either you are searched and brought into the city, or you go back to where you came from. Chapter 412. Interview. Is this how Day entertains guests? Xiang was furious. Everyone who comes today will be treated like this, Du Chun said calmly. Even if it's your Xiongnu emperor who comes, he has to dismount and be searched. Master, they don't take us seriously at all. Xiang said, gritting his teeth. Rouge sighed, come on, search. The two female guards stepped forward and searched him from head to toe. "Sir, it is indeed the princess," said one of the female guards. Yan Zhi blushed, knowing she couldn't pretend anymore, so she said, "I just like this look. Is that okay?" "Of course," Du Chun nodded, "since there is no problem. Let's enter the city." Du Chun did not have a good impression of the Hun's envoys, and Lu Yuan also specifically told them not to take special care of them, to put it bluntly. They were just dishes on large leaf plates. Would you care about the prey that was about to be eaten? Along the way, the scene of being warmly received as Ci imagined did not appear. This was Du Chun with a few assistants and a carriage, without even a ceremony. If you don't know, you might think it's just an ordinary caravan entering the city. "Master, they are going too far and don't even take us seriously," Si Yang said angrily. "It's all exposed. So why call me young master?" Yan Zichai was so angry that she pulled off the beard stuck to her face. Even if the princess is really a prince, he is still the most handsome prince in the Xiongnu. "Get out of the car, this is not your place to come in." "Oh, I'll get out of here right now." Xian laughed dryly and left the carriage. Soon, they arrived at the Honglu temple, but when they got off the car again, Yan Zhi had changed into women's clothes and looked very beautiful. Even Du Chun couldn't help but take a few more glances. "Princess Yan Zhi, have a simple meal at the Honglu temple at noon. And take a good stroll on Yangjing at night. His Majesty will probably summon you tomorrow," Du Chun said. "Then my two female assistants will accompany you. We are here at the invitation of your Emperor of Day. We are here to do business with you. Is this the attitude you should have towards your guests?" Yan Zhi said calmly. "If that's the case, I will leave now. It's better not to do business with you." Du Chun rolled his eyes. "Oh, so it's business. I thought the Xiongnu came here to confess their crimes. It's my fault." "Bullshit, what crime have we committed? Even if we are guilty, it is you, Day, who are guilty. You sneakily attacked my Xiongnu army. You are so shameless." Si Yang cursed. It has always been the Hun army that attacked others, but they didn't expect that their first defeat in the Middle-earth would be caused by Day. Warfare is the art of deception. Du Chun looked at Si Yang with contempt. "Also, Biao Pine Ji, Yujingji is Daqian's inherent territory, and Daqian is a vassal state of Day. If you don't want to go back to Mobi, just withdraw your troops. Whether you are a hero or a coward, let's practice on the battlefield. What's the point of just talking? To weak, there's no point in fighting." Du Chun smiled and said to Yan Zhi, "Princess Yan Zhi, I'm sorry I can't keep you company. This is too much." Xiang clenched his fists, his eyes full of anger. "What's the point of shouting?" Yan Zhi said calmly. "They look down on us. This attitude is not normal. Who made us lose the battle? If we win this battle, will they still dare to treat us in this way?" Xiang gave a bitter smile. "That was an accident. There are no surprises in war." Yan Zhi said lightly. "After so many years, my brother thought that he had picked up all the face and humiliation he lost in the past. But they did not take us seriously. That is not self-confidence that is built up blindly, but their absolute confidence in their own strength. If you don't want to be bullied, then speak with your ability. Otherwise, next time, I'm afraid no one will come to greet you." Yan Zhi glanced at him sideways, her eyes full of solemnity. "Day's strength is definitely worth learning from. Dajing and Daqian are not worthy of Day. Don't be complacent just because you have defeated two old countries that are on the decline and rotten to the core. What lies before you is a new and rising nation. Even before it reaches its peak, it already has the power to intimidate Middle-earth. When he grows up, he will be the biggest enemy of our Xiongnu." Si Yang was silent for a while before he said, "One day, I will conquer Liangjing and give it to the princess as a gift. You better be able to do it." Yan Zhi glanced at him and then smiled charmingly. "After you've had enough, let's go for a walk." Meanwhile, Du Chun was reporting to Lu Yuan. "She has been taken to the Honglu temple and will be staying at the guest house tonight. But your Majesty, are you really not going to capture Princess Yan Zhi? It is said that she is Xiongnu's only biological sister, and they have a very good relationship. If we capture her and threaten Xiongnu, we can easily make them withdraw their troops. Then they won't invade Middle-earth?" Lu Yuan asked back. "No. Xiongnu treats this sister very well because she likes alpine snow lotus. He personally led his troops to destroy the Gaoshan kingdom. Her status in Xiongnu's heart is not ordinary. But he never allows anyone else to approach Yan Zhi, which shows her status in Xiongnu's heart. If we plunder her, the Huns will certainly not be able to defeat us, but others will suffer. This time they brought 500,000 cavalrymen. Do you think we have the ability to protect all of them? And it won't be just a few thousand or tens of thousands of people dying. I'm afraid even millions of people won't be able to stop the disease." She was captured and millions of people died who lost. Li Yuan really wanted the Huns to cause trouble, but if it resulted in the tragic death of 1 million or more people, then there was no need to do that. Although being a hegemon requires a heart of stone, it does not mean being cold-blooded or ruthless. What are you going to do in this no man's land? The people of this land were so miserable every time a great catastrophe struck Middle-earth. Most of them were killed then. After more than 100 years of recuperation and reaching their peak, they were harvested again. Their lives are not lives, but just chips in the hands of those in power. Your Majesty is merciful, Du Chun said sincerely. Just wait a few more days until we are fully grown, and then we will be able to take over the world. Let alone driving them away. Even if we kill them in Pingjing, it will be a piece of cake. Li Yuan put down the memorial in his hand and said, the Honglu Temple will be busy in the future. I enjoy it. Du Chun laughed. The next day, Li Yuan summoned Yan Zhi. Yan Zhi is also dressed up. Unlike the simple and pretty girls from the Central Plains, Yan Zhi is full of exotic style. Even Mu Rong Wanking is slightly inferior to her. Li Yuan's eyes lit up. He didn't expect that Xiongnu had such a beautiful princess. She was dressed very solemnly and had a strong aura. She walked to the center of the hall and bowed to Li Yuan. I am the eldest princess of the Xiongnu Empire. Yan Zhi, on behalf of my brother, I would like to say hello to Emperor Day. Those eyes, which were full of affection even for dogs, stared at Lu Yuan curiously, their eyes full of admiration. Handsome, mighty, young and invincible. All these words flashed through her mind, and her curiosity was completely materialized at this moment. Chapter 413 Bold Rouge. Wow, this Li Yuan is really as handsome and majestic as the rumors say, and he is even younger than my brother. At least the brother has a group of clansmen following him. But he started from scratch. Yan Zhi looks down on ordinary men, but if this man is a heroic man with a strong character, she will take a second look at him. If this hero is handsome and powerful, and is no less capable than his own brother, then he would be unable to take his eyes off him. Li Yuan looked at her and said, Princess Yan Zhi, you have come all the way here. Thank you for your hard work. On the way here, I have always heard that Emperor Day is a man of both civil and military virtues. Seeing him today, I can see that he is indeed extraordinary. Lu Yuan laughed. I like flattery, and I like flattery from beautiful women even more. Don't be pretentious, this princess likes it too. Yan Zhi sat down openly. I like your books very much, but I think your book, The Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber, is not well written. A hypocrite like Shang Wuji is only worthy of being with a stupid woman like Xu Zhi or Yuo. How can he be worthy of Xiaomin? In the eyes of 10 people, there are 10 copies of the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber. Some people like Xu Zhi or Yuo. Some like Xiaomin, some like Xiao Xiao, and some even like Xu Shu. Li Yuan did not expect that Princess Yan Zhi was actually his book friend. But this woman was extraordinary. Since arriving in Middle-earth, she issued several imperial edicts, allowing the Huns to gain a foothold in Middle-earth. A woman who is in charge of millions of troops is definitely not as simple as she seems. He dared to go deep into the heart of Day with only 500 men. His courage surpassed that of countless men. How about you change the ending? I can return Akion City to you. Yan Zhi said, how about this deal? Go what? Those 2 cities? Yan Zhi thought that Li Yuan complained that the price was too low. The people around were secretly amazed when they heard this. Just by changing the ending, they could take back a city. How much more money? Unless you withdraw your troops from Daqian, otherwise, this ending cannot be changed. Li Yuan said calmly, I have never had the habit of changing the ending. Also, I will take what I want myself. Whoever stands in my way, I will kill. Yan Zhi also smiled. She felt that Lu Yuan was a man that suited her taste. Emperor Day, you suit my taste. I don't have a husband yet. How about you be my man? In the hall, all the ministers were dumbfounded. Xi Yuan was anxious and couldn't help but step out of line. Shame on you? Are you worthy of his majesty? The etiquette and laws of the Middle-earth cannot constrain this princess. Yan Zhi smiled charmingly. Besides, as the first princess of the Xiongnu, I have never had a man get close to me in my life, so how can I not be worthy of him? I am willing to have him as my man because I respect him. Emperor Day, you are not good at governing your people. You are much worse than my brother. When I talk to you, any cat or dog can jump out. Li Yuan pressed his hand, signaling Xi Yuan to step back first. Xi Yuan glared at Yan Zhi fiercely before reluctantly retreating. Princess, no. Seeing was anxious. How can he be worthy of you? It seems that your people are not that good either, Li Yuan said with a smile. Yan Zhi frowned and looked at Xi expressionlessly. 50 slaps. Xi was stunned for a moment, then he gritted his teeth, raised his hand and slapped himself in the face. Bang bang bang. After 50 slaps, both cheeks were swollen. If you interrupt again next time, I'll hit you 500 times. Yan Zhi said coldly, then looked at Lu Yuan with a smile on her face. Emperor Day, are you satisfied? Xi uncovered his face with his hands in grievance and looked at Lu Yuan with hatred in his eyes. Lu Yuan gave a thumbs up. Princess, you are good at training dogs. Yan Zhi covered her mouth and chuckled. Then can you consider what I just said? If you marry into my Xiongnu family, I will give you 7 or 8 sons. I am sure I can give you more sons than those women of yours. How shameless! Xie Yuan clenched his fists, his whole body flushed. Are you so sure you can have a son? You people in the Middle-earth believe that women with big buttocks will give birth to sons. Yan Ziyichai stood up and turned around in front of Lu Yuan. With my body, am I not suitable for giving birth to a son? The high priest calculated for me, and said that I can only give birth to sons in this life, not daughters. Yan Ziyichai is generous and passionate. Without any of the reserve of the Middle-earth people, she is tall and charming, and her face is in line with the aesthetic of the Middle-earth people. He has a high nose bridge and deep eye sockets. And his eyes look at dogs affectionately. But, this is definitely a femme fatale. If Lu Yuan didn't know that she hunted every day in XIY, he would have really believed her. It's big enough, but I can't live off a gigolo, so naturally I can't marry into your family. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. I'm quite interested in you, but the people in the Middle-earth believe in the parents' orders and the matchmaker's words. Even if I want to marry you, I still need the matchmaker to guarantee it. I plan to conquer the entire Xiongnu and give it to you as a dowry. Are you willing? Yan Ziyichai snorted. How dare you, a grown man like you, bully a weak woman like me? How can it be considered bullying when I'm just being kind to you? You're scared, you don't dare to touch me. Yan Ziyichai stood up and walked boldly to the Golden Throne Hall. She even thought her shoes were too much of a hindrance. So she took them off, revealing her pink-painted jade toes. Be brave, come down. Who told you to go up? You don't know etiquette. Xie Yuan couldn't bear it anymore and stepped out and scolded. It's the same when I'm in Pingjing. I can sit on my brother's throne whenever I want. Yan Ziyichai smiled and then lay on Lu Yuan's desk. Lu Yuan, can I call you that? Lu Yuan looked at her with interest. It was a good opportunity that came to his doorstep, so he would take advantage of it. Not bad. How did you keep in shape? Yan Ziyichai gathered the hair that was scattered around her ears and said, I am really interested in you. How about I treat you to dinner tonight? And we can recite poems and have fun together? This goblin is so bold. Someone will die. I'm not afraid. So why are you afraid? Yan Ziyichai laughed, so hard that her body shook. We Xiongnu women are always bold. If we meet a man we like, we will be open and honest with him and never hide anything. If he doesn't obey, we will sneak attack him from behind, knock him unconscious and take him back to our tent. Give him 7 or 8 sons and see if he'll be honest or not. You are imitating Xiaomin. It's Xiaomin who looks like me. Yan Ziyichai said proudly. The Xiongnu Empire is not comparable to the Mongols, although what you wrote is very realistic. I tell you, my brother is the real ruler of the world. I admire you and want to keep you as my pet, but I advise you not to be ungrateful. No one has ever touched my body. You are lucky. Chapter 414. Brother Lu Yuan, I know I was wrong. See Rouge flirting in public. Xiang stamped his feet anxiously. Xie Yuan was also furious. Your Majesty, this witch is not a good person. Bully jealousy can drive people crazy. Yan Ziyichai didn't care about Xie Yuan's slander. She supported her chin with both hands and looked at Lu Yuan with a dazed look. It's not good to reject a girl. It's a crime to reject a beautiful girl. So beautiful women are more likely to lie. I want you, it's true. Yan Ziyichai said without any concealment. Lu Yuan sighed and pushed her face away. But I don't want you, get off. Rouge was stunned. What did you say? I said, get down. This is not a place for you to lie down. The smile on Lu Yuan's face disappeared. I originally thought you were quite interesting and wanted to chat with you, but your mind is full of sex, making you look like a hungry nympho. The Xiongnu is a country after all, and you represent a country as well. How can you say such shameful things? This is my princess's nature. That's called brainless. Lu Yuan tapped her head. Is this all water? Let's talk about business. Why are you flirting? Do you think I lack women? Hearing this, Xiang said angrily, Lu Yuan, be polite to the princess. Xie Yuan breathed a sigh of relief and laughed with her hands covering her mouth. This was the Lu Yuan she was familiar with. I've been very polite. If it weren't for the fact that you were originally guests, I would have killed her 100 times just for lying on my desk. Kill me, if you dare, kill me. Yan Ziyichai raised her head, her eyes full of indifference. If you dare to hurt me, I can guarantee that no Middle-earth citizen will survive in the land under my control. Millions of cavalry will invade Middle-earth and kill everyone they see until there is no one left alive. Your crime is not worthy of death, but you can escape death, but you can't escape living. Lu Yuan sneered, grabbed her hand, and exerted force to lift Yan Ziyichai up from the outside. Yan Ziyichai cried out in surprise as the feeling of being in Midra came over her. The next moment, it fell on the desk, like fish on a chopping board. Lu Yuan, what are you doing? Xia Yang was furious. Let go of the princess. Do you really want to start a war? Chant again. The guards in the hall drew their swords. If you dare to take a step forward, you will die. Don't act rashly. Xiang raised his hand and called out to the people behind him, "The princess is still upstairs." The rest of the people were staring at Li Yuan, and no one dared to take action on their own. "Li Yuan, you don't want to punish me here, do you?" Yan Ziyi endured the pain and forced a smile. "So you like to be so rough, but with so many people watching, are you really willing to let me be seen naked? If you like. How about carrying me to my room?" "So hot." Li Yuan couldn't help but slapped him hard. Bang! The crisp sound of applause resounded throughout the hall. The huge waves caused by the storm made Lu Yuan feel frightened. Yan Ziyi cried out in pain, the pain overwhelming her and making her feel even more humiliated. "Lu Yuan, stop it now. If you dare to hurt my Xiangnu princess, we will fight you to the death." Xiang was going crazy. The goddess in his heart, the most noble princess, was now like a plaything, being pressed on the desk by Li Yuan and being humiliated and bullied. "And you should open your dog eyes and see clearly how I deal with your princess." Li Yuan sneered and waved his hand, and Wu Sun handed over the bamboo board. Bang! 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 Li Yuan whipped Yan Ziyi from behind again and again. "Li Yuan, it hurts. Tell me, are you wrong?" "I'm not wrong." "That's right, keep smoking." "Li Yuan, you bastard. My brother has never touched me since I was a child. If you dare to touch me, I will never let you go. I'm not your brother. I'll beat you without hesitation." Li Yuan still felt unsatisfied, so he lifted up her skirt and started beating her hard. Yan Ziyi was in so much pain that she wanted to break free. But Li Yuan's grip was too strong and he pinned her down, making her unable to move at all. "Li Yuan, you are not a man. Don't worry about whether I am a man or not." Li Yuan was enjoying the beating. "If you keep talking back, I'll strip you naked and hang you on the city gates so that all the people in Yangjing can see how hot the Xiangnu princess is. You don't care, right? It doesn't matter anyway. You are not a human." Yan Ziyi's boldness was all pretended. She just wanted to tease Li Yuan, but Li Yuan definitely dared to touch her. If she was really hung on the city gate, would she still have the nerve to live? "If I tell the Huns about this, what will they think of me? How will she manage millions of troops in the future?" Still being stubborn, Li Yuan sneered and reached out to grab it. I was wrong. Yan Ziyi held Li Yuan's hand tightly and said with tears in her eyes, "Brother Li Yuan, I know I was wrong, please stop hitting me." Louder. "Brother Li Yuan, Yan Ziyi knows she is wrong and will never dare to provoke you again." After hearing this, Xia Yuan couldn't help but burst out laughing. The Huns were so angry that they jumped up and down, but dared not say a word. "I tell you, if you dare to kill the people of Middle-earth indiscriminately, next time it won't be as simple as a slave-killing order. I, Li Yuan, swear to my ancestors that I will kill the Xiangnu people to extinction. Don't even think about going back to Mobi. I will make you disappear from this world completely. If I can't do it, I, Li Yuan, will have no descendants." Everyone gasped. The people in Middle-earth attach the most importance to two things. First priority, ancestors. The second most important thing is to continue the incense. Li Yuan swore such a vicious oath, which showed that he was really angry. Yan Ziyi also knew that if she continued to provoke him, she would completely infuriate the young emperor. If he were in his 50s or 60s, there would be nothing to be afraid of. But he was only in his 20s, and in the prime of his life. "I was wrong. I really know I was wrong." Yan Ziyi begged, "Brother Li Yuan, can you please let me go?" Li Yuan threw away the bamboo board, patted her gently with his palm, and then reluctantly let her go. Yan Ziyi fell to the ground, covering her back, feeling very aggrieved. This man was really cruel. "Get down if you do this again. I won't give you such a simple punishment." Yan Ziyi moved down with a wronged look on her face. Feeling a burning sensation in her thigh, she couldn't stand or sit. He said goodbye immediately. Li Yuan also knew that nothing serious could be accomplished today, so he didn't keep her. But when Yan Ziyi left, she gritted her teeth and said, "Li Yuan, I want you to remember me deeply in your heart. If you don't like me, then I want you to hate me. I want you to see me with your eyes open, and I will see me with your eyes open, and I will see me with your eyes closed." "What did you say?" Li Yuan frowned. "I didn't say anything." Yan Ziyi covered her mouth and quickly walked out of the hall. Xiang and others were chasing after him. "Princess, wait for me." Xia Yuan couldn't help but said, "Slow down, watch your butt." Everyone in Yangping Palace burst into laughter. Yan Ziyi nearly fell down and turned around to give Xia Yuan a vicious look. "You stinky woman, just wait for me." Chapter 415. Not a weapon, but better than a weapon. On the carriage back to the hotel, Yan Ziyi lay there, and the maid checked her wound. "Princess, it's all bleeding." "Damn Li Yuan. Stinky Li Yuan, he doesn't know how to be gentle and considerate to women at all." Yan Ziyi was extremely depressed. "Princess, this day emperor is not a good person. Let's go." "Leave? Wouldn't it be a bargain for him to just leave like this?" Yan Zhi snorted coldly, then covered her skirt. Xiang. An here. Xiang opened the door a crack and poked his head in from outside. We have someone in Liangjing, right? Yes. But not many, they are all traveling merchants, not permanent residents, Xiang said. You asked them to spread the news, saying that Emperor Day touched my butt, teased me in public and said he wanted to marry me. Oh, princess, this is unacceptable. How can you let that bastard ruin your reputation? You know nothing, you just do what I tell you to do. Yan Zhi got angry and pulled the wand on her back. She immediately gasped. I just want to ruin his reputation and make him remember me. If the people of Day knew that their emperor had an affair with a Xiongnu woman, what would they think? That won't work either. Your reputation is more important. Yan Zhi threw a pillow over. You are a princess and I am a princess? Why are you talking so much nonsense? If you ruin my plan, I will not forgive you. Xiangji was hit hard and felt very aggrieved. Yes. Princess. Soon, rumors spread throughout Liangjing. Li Yuan was accompanying Honggu for a walk after dinner. As her belly grew bigger, Honggu became more and more lazy, often spending the entire day in bed. The morning sickness has also improved and I can eat a lot better now. This caused her to gain weight. Your Majesty, this is news from the intelligence department. Duan stepped forward quickly. Li Yuan asked Honggu to sit down, took the information, and started reading it. He immediately had a strange expression on his face. This woman is really good at making trouble. Which bitch? Honggu raised her eyebrows. Are you dating that bitch again? Li Yuan complained. Who can I be with? You know all the girls around you. As he said that, he handed the information in his hand to Honggu. It's that Xiongnu princess who spread rumors. Honggu took the information and laughed. Just tell me, did you spank anyone? I did hit him, but she didn't lie. Honggu laughed. She also said she would give birth to 7 or 8 sons for Yudon. To you, like a woman who dares to love and hate. I heard that when you met her today. Your eyeballs almost fell on her. Defamation. This is absolutely slander. Li Yuan hugged her and said, don't you understand my feelings? Honggu shook her head. Then how are you going to solve this problem? What can I do? Rumors stop at the wise. Do you really take such insignificant rumors seriously? Li Yuan was helpless. If you ask me. Just take Yan Zhi. If you don't like her, you can kill her. Not for now. They have deployed hundreds of thousands of troops outside Ziling. If something happens to the princess, they will surely kill innocent people. I didn't kill Bo Ren. But Bo Ren died because of me. This is not right. Li Yuan said. Our weapons are being upgraded across the army. Once the upgrade is complete, it will be time for the expedition. Tomorrow, I'll take you to see something. And you'll understand. Honggu asked curiously, are there any new weapons? It's not a weapon. But it's better than a weapon. Li Yuan smiled mysteriously. The next day, Li Yuan brought Honggu to Day Heavy Industry. At present, the military factory's branches have increased to 8. Li Yuan is now planning to relocate those important state-owned enterprises to other cities in order to increase tax revenue and improve the living standards of local people, such as bicycle factories, glass factories and so on. Where are we going? You'll find out soon enough. Li Yuan held Honggu's hand and came to a new factory. The factory is located in the new urban area and occupies a quarter of the new city. Due to the continuous expansion of the imperial city and the increase in population, the population of Liangjing has successfully exceeded 3 million. There is not enough land. So we can only dig mountains and chisel stones. Honggu looked at the factory name, Day Automobile. What's this? Cars are steel behemoths that can travel long distances. Last year, Zhu Jing's internal combustion engine test was successful, and military vehicles were put on the agenda. There is no need for overly complicated components. The simpler, the more durable. The forging press has exceeded the 10,000-ton level. And with electric arc furnace purification, some relatively precise components can also be manufactured. Your Majesty. When they saw Li Yuan, everyone bowed to him. Li Yuan held his hands up. Everyone, get up. Where's Xiao Jing? Zhuji, she is inspecting the cars in the backyard, said the director of the automobile factory. Li Yuan hurriedly took Honggu to the test track at the back. The test track is very large, a bit like the F for Formula 1 track of later generations, but of course, it is not that big. There were several cars in front of Li Yuan. Some are big, some are small, some are simple, some are complex. When Zhu Jing learned that Li Yuan was coming, he hurried forward to greet him. Greetings, Your Majesty, teacher. Zhu Shen bowed and said, Your Majesty has come at the perfect time. Several project teams are delivering their results today. Li Yuan nodded and touched Zhu Jing's head. Come on, take me to see it. Please come this way. As the youngest and most promising national hero in Day, Zhu Jing's identity has always been kept secret except for internal personnel. There is not even any news from the outside. And Li Yuan was also afraid that Zhu Jing would not be able to stand the loneliness. However, this kid was far more outstanding than he thought. He just focused on studying technology with his superior talent. He could understand things quickly and often apply what he had learned to other situations. After becoming a national hero, he took the lead in setting up several research groups. Study civilian vehicles, agricultural vehicles, military vehicles, and large heavy trucks separately. That's why there are cars of various shapes parked there. Your Majesty, this is a civilian car, Zhu Jing introduced. Looking at the car with 4 tires in front of him, Li Yuan couldn't help but think of another world, the first true internal combustion locomotive. It's no different from the picture I drew. Li Yuan nodded with satisfaction. It's not that he couldn't build a car that was closer to future generations, but that there was no need to. Product updates and iterations are very fast if they are done in one step. It may not be possible to iterate it for a long time. This original version is used for foreign trade and can be fully integrated into the market. Then they update the version every now and then to make money. Would you like to give it a try? Zhu Jing asked. Li Yuan shook his head. No need, just continue the experiment as usual. Li Yuan's evaluation of this car is that it is two sofas with tires installed and an engine added underneath, that's all. However, this also directly skips the steam locomotive and reaches the destination in one step. Honggu was also curious and asked, how can this thing move by itself without a horse pulling it? Chapter 416, Woohoo, take off. This thing runs on oil and has some similarities to a steam engine. Except that it converts internal energy into mechanical energy, Li Yuan explained. Honggu nodded. Can this thing run faster than a horse? Just try it and you'll know. Li Yuan made a gesture. Zhu Jing hurriedly asked people to get in the car. Civilian car. 70-second experiment, ready to start. The driver was sitting in the driving seat, and there were 3 strong men sitting in the back. Because it is the first generation of the car, it looks very simple in all aspects. However, it has a convertible top at the back, which can provide shade when it rains or when it is sunny, which is considered an improvement. The vehicle started slowly, but after a dozen seconds, its speed gradually increased. Honggu exclaimed, so fast? Li Yuan nodded with satisfaction. In fact, this kind of civilian car does not require too much technical content. After several years of accumulation, today's technology has the ability to manufacture high-end cars. The average speed is about 36 miles per hour. It can travel about 150 miles on a single tank of gas. It has about 2 horsepower and can carry 1500 kilograms. Zhu Jing took out the average value. Li Yuan took a look and couldn't help but be delighted. Great, great, great. Although it's not as good as a war horse, it's already amazing. If a horse pulls a load of 1500 kilograms, it won't be able to pull it this fast. Zhu Jing said, currently, this car has traveled more than 8,000 miles and no major problems have been found. Because it is a civilian version, the various components are not reinforced in relatively common materials or used to reduce the overall weight. If there are no problems, they can be put on the market in large quantities. Li Yuan shook his head and said, the current production capacity is insufficient. We will focus on the military first, and will still focus on steam engines for the time being. Once the market for steam engines is squeezed dry, we can then sell the cars that the military has eliminated to the civilian population. These cars can also be used exclusively as official vehicles. Zhu Jing thought about it and nodded. The current production capacity is indeed not up to par. Then he pointed to the second car and said, this is a real military car. The exterior is made of riveted steel plates, which are bulletproof. This vehicle can be disassembled. During combat, it can be used to transport a howitzer, or the NIU heavy machine gun can be mounted on it. The transport can carry a load of 4,000 kilograms. The fuel tank is 40 liters. It can run about 600 miles. The average speed reached 80 miles per hour. Li Yuan walked to the side of military vehicle No. 2 and couldn't help but reach out to touch it. This car looked like cars in later generations, an open-top military jeep. However, it is very rough with very few parts, and its main feature is its durability. Let me try. Li Yuan rubbed his hands. He hadn't driven for many years. Unexpectedly, at the end of the 7th year after he traveled through time, he realized it. Maybe I can see the birth of Little Overlord in this lifetime. Your Majesty, teacher. I will teach you. I gave me this operating system. I can do it. Li Yuan waved his hand and sat in the driver's seat. He held the hand-carved golden nan with steering wheel with one hand and pressed the gear with the other hand. A familiar feeling arose spontaneously. Start, press the clutch. Shift gears, all in one go. However, it has not been open for many years and it is indeed a bit rusty. Fortunately, I didn't embarrass myself in front of so many people. After groping for a while, I finally drove the car out. Boo-hoo. Li Yuan couldn't help but shout as the car speeded up. He felt like he was speeding at lightning speed. What horse can have such speed? But this thing, cavalry, is nothing. Of course, this car is not that great. It also has a sister, and the sister has a very cute name. After turning around a few times, Li Yuan stopped his car next to Honggu. Honggu's eyes lit up. Your Majesty, please take me with you. Get in the car. I'll take you for a ride. Li Yuan took out a pair of sunglasses from somewhere and put them on Honggu's face. Then he took Honggu for a few rounds. So fast. If this car can be equipped to the entire army, it will definitely be very effective in both transportation and troop transport, Honggu said. Yes. With this thing, logistic support will no longer be a problem. We no longer need to conscript civilians to transport supplies to the front line, causing unnecessary casualties. Moreover, transportation is faster, with the least number of people and the most supplies. The time can be shortened by half. Li Yuan got out of the car. Although in his opinion, this car still had many problems, such as poor shock absorption, discomfort in the buttocks, unadjustable seats and so on. But military vehicles need to be durable, and without shock absorbers they are even more durable and less likely to break down. Okay, I'm very satisfied with this car. Who lead the team to develop it? Li Yuan glanced at everyone. Your Majesty, it's Wang Peng, the leader of our research group. Zhu Jing hurriedly pulled forward a somewhat shy young man. The young man was not very old, probably in his early 20s. He wore thick glasses and had heavy bags under his eyes. Although he was young, his head was very bald. Your Majesty has given me good guidance. I am just repeating what you have said. You are very good. Li Yuan nodded and said, from now on, you will lead the research of this military vehicle. I will allocate 3 million to you. You will set up a separate studio to specialize in this research. Wang Peng was stunned for a moment, then he was overjoyed. Yes. I will definitely live up to your Majesty's expectations. Besides, you are now the team leader, so you will be promoted one level according to your merits. As for your title, you will be promoted 2 levels. Wang Peng was extremely excited, and felt that his efforts these days were not in vain. Your Majesty, I bow to thank you for your grace. This is what you deserve, Day. We will never treat anyone who works hard and fairly. Li Yuan patted him on the shoulder and walked towards another car. This car is somewhat similar to the military vehicle just now, but it has 8 tires. This is the cat car that Li Yuan has been dreaming of, which can enable Day's light infantry to take off. This thing doesn't have high technical content, it's just simple and durable. Can go into the water, climb mountains, enter swamps, and can cope with all kinds of complex terrains. It can defend and attack, and is simply the army's favorite. The only thing that limits it may be the power of the internal combustion engine today. When industrial innovation has not yet been fully implemented, it cannot be manufactured in large quantities, nor can it demonstrate its true power. Li Yuan tried driving for a while, and it simulated complex terrain. Next to it my butt was a little sore from the bumps, but it overcame all obstacles perfectly. This car is great. Let's find a way to make more, Li Yuan said. Your Majesty, this car is small but very heavy. All the materials used are not simple. The 8 tires are specially made. Rubber is in short supply in the country. With the same materials, 1 cat car can be used to make 2 military vehicles and 6 to 8 civilian vehicles. Li Yuan was worried. A is a vast country with abundant resources, but its rubber resources are not rich. Except for a small amount of production in the East China Sea, the rest have to be traded. In the whole of Middle-earth, there are not many places that can produce rubber, and they can be counted on one hand. Chapter 417. The second test. A place where rubber is truly produced in abundance is in Southeast Asia. Most rubber comes from sea trade. How can industrial production be without rubber? Li Yuan said, don't worry about this, I will solve it. Just focus on production. Can you produce 100 of these 2 types of military vehicles this year? It's very difficult. Zhu Jing smiled bitterly. There are not enough production lines and skilled workers. Cars are a bulk commodity, and it would be great if we can produce 20 cars this year. And the initial investment is huge. Even if these 2 types of military vehicles have interchangeable parts, they would cost at least 20 million. Don't worry about the investment in materials, just focus on expanding the production line. All-out war will only take 2 years. I hope to produce enough cars for the expedition before the war starts, Li Yuan said. Zhu Jing gritted his teeth and said, I will do my best. Li Yuan did not dare to push too hard without expanding its base. It would not be able to produce more cars even if it tried its best. Li Yuan then turned his attention to the heavy truck on the other side. This truck was even heavier, weighing 7 tons and running on diesel, capable of transporting large amounts of cargo and soldiers. There is also a tillage vehicle, which is also very good. Currently, these models represent Day's most advanced manufacturing technology, which is absolutely hundreds of years ahead of the world. While they were still researching firearms and gunpowder, Li Yuan was already gradually improving his shortcomings. There are airships in the sky. There is a huge ship in the water. On land there are cavalry, motor vehicles, and light infantry. I'm afraid we're only 1 plane away from complete modernization. But the emergence of the internal combustion engine, building small aircraft has become a piece of cake. But, I haven't seen the real thing yet. Li Yuan rewarded all the people who participated in the research and said to Zhu Jing, let these research groups compete in the research of automobiles, and you should go and conquer airplanes. Airships have many limitations. Only with airplanes can they truly have air superiority. Zhu Jing thought for 3 seconds and nodded heavily. Okay, I'll go study the plane now. I know that it is inappropriate to ask you to give up the field you are good at and study airplanes. But there are too few talents in this field in the country, said Lu Yuan. Your Majesty, please give me some people. I want to bring in a group of students. If I rely on myself alone, they will never become powerful by leaps and bounds, Zhu Jing said. I don't think there is anything inappropriate whether it's studying, being a minister, or being a student. I will go wherever I am needed. I will do whatever the country needs me to do. As long as we do this, the country can become stronger and protect the people. Even if I am not familiar with it, I can learn it from scratch. Li Yuan looked at his student in shock, and after a while he said, I will not forget your contribution, and neither will the country, nor will the people. In a few years, I will make sure everyone knows you. Your Majesty, I prefer to do research in obscurity. If I become too famous, I will be constrained. Zhu Jing smiled shyly. After becoming a national scholar, I was afraid that I would not do well and be laughed at. I feel a heavy psychological burden, but I am too embarrassed to tell others, fearing that they will laugh at me and say I am irresponsible. After all, he is just a teenager under 20 years old. To be able to achieve this, he has already surpassed too many people. Li Yuan nodded. I respect your choice. When you are mentally prepared, I will let everyone know you. Thank you. Your Majesty, Zhu Jing said gratefully. He became famous at a young age, so any great achievement he made was just icing on the cake. Li Yuan patted his shoulder and said, you don't have to feel too much psychological pressure. You and I have been together for a lifetime, and we are master and apprentice. I will never let you down. Looking at Li Yuan's back, Zhu Jing murmured, my mentor has never let me down. So how can I dare to let him down? After leaving Day Automobile Factory, Honggu felt a little tired and Lu Yuan did not continue his inspection. However, on the third day, many people actually believed that Day would marry the Huns. This rumor undoubtedly slandered those who were harmed by the Huns. Li Yuan also clarified the matter through the Liangjing Times as soon as possible. Anzia Chai lazily lay on the sofa, twirling her hair with her fingers. You said you'd never be nice to me in this life, but I'm going to be nice to you. Xian, you must go to the palace right now and tell Li Yuan that if he doesn't marry me, I will kill all the people in our hands. Princess, can Li Yuan be fooled? Stupid, even if it's fake, he has to deal with it. Right? If he doesn't care, it would be hypocritical. If he intervenes, he will be slapping himself in the face. Yanzhi stretched lazily, and her slender waist made Si Yang swallow wildly. I am afraid of being beat. What are you afraid of? It's just a beating. Then we can charge into Liangjing and let you fight back, right? Yanzhi Chai waved her hand. Si Yang had no choice but to go to the palace again to ask for an audience. After Li Yuan learned of Si Yang's intention, he snorted coldly. Childish, playing this kind of trick, right? Si Yang said helplessly. The princess admires your majesty. Why do you resist so much, your majesty? Wouldn't it be better for Day and the Xiongnu to join forces and rule the world together? Rule the world together. If Li Yuan really responded to this statement, he would become a shield for the Huns, and the prestige he had built up over the years would collapse in an instant. I have to say, this woman is really good at using open tactics. Damn, she really is a fairy similar to Xiaomin. I don't have the habit of sharing food with others, Li Yuan said calmly. As for the people under your command, how you want to deal with them is your business. A doesn't like to interfere in other people's internal affairs. As for us, Day, we haven't received any letters asking for help yet. Of course, if someone asks Day for help, A will definitely lend a helping hand without hesitation. If you don't want to cause suffering to others, think twice before you speak. Xiang heard the threat in the words and snorted coldly. Dai is rude and disrespectful to the Xiongnu. He has no sense of national dignity and looks down on others. So you two are going to have a falling out. Li Yuan suddenly laughed. It's okay, I'm a reasonable person. If you don't like Day, just say it. I am not gold, how can I please everyone? When Xiang saw Li Yuan smile, he couldn't help but feel panicked. His intuition told him that if he responded to this sentence, he would be terrified. I didn't say that. Since your majesty doesn't want to be close to the princess, I will report the truth. Goodbye. Wait, did I let you go? Your majesty, do you have any other instructions? Xiang stopped. I tell you, princess, this is the last time. If I hear about it again, you can't leave. Xiang's mouth twitched. And he was furious in his heart, but he didn't dare to show it. Your majesty, I will report the truth. Chapter 418, Cutting Off the Fire. Xiang went back and recounted the entire incident with some exaggeration. Yan Zhi said calmly, slap your face 50 times. Xiang was stunned. Princess, let's talk after the fight. Yan Zhi said in an unquestionable tone. Xiang's mouth twitched. The swelling on his face had just subsided, but he immediately made up his mind and slapped himself in the face 50 more times. This is the result of talking nonsense. Who is Lu Yuan? Does he need to say such meaningless words? Yan Zhi sneered. If he really said what you said, he is not worthy of being the emperor of Day. Xiang smiled bitterly. But it's true that he looks down on us. Do we really have to put up with him? It's a good thing you didn't continue to provoke him. Otherwise, if he found a legitimate excuse, he would definitely start a war. We have no advantage against Day alone. Judging from the known intelligence, they have weapons aimed at cavalry with extremely high lethality. Confidence is good, but blindness is not. Yan Zhi said, it's time to talk to Li Yuan about business. She wrote a letter herself and said, send it to the palace tomorrow. Xian covered his face. Princess, should I go? If you don't go, then I will. Yan Zhi threw the pillow at him angrily. You useless thing, you still want to covet this princess? I won't even give you the water to wash my feet. Xian shrank his neck, feeling very aggrieved. If foot washing water doesn't work, bath water will work. Get out. Yan Zhi pointed to the door and Xian rolled out quickly. What an interesting man. He is obviously very capable, yet very restrained. What are you planning? Yan Zhi fell into deep thought. 2 days later, Yan Zhi dressed up and entered the palace again. Other Lu Yuan, I haven't seen you for a few days. Do you miss me? In no mood. You're lying. You haven't taken your eyes away since I came in. Doesn't my sister have a great figure? Yan Zhi blinked her big eyes, but didn't dare to walk up to her. She just lifted the hem of her skirt from a distance, revealing her long thighs. It's fucking burning. Li Yuan shook his head. Since you are here to discuss business, you should act like you are discussing business even if you sacrifice your life for justice. I will not give you any profit. Yan Zhi sighed with resentment. What a heartless person you are. People are full of enthusiasm. But you can't give me a response? Stop talking nonsense. Li Yuan was also annoyed. I also read the trade list you submitted the day before yesterday. Firearms and gunpowder are not on the trade list. Tea, silk, porcelain, sugar, refined salt, etc. can be traded. Light bulbs, record players, and bicycles can also be traded, including the latest steam engines, which can also be traded. But we are bartering. I only want your cattle, sheep and horses. For nomadic people, the best way is sheep-eat people. However, the Huns are different from conventional nomadic peoples, so we need to make preparations for both scenarios. Okay, Yan Zhi nodded. I can do without gunpowder. I must have a sewing machine in addition. Your people must teach our people how to repair it. There's an old saying in Middle-earth. If you teach your apprentice, you'll starve the master. Li Yuan refused without even thinking. We have to earn some money for the repairs, right? Yan Zhi gritted her teeth and said, okay, I accept it. I heard that many royal nobles from various countries are studying in Beijing, and we Xiongnu also want a place. However, what we want to learn is not some Buddhist mantra. We want to go to a technical school. Of course, if you join Day and become a citizen of Day, you can enter. Then if you marry me, I will become a Day person, Yan Zhi said, taking advantage of the opportunity. I admit that the Xiongnu are indeed very different from the nomadic people I had in mind. You take advantage of every opportunity to learn everything that can make you stronger, and you are not ashamed to learn from others. This is also the reason why you can rise so quickly. But there are some things you will never learn. Li Yuan smiled and said, let's get back to the point. In addition to cattle, sheep and horses, I also want women. Women between the ages of 14 and 30, and the ratio of slaves must be at least 1/3 of the livestock. If it's less than this, we don't want it. And she must be a healthy woman. A hint of coldness flashed in Yan Zhi's eyes. And then she twirled her hair. Brother Lu Yuan, isn't Yan Zhi a healthy woman? You don't count, you are a goblin. Yan Zhi was stunned for a moment, then she burst into laughter and looked up to Li Yuan even more in her heart. He is indeed a man that even the prince has to look up to, and he has the same means and foresight as the prince. What is the most valuable thing in troubled times? Military power, food, and women. Without women, how can we reproduce? Li Yuan's move was like cutting off the firewood from under the cauldron, hitting the vital point exactly. A Middle-earth woman? Whether they are women from the Central Plains, the Xiongnu, or the Western Yi, I will accept them all, said Li Yuan. Rouge thought for a moment. That's too many, 11 at most. Then let's not talk about it. Bay has no shortage of cattle, sheep, and horses, and the people of Day have no shortage of meat now. Li Yuan is the banker, and no one can compete with him. Yan Zhi bit her lip and said, Brother Li Yuan, can't you just give way to them? You are not my woman. Why should I ask you to do anything? Li Yuan smiled faintly. If you are flirting, get out. Yan Zichai's face changed, and she gritted her teeth and said, don't go too far. I am so excessive. If you want to talk, then talk. If you don't want to talk, then get lost. I will personally take them when the time comes. Li Yuan slammed the table. Come here, take down all the Xiongnu people for me, and get the military to come over. Blick. Blick. The guards took out their guns and loaded them. Aimed at everyone. Xiang and others suddenly felt as if a thorn in their backs was left unattended and were so frightened that they dared not move. Yan Zichai's chest rose and fell violently, and then she covered her mouth and chuckled. Brother Li Yuan, you are so angry. I will apologize to you. As she spoke, Yan Zichai knelt on the ground and bowed to Li Yuan, staring at him with charming eyes. If you are still not satisfied, I will let you do whatever you want. For Yan Zichai, this was not a great humiliation. It was only because Day was powerful and Li Yuan was confident that she suffered setbacks here. It is not a sin to bow down to a powerful man. Li Yuan already thought highly of Yan Zichai, but he didn't expect that this woman was more difficult to deal with than he imagined. The ratio of cattle, sheep, horses and women is 50-50, and the women sent over must be clean. Do you understand? Sister, I understand. Yan Zichai lowered her eyebrows and said amiably, Brother Li Yuan, you scared me. She patted her chest gently, looking aggrieved. Li Yuan didn't buy her trick at all. Go down. Yan Zichai sighed softly and could only take her people away. Yan Zichai was deeply interested in Li Yuan's restraint and strength. She licked her red lips and said, this man must taste delicious. This kind of prey is suitable for this princess. Chapter 419 Xi Yuan's birthday. The Huns were different from the usual grassland peoples, as they had mixed farming culture. In fact, in the class structure of the Xiongnu kingdom, peasants were second only to nobles. The early plundering accumulated a large amount of original capital for the Huns, and they even collected relatively little tax. This kind of strength makes them invincible. After leaving the palace, Yan Zichai said to Xiang, send all the most talented children in the clan to Liangjing to study also. This princess also wants to study in Liangjing. Xiang was dumbfounded. Princess, didn't you say you wanted to disrupt Middle-earth? Idiot. I can't disturb the Middle-earth just because I study. Yan Zichai said angrily. This is the heart of Day. Only by being here can I know the latest developments of Day and make the fastest countermeasures. What you need to do is to form an alliance with Dajing and Diaxia and secretly attack Day. When the time is right, we will first destroy Day and then unify the Middle-earth. Xiang frowned. That won't happen overnight. After we defeat Agub, we must be prepared for a protracted war before the army moves eastward, Yan Zichai said. In October, the Ministry of Revenue compiled statistics on summer grain. Xi Yuan held the account book in his hand. Sweet potatoes, a total of 3.5 million shi. Potatoes, a total of 3.7 million shi. Corn, a total of 1.5 million shi. Cassava, a total of 4.8 million shi. A total of 13.5 million shi. The private plots yielded 2.1 million shi of rice, and 1.5 million shi of wheat and highland barley. Excluding the tax-free areas, the total agricultural tax collected this year is 1.2 million koku. The national treasury received 18.3 million shi of grain. 8 million shi of grain were purchased from abroad in exchange for supplies. The country purchased 4 million dan of grain, which is equivalent to 30.3 million dan of grain. Li Yuan nodded with satisfaction. How many people are there in Day? More than 10 million. In the first year of Yonla, there were nearly 10 million households. But the grain tax revenue was only more than 30 million shi. It is indeed not easy to still have so much grain when 70% of the country has been exempted from grain tax and corvée labor. For example, cloth, gold, silver, silk and cotton are not actually included in the national tax. The treasury tax revenue for this year has not yet been counted. Li Yuan has a rough idea in his mind that it will not be less than 700 million yi coins, or 17 million taels of silver, in tax revenue for the treasury. A is a vast country with abundant resources and a sparse population. So even if the land is divided equally, it would take more than one person to divide it all. So the extra land was actually cultivated by laborers and hired farmers. Li Yuan particularly wanted to start a war, capture a group of laborers, and build a plantation. It's too profitable. Who wouldn't like something that can both relieve domestic pressure and generate huge profits? How much grain is left in the national granaries? According to the requirements, large grain depots across the country will store a total of 24 million shi of grain, enough to feed the people of the country for more than a year. Xi Yuan reported a shocking number. 24 million shi. Like the peak period of Diaxia as an example, the amount of grain stored in granaries across the country would not exceed 15 million shi. These 24 million shi are the assets accumulated over the years and are the basis for ensuring the lives of the people a day. Continue to store grain. Store up to 30 million shi of grain, sweet potatoes, and other grains that are not easy to store, and store them as commercial grain. What can't be eaten will flow into the market, so that more can be fed to the workers. Li Yuan is still very satisfied with the harvest, and this is because there is no large-scale planting by next year. When planting is truly promoted nationwide, the grain harvest will exceed 60 million shi, which is a very exaggerated number. When the food in hand undergoes a qualitative change, it means that the living standards of the people of day will be raised to a higher level, from basic sustenance to higher pursuits. As Li Yuan was talking, Xi Yuan was taking notes. Suddenly she felt a little dazed when Li Yuan finished talking about the business. Xi Yuan lowered her head and said, "Your Majesty, do you have time in a couple of days? Ow? It's your 20th birthday. And my sister wants you to come to her house for dinner," Xi Yuan said. Li Yuan was also stunned, and then he remembered that early November was Xi Yuan's birthday. When this girl first ran to Biaoyang, she was still a yellow-haired girl. In the blink of an eye, she became a graceful and elegant young lady. "Okay, I'll be there," Li Yuan nodded. 2 days later, Xi Yuan left his shift early, a rare occasion. A's Minister of Revenue is just a young girl who has just turned 20 years old. Who would dare to believe it if you tell others about it? But it is this little girl who manages the purse of a country and manages the entire country in order. Xi Hongmei also got home early from get-off work at the hospital and was busy in the kitchen. The sister's house is not big, just 3 bedrooms, but it is decorated very warmly, and has many flowers and plants. Seeing Xi Yuan wanted to help, Xi Hongmei hurriedly pushed her out and said, "Go take a shower and change into some nice clothes. Didn't I bring you some new clothes? Wear them tonight." Xi Yuan blushed and said, "That's too revealing." She gestured with her hands, showing her collarbone was the limit she could accept, but Xi Hongmei's clothes were very bold. "That's the latest dress. What are you afraid of? No one else will see it." Xi Hongmei poked her head. "There will really be no place for you. An eldest sister is like a mother. My younger sister is already 20 years old and still single, although he has a high status and great power. But what does a woman need such a high status for? After all, you still have to find someone to rely on. Ongu is back. Your Majesty did not make her the queen. And one of the 4 concubines' positions is still vacant." Xi Yuan smiled bitterly and said, "It's not like your sister can't get married. How long do you want to be the Minister of Revenue? 2 years or 3 years? Xi Hongmei snorted, "In another 2 years? You will be old and ugly, and you will be happy, right? Sister, I'm telling you, tonight, you better take control of yourself and stop worrying me." Xi Hongmei pushed her sister out without saying a word. "What about you? Leave me alone." Xi Hongmei glared at her sister. "You're older than me. You should seize the opportunity. You stupid girl, if you say that again, I'll chop your head off." Xi Hongmei chased after her angrily with a spatula in her hand, scaring Xi Yuan so much that she quickly ran into the bathroom. "That's right, I don't know who it is, but he kept calling out for His Majesty in his sleep at night." Behind the door, Xi Yuan bravely said, "I'm almost losing my mind thinking about His Majesty." Xi Hongmei was so embarrassed and angry. "You stupid girl, come out and tell me if you have the guts." Listening to the sound of water coming from inside, she sighed. She came to Biaoyang when she was 16 years old, and in the blink of an eye, she was 23 years old. She knew that she was neither as pretty nor as young and fit as those people, so she couldn't squeeze in, and she didn't want to fight for anything. As long as Xi Yuan is happy, that's enough. Moreover, she swore that she would not marry until she killed her enemies with her own hands. Although Emperor Jing was imprisoned, he was still alive and the great Jing was still there. She wanted to see with her own eyes that Da Jing was shattered, and that day soldiers rushed into the palace. She wanted to capture Emperor Jing's family and bring them to the Taimaya, then kill them all in front of all the ancestors. That time is not far away. Chapter 420, The Sudden Confession. Li Yuan arrived, holding a bouquet of flowers, a cake, and a box. Xi Yuan opened the door. The cold Beijing in November was like winter. The stove in the living room was burning brightly, warm as spring. Xi Yuan was wearing a pink deep V dress, a pearl necklace around her neck, and her fluffy hair was tied up. A simple jade hairpin made her look dignified and sexy. Her slender legs were wrapped in black, and she was wearing a pair of furry shoes. "Happy birthday, Your Majesty, come in." Xi Yuan hurriedly squatted down to change Li Yuan's shoes. Li Yuan looked at her and couldn't help but praise, "You look beautiful today." Xi Yuan was a little flustered and hurriedly invited Li Yuan in. "Sister, the emperor is here." Xi Hongmei, wearing an apron, poked her head out. "Hurry up and make tea for the emperor. There are 2 dishes, and they will be ready soon." Lu Yuan put the cake on the table and handed the flowers and box to Xi Yuan. A gift for you. Xi Yuan was overjoyed. Thank you, Your Majesty. Taking the rose, the corners of her mouth couldn't help but rise at this moment. She didn't have the maturity and stability of the Minister of Revenue at all, but only the innocence of a girl. Don't you open the box to see what's inside? Lu Yuan said with a smile. Xi Yuan put down the flowers and opened the box. There was a puppet inside. Is this me? She couldn't help but look at the bandage on Lu Yuan's hand. And her heart trembled. Your Majesty, did you carve this yourself? Time was a bit rushed, and the carving was not fine enough. When I have time, I will carve a big one for you. Lu Yuan's carving skills were also practiced in his early years. At that time, Biao Yang was short of talents, and sometimes he had to take on the responsibility. No, I just like this. Xi Yuan was very moved. She didn't know where she got the courage. She took Lu Yuan's hand. Does it hurt? Skin injury. Lu Yuan also held her hand back at this time. Xia Hongmei, who didn't know what was going on, brought out the dishes. Seeing this scene, she couldn't help laughing. Hearing the laughter, Xia Yuan blushed and quickly let go of her hand. Your Majesty's hand is injured. Let me see. Lu Yuan was also a little embarrassed. These two sisters were the first to follow him at the beginning. Xia Yuan was just an ugly yellow-haired girl. Xia Hongmei was already a 15-year-old and had a lovely appearance. However, Lu Yuan was busy with his career development at that time and didn't have the heart to think too much. Of course, they occasionally had contact during this period, but they didn't go deep. Later, as his territory grew larger and larger, Lu Yuan became busier and busier. He paid less attention to the two sisters. Your Majesty is injured. Xia Hongmei hurriedly put down the dishes, walked quickly to Lu Yuan, and took his hand to check. Seeing her anxious look, Lu Yuan said, "It's a minor injury, it has been disinfected." Xia Hongmei was relieved. Lu Yuan took out a small box like a magic trick and handed it over. It's for you, see if you like it. I have one too. Xia Hongmei said happily, no matter what your Majesty gives, I like it. She took the box, opened it, and saw a pair of pearl earrings inside, and she was immediately overjoyed. Sister, try it on. Xia Yuan blinked. This. Put it on. It should be pretty, Lu Yuan said. Then try it. Xia Hongmei picked up the earrings and put them on her ears. Lu Yuan's eyes lit up. She may not be a stunning beauty, nor does she have an extremely charming figure, but she is the type that is more attractive the more you look at her, and her facial features are very delicate. She took her sister to escape thousands of miles away, and she was both a sister and a mother. Her tenacity made her more beautiful. Well, does it look good? Xia Hongmei felt a little embarrassed by Lu Yuan's stare, and she couldn't help but feel uneasy. It looks good, Lu Yuan praised. I have never seen such a beautiful woman. Xia Yuan pretended to be exaggerated. Go to hell. Xia Hongmei put her hair behind her ears. She was flustered by Lu Yuan's stare, and hurriedly said, Your Majesty, do you want to drink or eat? Drink some wine to get rid of the cold. Lu Yuan doesn't like to drink, but he occasionally has a drink in winter to warm himself up. The dishes were home-cooked dishes, and the wine was top-grade yellow wine. Xia Hongmei poured a glass of wine for Lu Yuan and said some words of thanks. The three of them didn't feel restrained when they were together. After a few glasses of wine, the chatterbox opened up. Xia Hongmei said, For so many years, thanks to your Majesty's care, 7 years have passed in a blink of an eye. If it weren't for your Majesty, we sisters, those who disturb my heart, today's day is full of worries. Those who abandon me, yesterday's day can't be kept. Lu Yuan took a sip of wine and said, You and I must learn to look forward to me. You are my family and a vital part of my vitality. If I talk about gratitude, I will be unhappy and unhappy. I won't say it again in the future. Xia Hongmei raised the wine glass and drank it all in one gulp. In this life, I have your Majesty Hongmei. And I will die without regrets. Look at your sister, she just likes to talk about death. Xia Yuan said, Then your Majesty, please find a time to take her in, so that she won't learn her lesson. After these words came out, Xia Hongmei and Lu Yuan were stunned. What nonsense are you talking about, you little girl? Xia Hongmei was flustered. Your Majesty, she's talking nonsense. But Lu Yuan listened to her and said seriously, You are 23 this year, and you will be 24 after the Chinese New Year. Ordinary people of your age would have started a family and have children. You have been with me for many years, and I have never looked at anyone with new eyes. I understand your feelings. Xia Hongmei was extremely panicked. Your Majesty, don't talk, listen to me. Lu Yuan looked at the flustered Xia Hongmei and said gently, I am not saying this because you are old and I pity you. In the early years, there were not enough people and not much energy to talk about these things later. The matter was accomplished. The country was founded, and I was busy and couldn't spare time to talk. I actually always wanted to find a time to talk to you in my heart. You are no worse than others. This sudden confession made Xi Hongmei lose the ability to think, but she twisted her fingers white and her eyes were red. Perhaps in your opinion, I have always placed you in a position that alienates you, but that is not the case. The positions I have placed you in are all very important positions that I think if you are not one of my own, I will not place you there at all. As for the Minister of Revenue, I will only feel relieved if Xi Yuan is the minister. It is the same if I let you be the director of the Security Bureau and the dean. When you were the director of the Security Bureau, I never worried about sleeping. When you were the dean, I never worried about getting hurt. Because I know that my back is someone I can rely on. I can safely leave my back to her. But there is no end to the work. If I continue to turn a blind eye, I will really delay you. Chapter 421 Yuan. Your Majesty. Xia Hongmei interrupted Li Yuan. I once swore that I would never marry unless I killed my enemies. I will always remember all the kindness your Majesty has shown me. But I will not be able to sleep or eat well until I have taken my revenge. Her father was poisoned to death. Her mother was killed, and her grandfather's family died tragically, right in front of her. This pain did not diminish with time, but became more intense. Of course she wanted to be with Li Yuan, but if she couldn't focus on him, she wouldn't be happy. Sister, that's not a conflict. Xia Yuan was anxious. Xia Hongmei held her hand and said to Li Yuan, Your Majesty, Xia Yuan is at the right age, and is far superior to me in both talent and appearance. Only she is worthy of His Majesty. Li Yuan tapped his fingers on the table, looking at the two sisters who were giving way to each other. Why? You don't even ask for my opinion? Just give it to whoever you want? Xia Yuan is more suitable than me, Xia Hongmei said stubbornly. My sister is more suitable. I'm still young and can wait for a few years. Li Yuan exhaled a foul breath, not knowing whether it was because of the yellow wine or what. He stood up and pulled the two sisters. We must avenge, but I want you to. Xia Hongmei's heart trembled. If your Majesty wants it, I will naturally not resist, but my heart is not here. Li Yuan patted her head and said, I'm not as impatient as you think. I just want to tell you that hatred is a person's motivation. But it is not everything. Da Jing, I will definitely destroy him when the time comes. You will deal with your enemies yourself. But this doesn't stop you from living a good life. If you use hatred to paralyze yourself and spur yourself on, then what is the point of all my efforts over the years? Xia Hongmei said with red eyes, I'm sorry, Your Majesty, and you, do you think you can escape? Li Yuan hugged Xia Yuan over. Xia Yuan curled up in Li Yuan's arms, feeling dizzy. You two sisters must stay by my side and only by my side, Li Yuan said, not necessarily today. But any time is fine. Will I still be the Shangshu in the future? It is now, but it won't be in the future. Then my sister. Her words don't count, only my words count. Li Yuan also pulled Xia Hongmei over. The two sisters faced each other, and Xia Hongmei even stopped crying. The two looked at each other and then moved away in panic. Whatever you want to do it before entering the palace. After entering the palace, I will consider what you want to do. Li Yuan put his arms around their waists and said, Then can I complete my term as the Shangshu first? Then my sister must get married before me. This is the rule. Xia Yuan didn't dare to say that she would get married after taking revenge, for fear that Li Yuan would beat her. Okay, Li Yuan nodded. And you two sisters will enter the palace together. Oh, I have no objection, Xia Yuan said obediently. Xia Hongmei covered her face, too embarrassed to face anyone, but she didn't dare to refute. Li Yuan has said so much. If she continues to be pretentious, she will be whipped tonight. But Li Yuan controlled himself and didn't do anything too extreme. He did not return to the palace that night. In Li Yuan's words, this is marking and occupying territory in advance. What's there to be shy about? It's winter and I'm wearing thick clothes. So who can see it? Xia Hongmei said, pretending to be calm. But sister. Neck. Xia Yuan pointed at Xia Hongmei's neck. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by the patients if you go to the hospital like this? Xia Hongmei gritted her teeth and tied her scarf. I haven't had any surgery in the past few days. Xia Yuan rolled over on the bed laughing. Xia Hongmei lifted the mattress and said, How can you be so good? Look at this place, it's almost like a plum blossom pile. Xia Yuan protected her body with her hands and said with a red face, You are still blaming me, aren't you the same? I don't know who it was yesterday, hiding in the quilt. Xia Hongmei was so angry that she pinched her hard. If you say that again, I'll tear your mouth off. She was so angry. If Xia Yuan hadn't been a rogue, it wouldn't have been her turn. Fortunately, Li Yuan had strong self-control and was unwilling to accept them carelessly, so it only went this far. But when I thought about the temperature of Li Yuan's big hand measuring every place, I wished I could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. Just say it. I don't know who was so loud last night. Xia Yuan crawled into the quilt and wrapped herself into a ball. You are so grown up. And you are still drawing maps. Xia Hanmei was going crazy. How can she, as an elder sister, have any face in the future? Xia Yuan, I will kill you. Just as the two sisters were playing, Li Yuan left the Xia family contentedly. The tenderness of last night made people intoxicated, but Li Yuan did not linger on. These are just busy embellishments. One day, he received a letter from Xiaoji and Jia. The letter revealed that Xiaochai had cleared out the entire Jiangdan region, wiped out all the new party members, annihilated more than 20 rebel forces, and pacified Jiangnan. Just the gold, silver and treasures they looted amounted to 80 million toels, and 7 million shi of grain. After seizing power, Xiaoji and Jia once again expanded the army's strength. In addition, she decided to launch an attack on the Huns, recapture Baiyu Jingji, and ask the court for some support and help. Li Yuan frowned. It could be seen that Xiaoji and Jia wanted to borrow Daqian's military force to regain the lost territory. Then proceed to submit. He asked Cao Wei and Hu. In your opinion, is this feasible? Cao Wei and Hu considered it again and said, as long as the queen is loyal today, it is reasonable to support her with Shang Wei's assistance. There shouldn't be any mistakes. The Xiangnu princess is still studying here. And if anything happens, we can quickly counter it. That makes sense, Lu Yuan said. And we can provide them with a batch of equipment for 10,000 people. On the other side, in the Yu dynasty, in the Taji palace, a woman wearing a dragon robe with bright eyes was lying on the dragon throne with lifeless eyes. She propped up her face with one hand, sighing, oh, so boring, so boring. It would be nice if I could just have a quickie in this hot weather. I miss air conditioning and big refrigerators. I also miss the big TV and pesticides. The Materstunt was holding a palm leaf fan in her hand, and was used to hearing the empress sighing. Ever since your majesty conquered the world, you have been sighing every now and then. In the words of your majesty, this is called a conspiracy. I don't know if Li has found Middle-earth. He has been away for a year and there is no reply. I am so bored that I am going crazy. Yu Yan scratched his head in pain. He didn't care that his hair was messy. I want to eat beef brisket stewed with potatoes, pork ribs stewed with potatoes, pork rinds stewed with corn, and roasted sweet potatoes. This time travel life was nothing like what she had imagined. When others travel through time, no matter which dynasty they travel to, they will marry into the royal family. She is different, she is royal herself. That would be fine, but she got excited when she thought about the 3,000 male favorites in the harem. But the men in Yu dynasty were more rough than each other, and she really couldn't bring herself to accept them. The generation gap is too big for her to be with these people. Sometimes she hated herself for being such an artistic young woman and also having mental misophobia. I'm not going to be alone here guarding a mountain of gold, am I? Please let me go back. Chapter 422, Forget it, Destroy it. A Dayu society was not backward. It developed rapidly for more than 2,000 years. Its overall technological level should have surpassed that of the Han dynasty. After she came, the level of technology had reached that of the Ming dynasty. Both steel production and quality have achieved a qualitative leap. But industry is something that she cannot handle alone. Fortunately, I used to love reading farming novels, so I still have some useful knowledge in my mind. She didn't expect to live a modern life in this life. As long as she could touch the edge of modern times, she would be satisfied. She thought that the Yu dynasty had not been discovered for 2,000 years, which meant that the surrounding continents were not well developed. So I'm not afraid to send Li out to sea. With muskets and cannons, even if we don't become the king, we can still protect ourselves. AU has been blocked on this continent for 2,000 years and is in urgent need of communication. However, Yu Yan found some clues from Chu Benji. This book was written 3,000 years ago, when the Yu dynasty was just established. The book also records several dynasties that are even older than the Yu dynasty. And all mythological stories tell of a Big Bang in the distant ancient times. And that Big Bang is called the Big Bang. It is said that the land was not big originally, but because of that big explosion, the sky collapsed. The earth sank, the land plates moved, the ocean sank, and the plates floated up. As for these, Yu Yan just regarded them as myths. But the bad thing was that she was bored and found some old maps. And this map is said to be the map of Middle-earth. The familiar map struck Yu Yan's heart directly, leaving her speechless for a long time. From that day on, she frantically searched for information related to this map. Afterwards, she built a big ship, hoping to find Middle-earth and search for more information about the ancient times. She wanted to find the warehouse of all things that sank to the bottom of the sea in ancient times. It is said that it contains the reasons for the Big Bang. This also means that the explosion that caused the world to change was most likely man-made. Just when Yu Yan was in a daze, the guard came quickly to report, Your Majesty, great joy, great joy. Yu Yan's eyes were empty. Is it the Hua Sheng of the Prime Minister's family who gave birth? seeing His Majesty answering irrelevant questions. The guards were used to it. It was their fault that they couldn't keep up with His Majesty's imagination. Li, General Li. Li is back? Yu Yan sat up suddenly. No. And what the hell are you talking about? Yu Yan leaned weakly on the dragon throne again, looking completely bored. General Li didn't come back, but General Li's follower Go Yu brought the people from Middle-earth back. Yu Yan's eyes lit up and he jumped down from the dragon chair. What did you say? Middle-earth people. Many Middle-earth people have arrived. They have already arrived in Eugene, the guard said excitedly. Found it. Really found it. After more than 2,000 years, we finally found Middle-earth. Yu Yan rubbed his hands, and then felt that as an emperor, he should not be so excited. Calm down. Calm down, bullshit. Where are they? I went to the Honglu temple. Prepare a banquet. I will entertain them warmly tonight also. Ask Jiu to come to the palace quickly. I have something to ask him. Yu Yan was a little excited. Just think about it. A country that had been isolated from the world for more than 2,000 years suddenly discovered a new world. Who wouldn't be happy? My achievement is much greater than Marco Polo's. Yu Yan put his hands on his hips and had a proud expression on his face. Soon, a Go Yu entered the palace. Yu Yan looked at a Go Yu, who was as black as a kobold, and asked, "Where did you get the Kunlun slave?" "Your Majesty, I?" A Go Yu knelt on the ground and scratched his head. "Bullshit, a Go Yu is so white. I've even seen his abdominal muscles. No, where did you get this black dog?" Yu wanted to cry but had no tears. "Your Majesty, I am really Yu." Yu Yan came closer to take a look. "It's really you. Li, why didn't you come back with me? General Li is picking up girls in Middle-earth. Oh no. He is discussing business in Middle-earth according to the order of His Majesty." A Go Yu was shocked and almost exposed General Li's past. "Tell me about the situation in Middle-earth." Yu Yan didn't care whether Li was picking up girls in Middle-earth or not. She only cared about the situation in Middle-earth. A Go Yu scratched his head and then told the situation in Middle-earth. Yu Yan was stunned when he heard this. "What did you say?" "There is a country called Dei. Over there Dei has an emperor named Liuan. They not only have cement, perfume, gunpowder, guns and cannons, but also sweet potatoes and potatoes. Yes. The second generation Yu is quite good, handsome, tall and strong, just the type Your Majesty likes." Yu secretly took out a painting from his arms. "Your Majesty, take a look, this is a sketch I drew secretly." Yu Yan took it and looked at it. "Hey, it's really handsome. I like it." "Bullshit." She collected the painting and put it in her pocket. "What's so good about this painting? Why don't you bring Liuan back to me?" "Your Majesty, I dare not. The Dei people are very powerful. Their guns and cannons are much more advanced than ours. They just fought a war involving millions of people not long ago, with hundreds of thousands of people suppressing millions of people. On the way here, I saw a lot of Jingguan. It was really scary." A Go Yu patted his chest, looking like he was still frightened. Yu Yan sat down on the steps. It's over. The technology in the Middle-earth has actually developed to this level. No. It has nothing to do with the Middle-earth. Someone got there first." She spread out Liuan's portrait again. "A Go Yu, tell me in detail who this Liuan is." "It's a long story about Liuan. According to legend, he could compose poems at the age of 3, 8 at the age of 5, and by the age of 7, he was a well-known child prodigy." Seeing a Go Yu's vivid description of Liuan as a god from heaven, Yu Yan's heart sank. "Fuck you, this guy is my senior. It's over. Something big has happened. This guy is so violent. Will he send troops to attack the Yu dynasty?" Various scenes from novels suddenly appeared in my mind. He was afraid that Liuan would entangle him with blue and silver. Yu Yan held his head, looking at Jiu, who was spitting and full of excitement and admiration, and couldn't help but ask, "If you admire and appreciate him so much, why don't you stay in Dei?" Jiu said solemnly, "I am Your Majesty's dog whether I live or die." "Stop talking nonsense." Yu Yan lay on the ground. "Forget it, let it be destroyed. This damn god is too unfair. He sent me here without even asking about my wishes. You've brought another senior to me, a war maniac with maximum combat power. Jun is quite handsome." "That's right." "A Go Yu, how old is Liuan?" "Not much, only 25. She's the right age." No, I'm so anxious. What on earth am I thinking?" Yu Yan gritted his teeth and climbed up. "Come here, kill all the envoys from Dei." Chapter 423, Crazy Imagination. Yu Yan's imagination is so fast that people around him can't keep up. Jiu said, "Your Majesty." "What did you say?" Kill them all, to avoid causing trouble for Dei." "Your Majesty, you can't kill me." "He can't be killed." Even Liuan dared to use Yi as the name of his country. What else can he not dare to do? He wants to be the first emperor and unify China. No, he wants to rule the world. By then, Yu dynasty will definitely be in his plan, so how can I be the emperor? Yu Yan was quite courageous. But when he heard that others had made comprehensive development in the navy, army and air force, while he had only got a flintlock rifle and a red cannon. How could he fight? Steam locomotives have been invented, and electricity is almost universally available. Let us compare them. No, Emperor Day is quite friendly. He even wrote a letter, and asked me to pass it to your majesty. Yu took out the letter with a confused look on his face. Yu Yan bit her lip, took the letter and started reading. The first sentence made Yu Yan shattered. Hello, Emperor Yu. I am the 13th guardian of Dei. Back then, I held a machete and chopped all the way from Pengla East Road to Nantian. The hand rises and the knife falls. The hand rises and the knife falls. Okay, you're the 13th guardian of Dei. Right? You're going to chop people with a machete, right? That's great. Yu Yan felt that the Iuoka was too weak, as he threatened right from the start. I didn't expect to meet a fellow countryman here, as the saying goes. When fellow countrymen meet, their eyes are filled with tears. But in Yu Yan's eyes it was. When fellow villagers meet, they stab each other in the back. Okay. You threaten first and then flatter. You give me a sweet date after a beating, right? You are bullying a weak woman like me, right? Don't criticize my face. Let's meet up if we have a chance and have a drink. If there is a chance. Meet him, arrest him, and torture him severely. Yu Yan's eyes were full of coldness. The story you wrote, Free Lives Three Worlds, 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms, is quite interesting. He was laughing at me for plagiarizing. Don't criticize me. When we have time, let's spell a word. Let's fight. The letter was not long, only about 300 to 500 words, but Yu Yan deciphered it into 30. 0 words. He really wants to kill me. Thinking of this, Yu Yan let out a long breath. Yu looked at the chattering Yu Yan and was also confused. Your Majesty, those Dei envoys have good weapons and they still have 10,000 or 20,000 people on board. If you want to kill them, they will come to kill you. What? They came with so many people. Yu Yan's hands and feet suddenly turned cold. Li, you have caused me so much trouble. These people must be the vanguard, here to scout out the situation. Once they have found out everything, they will definitely send troops to attack us. Your Majesty, Dei has not even unified the Central Plains, and next to it is the Xiongnu, which is even more vast than the Central Plains. How can they go far away and attack our Dei? Moreover, Emperor Dei is quite nice to us and only wants to exchange letters of credence and sign a forward rate agreement with us. I also want to establish Hongluguan in each other's countries. You know nothing. You don't understand at all. All those male-oriented books are like this. If the male protagonist doesn't unify the world, it's like killing the readers. The corpses of the people who read them are warm. Yu Yan took a deep breath and believed in this point of view. Without a doubt, everyone is a middle school student. But there are differences between them. She just wanted to light up the technology tree and live a good life by showing off. Deep down, she is not a person who loves war. Although he is a lesbian at heart, he is literary and conservative at heart, and he longs for a partner who is on the same wavelength as him. But it's too late now. Beiyu's coordinates have been exposed, and tens of thousands of troops have been deployed at the doorstep. Forget it, don't kill the Dei envoy. We can have the banquet as usual tonight, Yu Yan said, trying to cheer himself up. Yu scratched his head and said, Your Majesty, should we kill him or not? Roll. Okay. Yu rolled on the ground and then trotted away. With a nervous mood, Yu Yan waited until the evening. Chen Hai brought Lu Jian, the ambassador of the Honglu Temple to the Yu dynasty, into the palace to meet the emperor. Lu Jian is a more outstanding member of the Lu clan. He is good at diplomacy and is both civil and martial. So Lu Yuan arranged for me to come here. The Chen Hai Lu Jian, under the order of His Majesty the Emperor of Dei, has come to pay homage to Her Majesty the Empress of the Yu dynasty. Here are my Dei specialties, a camel bicycle and a sewing machine. Yu Yan was so shocked that this was not a gift at all, it was clearly a show of muscle. You can't make any of these things. Well, thank Emperor Dei for me. Please sit down. Yu Yan pressed his hand. After expressing their thanks, everyone took their seats. After a brief exchange of greetings, Chen Hai handed over the letter of credence. Your Majesty did not expect that there would be Chinese immigrants establishing a country and a dynasty thousands of miles away overseas. Therefore, I have specially sent my ministers to establish diplomatic relations, establish bilateral trade, and work together for common development between the two countries. Forget about establishing diplomatic relations. We in the Yu dynasty do not want to have contact with the outside world. We are thousands of miles away. The gains from this trip are not as great as the losses. Everyone in the Yu dynasty was stunned. This wasn't right. At first, I was thinking of finding someone from Middle-earth, but it was you, Her Majesty the Empress. Now that they have come to you, are you going to turn them away? Isn't that teasing others? Oh, Your Majesty, don't worry about that. Along the way, we have found more than 20 islands on the sea. And these islands are not small in size. We can station troops on these islands, set up island chains, and use these islands as springboards, which can save a lot of time and costs. The nearest island to the Yu dynasty is about 4,000 miles away. We can transport goods to this island and trade on the island this way. We can reduce risks and lower costs. It only takes about half a year to go back and forth. The shipbuilding technology of the Yu dynasty is the best in the world, and bilateral trade can bring win-win-win-win results to both countries. Chen He said. Let's talk about this later. Come, let's drink. Yu Yan raised his glass. Lu Jian looked at Chen He in confusion, took a sip of wine, and said, Your Majesty sent General Li to the Middle-earth, hoping to trade with the Middle-earth countries. We have come here with great difficulty, but Your Majesty has such a perfunctory attitude. Is Day so insignificant in the eyes of Your Majesty? Or does Your Majesty not take us seriously at all? Yu Yan's mouth twitched. We are having a banquet today because we are happy. Can't we talk about business tomorrow? All we want is an attitude. If Your Majesty has no intention of doing business with Day, please tell us in advance. We are not the kind of people who will pester you. Lu Jian smashed the wine glass. Chen He also swept the food on the table to the ground, stood up, and looked directly at Yu Yan. Your Majesty, do you think that we, Day, are easy to bully? How dare you? This is the Yu dynasty, not Day. How dare you be so rude to His Majesty? Have you ever died before? A sturdy man, 8 feet tall, stepped out, drew his broadsword, pointed at the two men and said, Apologize to His Majesty. Or else, don't blame me for letting my sword fall on you. Chapter 424, Retaking Bai Eugene Ji. Come, kill me. Lu Jian walked up to him, tilted his head in front of his knife, and said with contempt, Come on, chop it up. Chen He just watched Lu Jian's performance quietly. What is the most important thing for the envoys of the Honglu Temple stationed abroad? Maintain peace between the two countries. Fuck him. It's a provocation. Unlike the envoy from the Honglu Guan of Dajing, who is so useless that he only dares to play with the princess, how could he not dare to humiliate the queen? You. The sturdy man was also shocked. If he retreated in front of everyone, he would be laughed at. You're looking for death. Yes, I am looking for death. If you have the guts, kill me. Lu Jian sneered. Today, I have finally opened my eyes. The Yu dynasty was also a big country that ruled over several neighboring countries. They were also immigrants from China. How could they go back on their words and not even know the most basic etiquette? Does barbarism also want to oppress civilization? Lu Jian spat a large mouthful of saliva onto the sturdy man's face. I'm going to kill you. As he spoke, the sturdy man raised his knife and was about to chop towards Lu Jian. Stop it, everyone, Yu Yan roared. The machete stopped, only half an inch away from Lu Jian's head. His Majesty. I said, stop it. Get out, Yu Yan said coldly. The sturdy man gritted his teeth, retracted his machete, and retreated quietly. Lu Jian sighed with some regret. Rubbish. This call of rubbish angered the officials of Dayu. But after all, they were the ones who made the mistake first. They coaxed the people to come from far away, and then went back on their word. Anyone would be angry. Yu Yan finally understood that these two people were really not afraid of death. If they died in the Yu dynasty, the tens of thousands of elite troops would definitely rush in to kill them. Even if he can't win, Day won't give up. She felt a little regretful. She thought Dayu's technology could dominate the world, but as soon as she went out, she was chased by a full-level monster. But you are not in the right and are really shooting yourself in the foot. She raised her glass and said, You too. You misunderstood my meaning. I never like to talk about things when I am happy. I enjoy myself when I am happy and talk about things when I am happy. If you drink and say something wrong, it won't be good tonight. Just enjoy it. As he said this, he drank the wine in the glass in one gulp and then clapped his hands. The Japanese woman and the Gaoli singer walked to the middle wearing sexy and revealing clothes and danced coquettously. Chen He looked at Lu Jian, shook his head slightly, and then sat down. After a while, someone came over with new food and even the table was changed. After the banquet was over, Yu Yan asked a few of his trusted ministers to stay and tell us what you think. Your Majesty, Day is not simple. I have carefully observed their followers and they are the elite among the elite. Moreover, their weapons are better than ours. A glimpse of the whole picture. Although Day is a new country, its overall national strength is stronger than ours. Moreover, the Emperor of Day is young and strong, and he is looking for opponents all over the world. If we fight against them at this time, it will be disadvantageous to Dayu. Alas, my position has been exposed. I don't know whether it is a blessing or a curse. Middle-earth is truly a land of talent. I haven't been back for so many years, but I didn't expect it to have developed to this level. I'm asking you to come up with a solution, not to sigh here, Yu Yan said coldly. Since we can't hide, and don't hide, the key is to establish trade first and find ways to improve ourselves. The big leaves have local enemies and will not establish external enemies. In the next 10 years, they won't confront us. This vast ocean is a punishment from heaven, so I believe that Day you will have no worries within the next 30 years. 30 years later, Li Yuan will be old and will no longer have any thoughts of attacking. I second the motion. Yu Yan didn't say anything, thinking, it is indeed too early to say this now after all. The other party has not shown any hostility. It would be bad if we end up making things worse. Then tomorrow, we will discuss cooperation with Day's envoy. Please leave. After the ministers left, Yu Yan also realized that his stress reaction was too severe. Now it is certain that Lu Yuan, like himself, comes from the same place, and they have no conflict of interest, and since they are so far apart, they don't necessarily have to be enemies. Thinking of Lu Yuan's letter, she read it again. Looking again, it's different again. It's like a Chu Uni Bu boy responding to a Chu Uni Bu girl. Including the books that Lu Yuan gave her, such as The Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber, The Legend of the Condor Heroes, and The Return of the Condor Heroes. These are clearly the works of a middle school boy. Maybe he didn't mean any harm? Maybe, just like himself, he needs to find someone who can understand him and talk to him. They all have the biggest secret, but no one can tell it. Even to the people closest to you. You can't tell them. They are lonely, there is no doubt about that. She took out Li's letter again, which recorded the history of Lu Yuan's rise to wealth, and wrote clearly about the period from Lu Yuan's first appointment to the founding of the country. In other words, Lu Yuan started from scratch and was forced to establish Day. If there had been no unrest in Middle-earth, he might have been just an official in Daqian now. He started with the male hell, but I'm different. I started with the emperor, although it's also difficult. It's much better than his. Yu Yan looked at the portrait on the table, picked up a pen, and wrote a reply. All kinds of wild and imaginative words that only they can understand. It feels so good. I haven't felt this good in a long time. Saying these normal words will make people look at you strangely no longer. I just don't know if we came from the same year. Yu Yan thought curiously. The next day, Lu Jian led a team into the palace for negotiations. This negotiation lasted for 7 days, and thousands of regulations, large and small, were signed. Among them is the promise of no solicitation. In other words, the Yu dynasty remained neutral, did not participate in the war in Middle-earth, and only wanted stable development. Although Lu Jian felt a little regretful, his main mission here was to find out the authenticity of the Yu dynasty. After signing the agreement, Yu Yan allocated a piece of land for Day to use. After the bilateral trade agreement was signed, the two sides decided to jointly operate the island chain. The Yu dynasty will also send envoys to Liangjing. The entire Yu dynasty was also shaken. The long-cherished wish of 2,000 years was realized by Yu Yan. Yu Yan also became the greatest emperor in 2,000 years. But Yu Yan just wanted Lu Yuan to reply as soon as possible. At this time, Liangjing had already entered the severe winter. But the people are enthusiastic. According to Xiao Jianjia's latest reply, she has already fought against the Huns in Ba Yujingji and successfully took back Ba Yujingji. Beheading more than 30,000 people was an unprecedented victory for Daqian over the Huns. This great victory also greatly encouraged the people of Daqian. Upon learning that Ba Yujingji had been conquered, Yan Zichai was furious. Useless, all useless, you can't even defend Ba Yujingji with an army of 200,000. What is the country supporting you for? Xiang knelt on the ground and said with a wronged look on his face, they have cannons and they directly blasted open the walls of Ba Yujingji, we can't defend it at all. Chapter 425, Whipping the Corpse in the Sun. Excuses, all excuses. Yan Zichai was furious. Princess, it's not that we are too weak. It's that the enemy is too strong with Day's support behind us. Our weapons and equipment are no match for them. We can only rely on the mobility of light cavalry to fight and leave, but we can't cause any substantial damage to them. Xiang smiled bitterly. Don't we have a musket battalion as well? But those muskets are technology that Day has eliminated. They are far inferior in terms of power and range. Only bombs can cause damage to them. And so far, we have not been able to control the exact formula of gunpowder. Yan Zichai was a little upset. She had been in school for 2 months, but she couldn't get into the technical school she had always wanted to go to. She settled for the next best option and wanted to go to medical school, but she still didn't qualify. Day's technology is the best in the world, and his medical skills are also the best in the world. She had studied Day's post-war injury rate, and found that as long as the person did not die on the spot, the rate of treatment for serious injuries was about 30. But in reality, as long as you are seriously injured, you basically have to leave it to fate if 2 or 3 out of 100 seriously injured people can survive. It is considered a blessing from God. In addition to military medical emergency treatment, there are also civilian surgeries and medicines, all of which are worth a fortune. In the outside world, the price of a small bottle of penicillin has been hyped up to 100 tals of gold, but in Day, it has become a popular civilian product. She could only learn a little bit through reports. But the efficacy of this medicine is undoubtedly powerful. In addition to penicillin, there are all kinds of strange but extremely effective drugs. A country that can completely conquer smallpox and typhoid is too great. The longer she stayed in Day, the more shocked she was by Lu Yuan's methods. She still hasn't figured out why Day dared to exempt the great axe and corvée that had not been exempted for thousands of years. What did Day rely on? The more she studied Lu Yuan, the more fascinated she became. Even she didn't notice it. As a result, she has now entered a Buddhist college, which is filled with princesses and princes from small countries, and at the very least, royal nobles. She really couldn't muster up interest and had to skip classes. In the past 2 months, she asked to see Lu Yuan many times. But Lu Yuan refused to see her. Yanzi was almost driven crazy. She had never seen a man with such a heartless heart. Is it that her rouge is not beautiful enough or that she is not charming enough? Seeing the obsession in Xian's eyes, she said with disgust, "If you look at me again, I will dig out your eyes. What level are you, and are you worthy of looking at this princess?" Xiang felt troned, but he never said anything. "Princess, tomorrow is New Year's Eve in Middle-earth. How long will we stay here?" Yan Zichai tapped her fingers on the table and said, "I can't stay in Liangjing anymore. This princess must go back to command the battle. I heard that the one leading the troops this time is Lu Yuan's woman. I would like to compete with her and rob her. I'll see if Lu Yuan will ask me for help." After making up her mind, Yan Zichai said, "Pack up your things and let's go back." Xiang was overjoyed. "Okay, that's great." Before Yan Zichai left, she wrote a letter to Lu Yuan. After Lu Yuan opened the envelope, a bright red belly band slipped out from it. There were even clear marks on the belly band. And the cloth at the front had been stretched out. A unique fragrance penetrated into his nose, and Lu Yuan immediately smiled bitterly. How could such a palm-sized piece of cloth be contained? It's really burning. The letter was not long, just a few words. "I'm leaving. I've been very unhappy these past 2 months. Next time I see you, I want you to apologize to me. This is my personal gift for you. Don't lose it. Take it out and have a look at it when you miss me. We'll check next time." Finally, there was a lip print. Damn, this Xiongnu princess. Although I only met her twice, my memory of her is still fresh. Lu Yuan sighed. No wonder the ancients said that the land of gentleness is the tomb of heroes. I wonder how many heroes have had trouble with daughters. Lu Yuan didn't care about stuffing the belly band into the envelope. There are plenty of women. Want to capture him? Impossible. Now he was worried about Xiaoji and Jie instead. I hope we won't get carried away this time when we take back Bau Jingji. He was worried, so he wrote a few more notes and stuffed them into the brocade bag. Send them to Da Qian and give them to Ji and Jia personally. At this time, Bau Jingji. After Xiaoji and Jia regained the lost land, the local people were not enthusiastic and some even looked at them coldly. It's like looking at an enemy. She asked Xiao Chai, "Why do they hate us?" Xiao Chai said with a sad look in his eyes, "If I were a commoner, how could I be happy if I was abandoned several times, slaughtered several times, changed my ways several times, and was ignored by the court?" Xiaoji and Jia was stunned. "So they hate us?" "Yes, they hate us." Xiao Chai looked at the desolate Bau Jingji. This place used to be so prosperous. It was the most prosperous capital of Da Qian, but now, only 1 in 10 people are alive. And the streets are stained with blood. How can they not hate? The Huns entered the country and burned, killed and looted. But they did implement some benevolent policies. They retreated, taking the people with them. To be honest, I find it ridiculous we are the invaders. Xiaoji and Jia was very confused. Although she won the battle, she felt like she had lost, completely lost. The Xiao family's rule of more than 200 years was not as good as the Huns' rule a few months. What a failure. She was walking on the road and saw the panicked face. "Don't be afraid, we are the king's teacher." The old man pulled the child behind him and knelt on the ground. "We didn't surrender. We were forced to do so. We just want to live. Don't kill us. Don't kill us." Looking at the old man's frightened face, Xiaoji and Jia felt a pang of pain in her heart. It was snowing in Bau Jingji, but they were still wearing thin clothes. The child huddled behind the old man, his body trembling, not knowing whether from the cold or fear. Xiaoji and Jia took off her cloak and covered the child with it. "Don't be afraid. No one will hurt you anymore." The child didn't say anything, just looked at her numbly. There was not a trace of childish vitality on his thin and sallow face. Instead, he looked like an old man who was about to die. Xiaoji and Jia didn't say anything, just observed along the street. Most of these callous people are the elderly, the weak, women and children. Most of those who traveled with the Huns were young and strong. Bau Jingji is now just an empty shell, and its value has been drained away over the years. Even the city walls collapsed. There were cries everywhere. There were children kneeling on the ground begging. An old man was lying on the ground, dying, begging for food. The Xiao family is guilty, and I am also guilty. Even though she was used to seeing life and death, she couldn't help but feel sad when she saw her former home become like this. It's time for this chaotic world to end. Xiao Jianjia wiped away her tears and said to Xiao Chai, "Open the granary to provide relief to the people, so that every citizen can have enough food and clothing and have a peaceful year." She walked to the north city gate and saw the corpse hanging on the gate. Those were the remains of the Xiao family's ancestors that the Huns dug out from the Xiao family's imperial tomb. Chapter 426, Doubts. Looking at the row of remains, Xiao Jianjia felt indescribably sad. The thieves even put up a sign under the remains to tell the world which emperor it was. Only half of Taizhi's skull was left, and it was taken out. During the more than 200 years of the Daqian period, the remains of 17 emperors were all dug out, without missing a single one. Digging up someone's ancestral grave is an irreconcilable offense. But even for such a thing, the people of Bau Jingji even applauded and cheered. Xiao Jianjia didn't understand, and didn't comprehend. Xiao Che also clenched his teeth and said word by word, "Your Majesty, collect the remains of our ancestors." Xiao Jianjia glanced at them and frowned. "Where is my father? Why isn't his body here?" Xiao Che also frowned and counted carefully. There were indeed only 15 remains. But the remains of Emperor Shenzong were missing. Could it be that it melted? Absolutely not. Xiao Jianjia said. "Even Emperor Taiziyu only has half of his head left. How many years has it been since my father was buried? The coffin is airtight. I'm afraid even the body hasn't rotted away completely. But I have investigated and found no remains of Emperor Shenzong from the beginning to the end. Where is the imperial mausoleum? Has it not been opened? Send someone to take a look and we'll know." Xiao Chai also hurriedly sent people to check the imperial mausoleum. Not long after, the person who went to check came back and reported, "Your Majesty, the underground palace of His Majesty Shenzong's mausoleum has been opened. All the valuable burial objects inside have been moved out, and the coffin is also damaged. There is nothing inside. Where are my father's remains? Not seen." Xiao Jianjia felt a sharp pain in her heart. This is impossible. What do the Huns want with my father's remains? Xiao Chai didn't know how to comfort Xiao Jianjia. Maybe it really has melted away. The Huns didn't pull out my father's body. Maybe there is no body inside at all. A cold look flashed in Xiao Jianjia's eyes, and she personally led people to the imperial mausoleum and went down to the underground palace. Looking at the smashed pottery figurines, rotten fruits and animals as offerings in the underground palace, he strode into the interior. In the burial tombs, the remains of the concubines were scattered all over the floor, and the main tomb chamber was empty. The contents of the coffin had been emptied, and there were no signs of decay in the body. Xiao Jianjia crawled into the coffin. She studied medicine. How could she not know the process of human corruption? When a wild goose passes by, it leaves a sound behind. When a person passes by, he leaves a trace behind. But there was not a single trace in the coffin. My father's remains are not in this coffin. Xiao Jianjia looked at Xiao Chai with a fatherly gaze. "Second uncle, did you see my father's remains being placed in the coffin back then?" "Of course, who would dare to mess around with such a big thing?" Xiao Chai asked. "Who would dare to tamper with the remains of His Majesty? But there are no traces here. Although I'm not a coroner, I can still tell whether there is a body here or not. It has only been about 7 or 8 years since my father was buried. It is impossible for him to have been cremated so quickly. The Huns will not miss this opportunity to strike me." You also saw that the bones of the concubines buried with the deceased were all scattered on the ground. Xiao Chai was also confused. "I don't know, I really don't know." "Okay, I'll just assume you don't know." Xiao Jianjia walked out of the underground palace and said, "Perhaps, my father's body was abandoned from the beginning, but no one dared to do anything in front of everyone. No one would open the underground palace after burial to do such a thing that would go against the will of the world. Although Bau Jingji was lost a long time ago, the Xie Jing coalition would never do such a thing." She was sure that the imperial mausoleum was not robbed by tomb robbers, and an underground palace of this magnitude could not be robbed by ordinary people. Even when the Xie Jing coalition occupied Bau Jingji, in order to gain a good reputation, they even filmed the army taking the initiative to protect the imperial tomb. During the Three Kingdoms period, great efforts were made to protect tombs. Ray the Ear dies. What if my father is still alive? She looked at Xiao Chai. Xiao Chai shuddered. This is impossible. Nothing is impossible. So many dead people have come back to life. Why can't my father come back to life? Not even a trace. Either the remains were swapped during the burial, or the person crawled out alive again. Xiao Chai kept shaking his head. "I don't know. I really don't know. Someone will definitely know." Xiao Jianjia turned around and took a look at the underground palace. "Seal it up and put the remains of our ancestors back." She didn't care when a person dies. It's like a light goes out. If the ancestors could really protect their descendants, Daqian wouldn't have ended up like this. Looking at Xiao Jianjia's back, Xiao Chai couldn't help sighing. At this moment, even he was confused. Brother, are you really still alive? But why? If he were Xiao Jianjia, living in such a huge scam, he would have collapsed long ago. I hope not. Being abandoned by a mother is a fatal blow to everyone. Xiao Jianjia didn't say anything, but that kind of pain could not be repaired with just a few words. They spent a not-so-happy New Year in Baojing, because the Huns burned down the imperial palace. To this day, the fire has not been extinguished. What was burned down by this fire was the faith of the Daqian people and the prestige accumulated over 200 years. In the eyes of many people, Daqian was completely destroyed with this fire, killing someone and destroying their heart. The Huns whipped corpses and burned down the palace, completely destroying Daqian. At least, that's what Xiao Jianjia thinks. Fortunately, the palace where Xiao Jianjia lived in those days is still intact, but this place is also in ruins. That night, she sat in the room in boredom, silently licking the scars in your heart. She had used up all the tips Liu Yuan gave her, and she felt empty inside, as if she had lost her backbone. But that night, the Huns launched a surprise attack and invaded Baojing again. They came with great force, with over 200,000 people. This is the number of people in the musketeers, more than 10. Zero Xiaochai suddenly realized that the Huns were easily defeated. Perhaps it was planned by them from the beginning. This is a setup. A complete conspiracy. Xiao Jianjia put on armor and walked up to the city wall. The searchlight illuminated the area dozens of meters ahead. What came into view were not only the ferocious Hun cavalry, but also the people of Baojing. Xiao Jianjia, get out of Baojing and return my home to me. Lord of the fallen nation, get out of Baojing and return my family to me. The Xiao family has no morals and isn't worthy of being the ruler of the world. Get out. The rolling sound made Xiao Jianjia feel dazed. It was as if she had returned to the Battle of Shuitan County again, except that at that time, it was hundreds of thousands of innocent people begging her to open the door. And at this moment, the people were begging her to get out of Baojing. Lies never hurt anyone, the truth is the sharpest knife. Xiaochai looked at Xiao Jianjia's pale face and shouted at the others. What are you standing there for? Beat her. Chapter 427, Xiao Jianjia reborn from the ashes. Your Majesty, these people may not be ordinary people, they are most likely wolves in sheep's clothing, said Xiao Kai. Xiao Jianjia perked up and said, kill them first, kill them. Even if they are really ordinary people, so what? They no longer have Daqian in their eyes, so they are not the people of Daqian, but the enemies of Daqian. Having said that, these people's words still hit Xiao Jianjia hard, making her extremely anxious. However, the experiences over the years have already honed her. Abandoned by her mother and bullied in the deep palace, she has come to this point step by step. No matter how bizarre something happened, she didn't find it bizarre. The only thing she believed in was the knife in her hand and her backer, Liu Yuan. Bombard them, don't let them rush in from the front. Xiao Jianjia said coldly. As soon as the words were spoken, dozens of mortars were fired. The shells fell among the crowd, blowing countless people into pieces. No matter who the common people are or who the Huns are, they will all die. Behind the army, Cheku looked at the bombardment in front of him and grabbed the people around him. You bastard, didn't you say this trick would work? General, they are bloodthirsty even if they didn't stop. The moment they attacked the people, they were already abandoned by the people of Daqian. The person who spoke was called Zhang Deyuan, a member of the Zhang family in Jiangdan. Xiaochai led his troops to clean up the south of the Yangtze River. Zhang's family got wind of the news in advance and defected to the Huns. In fact, all the powerful clans in Jiangdan had surrendered to Xiongnu. You said that we can catch all these people in one fell swoop if I lose. I will use your head as a chamber pot and tear all the people in your Zhang family into pieces, Cheku said angrily. General, please calm down. It's our turn next. Zhang Deyuan smiled flatteringly. At this moment, a large number of soldiers in armor appeared on the streets of Baojing. These soldiers were armed with muskets, crossbows, and had mines hanging around their waists. They hid in tunnels dug in advance and in the cellars of the common people. After the Qian army entered, they did not conduct a carpet search. They also did not realize that this was a conspiracy by the enemy to catch them in a trap. At this moment, the collapsed city wall seemed to be the only entrance for the army to capture. A large number of troops were sent here. It was not until he heard an explosion behind him that Xiaochai realized, oh no, I've been tricked. Don't panic, let the machine guns guard the main roads, they can rush over. Xiao Jianjia was not panicked even if they were attacked from both sides, there were always more dangerous situations than this. She went down the city wall and stationed 7 machine guns on the main road. Liu Yuan gave her 20 NIU heavy machine guns, with 800,000 rounds of bullets however. He did not display this weapon when he attacked Baojing. At this moment, the flames from the NIU heavy machine gun were reaping floods on a large scale in the darkness. A high-speed spinning bullet pierced through the armor, leaving a horrific bloody hole. Even the lights turned blood red. The people rushed to the frozen moat, and the broken ice carried a stream of people into the water. I'm freezing to death, save me. Stop fighting, we are wrong, don't kill us. However, Xiao Cai's heart was as cold as iron this time. If Lu Yuan had not provided timely support, it would have been a tough battle in which he would kill 1,000 enemies but lose 800 of his own. They pretended to surrender, took the people away, dug up the corpses of emperors of all dynasties, whipped their bodies and exposed them to the sun, and chose to do it on New Year's Eve. It can be said that they had calculated to the extreme. But what they didn't know was that the Xiao Jianjie in front of them was no longer the little girl who was imprisoned in the palace 8 years ago. At this moment, Xiao Jianjie was calm, wise and indifferent, and remained calm even when a mountain collapsed in front of him. They emerged from mountains of corpses and seas of blood, and were tempered in the cruel battlefield. It's a pity that this kind of growth would have happened a few years earlier. Smash them hard for me, Xiao Cai said loudly. The tongues of fire spewed out by the NIU heavy machine gun intertwined at this moment, forming an impenetrable firepower network. The mortars are harvesting lives indiscriminately. The Hun's proud cavalry suffered a second severe blow. It was difficult for them to even get close. Thousands of vanguards fell at their feet, but they still could not move forward even a meter. Spread out in all directions. No matter how powerful their firepower is, they can't hit everything. CHEQU has ways to deal with it. The enemy is improving, and they are also improving. Not to mention, there are our own people in the city. As long as we can withstand the pressure, it doesn't matter how many people die, because they are not the Huns anyway. No matter how many of these miscellaneous soldiers died, they could not cause any harm to the Huns. Go ahead if we can't take down Bau Jingji. Her Royal Highness the Princess will blame us and we'll all be in trouble. Jaku waved the whip in his hand and the cavalry dispersed in all directions. A siege vehicle approached rapidly. The reason why they chose to strike back was because it was freezing cold and the moat was frozen. Very helpful for siege. The critical moment of the attack happened to be the New Year of Middle-earth. But the Huns don't celebrate the New Year. Hurry! They're changing their formation. Hold on, don't let them get up there. This time, they only brought 120,000 troops. However, these troops are the elite ones left after screening. And after being polished over the days, their combat effectiveness cannot be underestimated. In addition to today's latest support weapons, a batch of equipment for 50 people was also given before, although they were all days eliminated inventory and foreign raid version weapons. But it is enough to defend the city. The Huns relied on their large numbers, but their weapons were no match for the Qian army. However, over the years, the military preparedness of various countries has been relaxed and the military has become corrupt. They relied on the super-fast mobility of light cavalry and on burning, killing, looting and other means to support their troops, without the pressure of logistical support. Xiao Jianjie thought of the story Lu Yuan told her, about a general named Wan Junhu, who led 800 cavalrymen to roam the grassland. The Huns were no stronger than the people of Middle-earth. She looked at the enemy lying in a pool of blood without a trace of emotion in her eyes. In just half an hour, tens of thousands of enemies in the city were defeated. The streets were littered with broken limbs. Xiao Jianjie sent out 5,000 men to clear out the remaining enemies to prevent them from affecting the battle situation. She returned to the city wall to command the battle. Only this time, what she held in her hand was not a knife, but a heavy steel gun. She took aim at the enemy calmly. Another half hour passed. There was a pile of corpses on the ground. Jaku discovered that apart from increasing casualties, he failed to cause any substantial damage to Qian's army. He grabbed Zhang Yuan by the collar and said through gritted teeth, "You bastard. Didn't you say this plan is a sure win?" Zhang Yuan was about to cry, yes, but I didn't expect that the Qian army's weapons and equipment were so good, and that gun was too powerful, no one could rush over. Jaku's eyes were red. He suddenly pulled out his knife and chopped off Zhang Yuan's head with one stroke. Charge ahead, no matter how many people die. We must take down Bau Jingji. Chapter 428, Great Victory. He has already lost once. If he loses again, Xiang will kick his head like a ball. This time, he is going to risk everything and kill them. However, he knew nothing about the NIU heavy machine gun. The cavalry looked like a joke under the heavy machine gun fire. Not to mention these miscellaneous soldiers, even if the real main force of the Huns came, they would be defeated. General, we can't get through. The firepower is too strong. We have to charge even if we can't. They finally rushed forward. And the weapons in their hands had some effect, but the weapons of the Qian army were far superior to theirs. He charged forward several times, but was beaten back several times. The area within the attack range of the NIU heavy machine gun has become a vacuum zone. A huge fan-shaped area was filled with smashed corpses occasionally. Some people were still alive and were just lying on the ground wailing. This is the power of technology. Xiao Ji and Jia took a deep breath. The Xiongnu army, which had been rampant in the western Yi and forced dodging to cede land, was like a powerless child at this moment. They were beaten so badly that they didn't even have the ability to fight back. Even if attacked from both sides, the enemy still cannot get forward. Xiao Ji and Jia was really impressed by the power of 20 heavy machine guns, 10,000 steel rifles, and 100 mortars. This kind of crushing victory that transcends the times is truly shocking. An entire magazine of ammunition was emptied. There were no more enemies in front of Xiao Ji and Jia. Happy. Xiao Ji and Jia felt indescribably happy, as if she wanted to vent all the depression that had accumulated in her heart for a long time. Another hour later, the Han army was defeated. This time, no matter how CHEQ tried to stop it, it was difficult to contain it. More than 200,000 cavalrymen and hundreds of thousands of infantrymen were killed and left without weapons or armor. Your Majesty, the enemy has been defeated. Xiao Chai stepped forward quickly. Xiao Ji and Jia glanced at the dim sky and gritted her teeth and said, "Chase. Your Majesty, don't chase the enemy," Xiao Qi advised. Xiao Ji and Jia resisted the urge to pursue. "Forget it, let's count the casualties and see how much combat readiness we have left." This battle lasted from the first half of the night until near dawn. Everyone was exhausted. Xiao Ji and Jia simply ate some dry food and took a rest. It was not until the afternoon that Grape came to report, "Your Majesty, the statistics are out this time. We killed Itix's 1,700 enemies. And there are more than 7,000 wounded who did not escape. Most of the war horses are injured, so there is no need to treat them. Prince Wen has already ordered these horses to be killed and used as military rations. This record is definitely the best result Xiao Ji and Jia has ever achieved since he took command of the troops." "Are there so many?" "Yes. There are roughly this number of bodies inside and outside the city." "What about our casualties?" 400 people were killed, 30 were seriously injured, and 1,400 were slightly injured. This is a casualty ratio of 200 to 1. Xiao Ji and Jia calculated it in her mind and was very satisfied. However, the ammunition consumption this time was quite high. The NIU heavy machine gun consumed 400,000 rounds of bullets, the submachine gun consumed 800. 0 rounds of bullets, the grenades consumed 13,000, and the mortar shells consumed 3,000 rounds. In other words, our current ammunition is less than 11, which is not enough to support a major war. Yes, Grape nodded. Base equipment is good, but it costs too much money. Take the Peepish for example. A volley of bullets can be fired in just a few breaths. The price of a 7.62 bullet is about 5 yuan. And this war cost 4 million yuan. The price of the NIU heavy machine gun is 15 yuan, more than 6 million yuan. The grenades were a mixture of new-style grenades and old-style landmines. More than 10,000 of them cost over 3 million yuan. About 2 million mortar shells. Including miscellaneous expenses, the total amount must have exceeded 16 million. These 16 million, converted into silver, would be at least 1.6 million taels. In just one night, 1/3 of Daqian's from our national tax revenue was collected. This is still a half-sale and half-gift price. The weapons exported by day are at least 3 times more expensive than this. Keep selling, and spend another 2 million taels of silver, Xiao Ji and Jia said. Take advantage of this opportunity and drive the Xiongnu out of the Daqian border in one fell swoop. Yes, Your Majesty. The news of this battle soon spread throughout the world. When the news reached Xiling, Fangzhou became terrified, fearing that his previous deeds would be exposed. But what he didn't know is that Xiao Ji and Jia had already known what Fangzhou had done. Xiao Ji and Jia did not pursue immediately, but instead digested the recovered territory and governed the area according to his method. If there are any noble families in the area, kill them all. Immediately afterwards, an imperial edict was transmitted to Xiling. The king has given orders, Fangzhou obeys. Fangzhou knelt on the ground, feeling extremely nervous. Then the messenger said, "I have already recovered Bau Jingji. And the battle line has been pushed forward 800 miles, Xiling no longer needs to station too many troops." He ordered Fangzhou to lead an army of 500 men to Bau Jingji immediately. Xiling is under the command of Fang Jun, the cousin of Fangzhou. Yang Hua led the army to attack Changping. Fangzhou was stunned and looked at Fang Jun suddenly. Fang Jun was also stunned. And then he was ecstatic. "I respectfully obey the king's order." Now that Fangzhou is gone, he has the final say in Xiling. Before, he had flattered him but ended up hitting the wrong target, putting him in a dilemma. Yang Hua led a large army to occupy Xiling with great force, and Fangzhou did not dare to touch him. Now, not only Fangzhou is leaving, but Yang Hua is leaving too. He has the final say in Xiling from now on. Yang Hua took a deep breath and said, "Your Majesty, I obey your order." He had also received a letter from his cousin a long time ago and knew what was happening in Bianjing. Xiao Ji and Jia came with a great victory at this moment, and no one dared to say no. General Fang, do you have any objections? The messenger asked. I dare not, but I have been guarding Ziling for many years, and no one knows the situation in Ziling better than me. I don't know about that. The king's decree says so. If you have any questions, you can go to Bia Yujingji and ask the king in person. Now, it is better to accept the order. Don't make it difficult for me, the messenger said with a bad look. Fang Zhu gritted his teeth and said, I obey your order. Okay. The order has been conveyed. General Fang will be here today. Don't keep the king waiting for too long. After saying that, Yang Hui invited the envoy into the tent. Fang Zhun stood up, bowed and congratulated him. Congratulations, big brother. Congratulations, big brother, you can serve the king. Unlike us, we are mediocre and unappreciated by the king. Fang Zhu gritted his teeth and said, if you want, I'll give you this opportunity. I would like to, but the king doesn't want me, Fang Zhun said with a fake smile. But don't worry, brother, after you leave, I will definitely manage Ziling well and won't let your hard work over the years go to waste. You, Fang Zhu gritted his teeth in anger. Huayu Tai's Han hurriedly pulled him back and shook his head secretly. General, he deliberately provoked you. You can't let others laugh at you at this time. Fang Zhu glared at Fang Zhun and calmly shook off Huayu Tai's Han's hand. Just wait and see. Chapter 429, Killing Brother. And Yang Hua now had one more thing in his hand. He frowned and looked at the messenger. This is a secret letter from the king to you. The messenger withdrew his hand calmly. Yang Hua didn't understand, but didn't say anything after putting the secret letter away. He hosted the envoy as usual. After it was over, he returned to his room immediately and opened the secret letter. It seems that what Fang Zhun said is true. Fang Zhu really has the intention of rebellion. He touched his chin. It was not so easy to get rid of Fang Zhu. This guy hid very well. Xiao Ji and Jia wanted to bring disgrace to Fang Zhu and get rid of him in Ziling. Yang Hua thought for a while before he came up with a plan. He called Fang Zhun over in the name of deploying defenses. Fang Zhun didn't understand what was going on and actually thought Yang Hua had something to tell him. Yang Shui, what do you want me to do? Sit. After Fang Zhun sat down, he said, do you still remember what you said when you stopped me at Nanhua Road? Remember. I have found some evidence. But it is not enough to get rid of Fang Zhu. Are you willing to come forward and testify? Yang Hua asked. Fang Zhun was also secretly shocked. Yang Hua had been here for more than half a year without saying a word. It turned out that he had been investigating Fang Zhu secretly. Fortunately, he did not go along with Fang Zhu. Otherwise he would have been dead. He suddenly thought of the king's transfer order, and became excited. No wonder Fang Zhu was transferred away in order to undermine his military power. 500 people are nothing. They can't even kill the slave army. What use can they make if they go to be a Yujingji? I am willing to do so, but Commander Yang, Fang Zhu is too suspicious and has been reluctant to hand over the military power to me. Fang Zhun gritted his teeth and said, the soldiers under his command are also causing trouble. Yang Hua sneered. And he still turned the tables? But General Yang here, he naturally can't do anything wrong. But isn't General Yang going to attack Changping soon? Once he goes there, without any restraint, won't Fang Zhu do whatever he wants? Owen asked for military power now. I want to see who dares to cause trouble. Yang Hua raised his eyebrows, a gleam of fierceness flashed in his eyes. I to anger Fang Zhu as much as possible. If he dares to do anything reckless, I will use him as a sacrifice. He thought about it and decided that if the news of Fang Zhu's connection with the Huns were to get out, it would definitely damage the weight of the Daqian general in the hearts of the people. At this moment, he suddenly understood why the king made such arrangements. Was it just to anger Fang Zhu and create an opportunity? But Yang Shui, if Fang Zhu suddenly attacks and injures someone, with the king's order, what are you afraid of? Yang Hua said angrily, I dare not do this, I dare not do that. And why did you have the courage to stop me? If you do this well, you will have a smooth career. If you fail to do this well, you will be punished by your own actions. Fang Zhun understood that if he did not step forward at this moment, it would mean that he was incapable of taking responsibility and would be of no use. But he didn't know that Yang Hua had a secret letter in his hand, and he had the right to execute first and report later. If Fang Zhun refused, he would definitely kill Fang Zhun. Okay, I'll go right away. Please rest assured, General Yang. After Fang Zhun left, he headed straight to Fang Zhu's camp. At this moment, Fang Zhu was discussing with his confidants how to deal with the situation. General, the king only allows us to take 500 men and horses. What can we do with this? That's right, Ziling is full of our brothers. They are where they are today because of us. Now all of them are going to Fang Zhun. It's so unfair. Everyone spoke up for Fang Zhu. Huayu Tai's Han also said, General, the king clearly wants to take away your military power. Fang Zhu was already in a bad mood, and the soldiers under him were making a fuss. Now when he heard this, he became even more furious. If he was given 30,000 or 50, 0 people, it would be fine. 500 people, isn't this just a joke? That's enough, stop talking. Fangju tried his best to suppress his inner anger. His intuition told him that there was something wrong. At this moment, there was a burst of shouting and cursing from outside, and then the soldier guarding the door was kicked into the tent. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw Fang Jun walking in from outside with a smug look on his face. Brother, you will be Qichen tomorrow, shouldn't you hand over the military power today? What do you mean by hitting my people? Fangju looked at him unkindly. This bastard is blocking my way. If I don't kick him, who should I kick? He is such a tactless guy. Don't you know who has the final say in Zilling in the future? Fang Jun sneered. Everyone was gritting their teeth. Second General, you are also a member of the Fang family, how can you say such chilling words? Qiyu Taishan said. It's not your turn to interrupt me, a dog. Fang Jun walked up to Fangju with his hands on the desk, and said word by word. Brother, you should be straightforward. Don't worry, after you leave, I will definitely take good care of my brothers, and will never let them suffer any grievances. My brother also hopes that you can behave well in front of the king, and maybe you can be made a marquis or prime minister in the future. Fangju looked at this face that deserved a beating, and couldn't suppress his anger. If you have the ability, go to the military camp yourself and see if the brothers recognize you. You have an obligation to cooperate with me. Otherwise I will definitely report you. Fang Jun lowered his voice with a slight smile on his face. You are indeed amazing, but you have to leave sooner or later. I will definitely take good care of my sisters-in-law, and I will not let my nephews and nieces go either. Oh, no, I will not treat them unfairly. What you up to? Don't you know clearly what I want to do? Fan Jun shook his head. How about you take all the sisters-in-law to be a Yu Jingji? Fang Jun, you are playing with fire. Fangju grabbed Fang Jun by the collar. Fang Jun was not panicked at all. Come on. Hit me if you dare to touch me today. I will repay your wife and children tenfold or 100fold in the future. When the people around heard this, they were all furious. They all scolded Fang Jun for being shameless and disloyal to brotherhood. Fangju jumped up and punched Fang Jun in the face. You want me to listen to you? Forget it. You want to take away my military power? Forget it. I will never let you succeed. Fang Jun cried out in pain. Help! Fangju was rebelling. After these words came out, Fangju trembled all over. Then a voice came from outside. Quick! Fangju refused to hand over his military power, disobeyed the king's order, and beat up General Fang Jun. Hurry and call for help. Qiyu Taishan's heart skipped a beat and he rushed over quickly to pull the two apart. But Fang Jun had completely irritated Fangju. As the eldest brother, what's wrong with me teaching my younger brother a lesson? This is a family matter. No one can interfere with me. Fang Jun was beaten and screamed, but the corners of his mouth were always raised, and he kept shouting, Fangju is rebelling, rebelling. Stop farting in front of me. Fangju cursed loudly, not noticing that a large group of troops were approaching outside. At this moment, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his heart. All the strength in his body was removed in an instant. He loosened his grip and looked at his chest in disbelief. There, right there, was a shining dagger. Chapter 430, Execution. You. Fangju looked at his brother in disbelief. And all the strength in his body was instantly drained. Qiyu Taishan's eyes were red with anger. General. Everyone in the tent rushed over. Don't kill me, I surrender, I surrender. Fang Jun curled up and seeing that no one cared about him, he quickly crawled out. Doctor, please call the doctor. Qiyu Taishan hugged Fangju. General, it's okay, you will be fine. Taishan, I'm dying. Fangju felt a severe pain in his chest. His breathing became rapid, and his head felt dizzy. No. Qiyu Taishan shouted outside, go and call the doctor. However, instead of waiting for a great doctor, he was shot by his own people. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. After a dense volley of fire, lead bullets pierced through the tents, turning the people inside into sieves. After there was no sound from inside, Fang Jun lifted the curtain and looked inside. Oh, my, this frightened me to death. Yang Hua also came late. What happened? Fang Jun knelt on the ground. General Yang, Fangju refused to hand over the military power and wanted to kill me. He wants to rebel. Yang Hua pretended to be surprised. Where are they? He's dead. I have already killed him. Fang Jun gritted his teeth. Yang Hua couldn't help but take a deep breath. This guy can even kill his own elder brother. He is a ruthless person. But this play has to go on. The two men sang in unison and determined Fangju's character. I didn't expect Fangju to be like this. I will report the truth to the king and pass on my order to thoroughly investigate Fangju's followers. Anyone who dares to act recklessly will be killed without mercy. That night, Zilling was filled with blood and gore. All of Fangju's followers were killed. Later statistics showed that more than 3,000 people were killed. Fang Jun took control of the Zilling army as he wished, but this guy was not a good person either. He detained all his sister-in-law and nephews. But Yang Hua didn't care about him. This kind of conscience-less person is full of evidence, and it only takes a few words to deal with him. I'm leaving soon, you must guard Zilling well. Before leaving, Yang Hua warned Fang Jun and then left with his army. But he did not let go completely. He kept a cousin and 30 people to restrain Fang Jun. At this point, the hidden dangers of Zilling were completely eliminated. The news soon reached Xiao Ji and Jia's ears. During these days of rectification, small-scale local battles had never stopped. The entire Jingshao area was basically recovered. Wherever the Qian army passed, all the noble families were exterminated, not a single one was left alive, and the entire clan was wiped out. This also forced those people to surrender to the Huns. Xiao Ji and Jia's reputation as a tyrant also spread completely. She didn't care at all, or perhaps this was exactly the effect she wanted. At first, she might care. And at this moment, she has already understood the truth of this world. This world should not be a place where only aristocratic families and powerful clans have a voice. We must make the ignorant majority of the lower class become the mainstream of this world. They should not be pinned down to the land and become slaves of the land. Li Yuan said something very true. Everyone likes land, but no one likes to face the lowest and work with their back to the sky. Everyone is trying hard to live. When you don't have to worry about food and clothing, farming becomes a form of leisure and exercise. They praise the people and the farmers simply because their rice bowls are in their hands. Therefore, Xiao Ji and Jia would rather be the tyrant. Fight hard for thousands of people at the bottom of society and carve out a path for them to speak out. Move forward and see the world with their own eyes. They shouldn't be defined. We should not just be farmers working hard in the fields. The common people should not be exploited, bullied, crushed by harsh taxes, and have no room for error. Your Majesty, there are 3 urgent reports. Xiao Pudayo walked over quickly. These 3 urgent reports. One came from Bianjing, one from Zilling, and the other from Liangjing. A hint of joy flashed in Xiao Ji and Jia's eyes. She took out the urgent report from Liangjing and put it aside to read later. The urgent news from Bianjing was sent by Yang Tao. The letter reported to Xiao Ji and Jia the recent events. First, great scholars from all over the country arrived in Bianliang one after another. Secondly, it is about the major examination. Everything has been prepared. Wang Yang, the #1 official in Daqian, is willing to come out and be the invigilator of this major examination. In other words, this time, Yang Tao will not interfere. All scoring and grading will be judged entirely by these people based on the scores. Xiao Ji and Jia calculated the time and said, half a year has passed in the blink of an eye. As so fast. Then, he opened the second urgent report. It was sent by Yang Shui. The letter said that all of Fang Ju's followers were killed, totaling more than 3,000 people. Good execution. Xiao Ji and Jia just felt relief. The only pity was that she failed to expose Fang Ju's true face. But this world is not black and white. The imperial court let such a person guard Zilling. Once the lid is lifted, all the rumors will come towards him. As long as the goal is achieved. Xiao Ji and Jia walked quickly to the map. Changping is the closest hub to Xiao Pass and can cut off the Huns' retreat. She wanted to catch all these people in one fell swoop. Since the last war, a large amount of military supplies has been shipped over from Bianjing, enough to launch 2 or 3 full-scale battles. In these 3 stops, she wanted to completely wipe out the Huns in Daqian. According to spy intelligence, the first princess of the Xiongnu, Yanzi Chai, has arrived at Xiao Pass. After Yanzi Chai alive, I will make sure that the Xiongnu dare not enter our country again. Xiao Ji and Jia smashed his fist on the map. Pass on my military order and march to Yuma Pass. Yuma Pass is the most important hub connecting Jingshao Prefecture. It can radiate to the entire western region when advancing and return to Jingshao when retreating. At Yuma Pass, there was a large Hun army of more than 50,000 people. Taking over Yuma Pass will completely turn the passive situation into the active one. Yes, Your Majesty. Xiao Pudayo left quickly. Only then did Xiao Ji and Jia have time to open the letter from Liangjing. The envelope is thick. It was full of letters from people she missed. What surprised her even more was that there was also other written by Huan inside. The girl is 7 years old this year and has officially entered school from kindergarten. Xiao Ji and Jia felt very guilty. But in the letter, the child just shared happy things with her and only wrote, "I miss you" at the end. Xiao Ji and Jia's eyes turned red after seeing this. "Girl, give mother some time. I will go back to see you after I have wiped out the enemies within the country." Xiao Ji and Jia wiped her tears, picked up a pen and paper and wrote a reply. "Only after calming down did I open Li Yuan's letter." From the letter, she learned that Li Wuyu gave birth to a son, Xianing gave birth to a daughter, and Honggu gave birth to a son. To be honest, she wasn't jealous, but she was definitely unhappy. She subconsciously touched her flat belly. She thought about it, wrote a congratulatory letter, and asked Great to prepare 3 generous gifts. It doesn't matter. I will personally help him unify Middle-earth. Xiao Jianjia sent the letter out, put on his armor, and mounted his horse. Let's go to war. Chapter 431, Cutting Off the River. Xiang knelt on the ground with his head in his hands, his face full of helplessness. Che Ku lost, what does it have to do with him? Why is he always the one who gets hurt? Useless, all useless. Over 200,000 soldiers were defeated and captured. Since the founding of the Xiongnu nation, we have never suffered such a cowardly defeat. Where is our Hun phalanx? What about our Hun strategy? Forgot all about it? Brush Ki, she came to Middle-earth to disrupt the world and invade Middle-earth. What's the result? After suffering defeats one after another, although the casualties were all minor soldiers, the morale of the army was broken. If they continue like this, they will be expelled from the Daqian kingdom. She knew that Xiao Jianjia just wanted to drive them out of the country and then join Dai. Once Dai accepts it, Daqian becomes Dai's territory. At that time, we were completely passive. Princess, I think it would be better if we didn't have the city. We can burn, kill and plunder along the way without any burden. If we follow the Middle Africans' example of taking every step carefully, we will become timid. What did I say before? Just leave a small number of people in the city and let the others go out to fight. What will be the result? Xiang shrank his neck and said, "It's that bastard Chequ who is cowardly and afraid of trouble. He is hiding in the city and dare not move." Yan Zhi looked at the intelligence in front of her, her eyes full of solemnity. That's only part of the reason. The real reason is that Dai's new weapons are too lethal to cavalry. Xiang said hurriedly, "Princess, it can also cast cannons. Although the power is not as strong as Dai, it can also kill the enemy from a distance." Rouge's eyes lit up. "How many?" "There are less than 10 of them, and they are made of brass. Although they are heavy, they are easier to cast and shape than iron, but they are a waste of money." Xiang said distressed lie, "A cannon weighs more than 2.0 kilograms. Not enough, too little." Yan Zhi shook her head. "Also, this artillery is too heavy. Look at Dai's artillery, even a single soldier can carry it. The heavy artillery can be disassembled and pulled by a horse. Princess, my technology can't keep up." Yan Zhi suppressed her anxiety and asked, "What about the gunpowder? Has it been cracked?" "I've cracked it," Xiang nodded. "It's not that difficult, except that boiling saltpeter is not easy. I have already sent the formula to Pingjing. It won't be long before your majesty can completely defeat the Agu Bo Empire." Yan Zhi nodded, finally hearing some good news. The reason why the Huns suffered successive defeats was, in the final analysis, that their weapons were inferior to those of their opponents. This kind of weapon does not mean that I use a bronze sword and the enemy uses iron. Although the materials are different, they are essentially the same kind of weapons. Even if the quality of my weapons is not as good as yours, I can make up for the difference in weapon quality by relying on the advantages of cavalry and combat strategies. But Dai's weapon is not good enough. That's not the same kind of weapon at all. The primitive people threw spears, but the enemy was already using crossbows. No matter how strong a primitive man is, his thrown spear cannot reach the long range of a crossbow. This is a crushing blow. So they lost. Dai's guns and cannons are 100 times more terrifying than crossbows. Cracking the cannon and casting the cannon are just the starting point. Dai is already too far ahead on this track. If he wants to beat them, he must catch up with them. They don't have to be exact chasers, but they must have the same weapons. The gap can be bridged in some way. This is Rouge's way. In other words, this is the Hun's habitual thinking. Learn everything that can make you stronger, find your flaws, and then grind them down bit by bit. If you can't win in a head-on battle, your strategy will not be as good as others. Then assassination, poisoning, in short, any method that can consume the enemy can be used. Seeing Yan Zhi's complexion improve, Xiang continued, "Princess, a few days ago, someone from the Wen family offered advice, saying that there is a method that can consume the big leaf. Tell me about it." The Jingyang River is the most important river in Daijingshao, running through the north and south, and is also the most important water transport channel in Dai. However, its birthplace is in Dajing. Moreover, it is just west of Dajing, within our territory. The Wen family said that they should dig a canal and cut off the Jingyang River. Once Daijingshao runs out of water, it will fall into a severe drought. As you know, the drought in the north of Daqian is very serious. If it weren't for the south to north water diversion project, there would have been no harvest in the north of Dai long ago. But even so, it is impossible to include the entire north. Last year, Liuan planned to divert water from Longyan River and Hiaihe River in Diaxia today. But no agreement has been reached yet. Emperor Xia used the excuse that Daxia lacked water and even threatened to change the course of the river, using this as a threat to wring a lot of benefits out of Day. Yan Zichai's eyes lit up. That's a good idea. Judging from the map, A is indeed vast and rich in resources, but that cannot be changed, as it is a country within a country. There are actually only 4 main rivers in the entire Middle-earth, running through the north, south, east and west. 2 of them are in Dajing and 2 are in Daxia. The reason why Daqian is so dry is that there is only 1 river passing through Daqian. Moreover, the source of this river is not within the territory of Daqian. The only big river in Daqian, originating from Tianshan Mountain, runs through the entire Jiangdan region. And it can never compare to the 4 great rivers. If the river is cut off fundamentally, the entire day will be in a state of no water available. However, such a large project is not something that can be done easily. It is also a question of where to cut it off and whether it will affect others. Rouge said. This is the Middle-earth water system map submitted by the Wen family. I quickly spread out the water system map. You see, we only need to cut off the river 500 miles outside the border a day, and in a few days, the whole of Day will be short of water. A month later, a severe drought struck the entire country. If it can be delayed for half a year, given the current drought, Day will also collapse. Yan Zichai walked over barefoot to check. It's not enough to just block the river, we have to make preparations for both scenarios. Her eyes rolled and various plans flashed through her mind. But Li Yuan is to restrain, so the beauty trick is useless. The security work is done well, and it would be extremely difficult to assassinate him. Poisoning after blocking the river, poisoning in large quantities. Xiang shuddered all over, looking at Yan Zichai, who was smiling, and he was actually a little scared in his heart. Princess, this if we can't kill Lu Yuan, then the consequences. Are you afraid? Yan Zichai glanced at him sideways. I am not afraid. But this kind of behavior is against the harmony of nature. Yan Zichai said. Why don't we just not do it? Xia Jing and the other 2 dynasties hate Li Yuan to death. Do you think they will do it? Xiang swallowed his saliva and said. I don't know. Ji Yang, remember this, as long as you can win. No matter what means you use, being kind to the enemy is being cruel to yourself. Do you understand? Just then a gust of wind blew over. And Xiang shivered. Ming, I understand. Chapter 432. If the Huns can go, I can go too. So, the Hun army retreated, leaping horse into the pass. Xiao Jianjia was confused, and looking at the empty Yuma pass, she was also confused. Yes, the spies searched the area of 300 miles and found no one. It seems that the Huns have taken away all the people here, leaving us with an empty land. Xiao Chai frowned. If nothing unexpected happens, our western part has been emptied out. Keep exploring. Xiao Jianjia had a bad feeling. If the Huns really withdrew completely and took the people away, it would take the entire area 30 to 50 years to recover. Besides, she always felt that the Huns were planning something bad. Based on her understanding of the Huns, it was impossible for them to retreat easily. Soon, a scout came back and said, Your Majesty, no living people were found within a radius of 500 miles. Your Majesty, we found a hunter hiding in the mountains. No strangers were found within 800 miles. They really withdrew. Xiao Jianjia said that Yan Zichai would be captured alive. But in the end, everyone ran to Dajing. In a sense, she had regained lost ground. But why was she not happy at all? Xiao Chai also had a strange expression. Your Majesty, what should we do next? At the moment, they were in a dilemma. It was meaningless for them, with only tens of thousands of people, to guard 1,000 miles of territory. Occasionally, there were a few hunters in the deep mountains who didn't take the animals away, but they didn't make much of a difference. The drought in the west is not as severe as in the north, but at this time it was also a mess. The Huns' move was like cutting off the source of the problem, and Xiao Jianjia lost all her temper. Including Yang, who has army of more than 100,000, there are almost 200,000 troops. And 50,000 will be left to guard Xiao Pass. Chang Ping 20,000. Leave 30,000 at Yuma Pass. Xiao Jianjia took a deep breath and said, There are less than 1/3 of the people in Jingxiao Prefecture. The western part has been emptied. The northern part is vast, but the total population is only 1 million. Jiangnan is a prosperous region, but it has only over 10 million people. It's only been a few years, and more than half of Day's population has already disappeared. The general trend is unstoppable and no one can resist it. Xiao Chai comforted. I still can't accept it. Xiao Jianjia looked at Xiao Chai and said, I want to take back those people who were taken away. It can't be taken back. Xiao Chai shook his head. I want to emulate the champion marquis. Xiao Jianjia took a deep breath. Give me 10,000 cavalrymen. I want to attack Huanglong directly. This place is 3,000 miles away from the western part of Dajing, the secondary capital of the Xiongnu. and it is very easy to be exposed along the way. The champion Marquis and his 800 riders are not easily discovered in the vast grasslands. At this point, Xiaochai was suddenly stunned, and then exclaimed, "Your Majesty, do you want to?" "Yes. Past Chiao Pass is the grassland. Although it is not big, it is big enough to enter. I will not enter from the Middle Earth. But if I send troops from the grassland, I can go straight to the heart of the Xiongnu." Xiao Jianjia spread out the map, with our weapons. Attacking the city is a piece of cake. Princess Yanzhi is a person who likes to play tricks. I don't think they withdrew from Daqian because they were afraid of us. There must be a bigger conspiracy behind this. Instead of waiting, it's better to kill, forcing the Huns to fight us. Come on. Kill one, come two, kill two. But Your Majesty, Uncle Wang, you know me well. I don't want to be a canary, nor do I want to be a person who just eats and waits for death. My man has great ambitions and a desire to unify the world. And I will help him succeed. Become the greatest emperor of all time. Even if I die, I don't care. Not a single soldier from Day was used. Even if I die, Huan will be treated well. I also hope you will be treated well. Xiaochai knelt on one knee, clasped his hands and said, "I am willing to follow the king to the battle." "Okay. Send the order first, and then we'll leave halfway to avoid being discovered." Soon, Xiao Jianjia led 10,000 cavalrymen, sufficient equipment and dry food, and headed north, diving into the vast grassland. If the Huns can go, I can go too. On the other side, Yanzhi was leaning on the big bedboard, holding the script passed to her by Day in her hand. It's indeed not as good as what Lu Yuan wrote. Yanzhi sighed, threw the storybook aside, and actually missed Lu Yuan a little. I don't know what Lu Yuan's expression will be after Day's flow is cut off. When Yanzhi thought of Lu Yuan's frustrated look, she actually felt